be the choice for now.
So Hong Lian is the only player to really have success even playing like the 5 and 7 Bilgewater line. Most people were failing horribly when they went in that direction. And yes, this was playing around the Nila, but I honestly did not expect it to be Bilgewater. I mentioned it as an option, but I felt that Hong Lian would still lean into the Ionia or the Vanquisher. But Pai-Hat, I mean, have we seen how he is making this work? Because no one else has done it.
I mean, he's finding the edges where no one really has been able to. Also, the fact that you can actually guarantee having 1, maybe 2 RFCs on the Nila, maybe a Giant Slayer, like in the old time when you had the big Sejuani just tanking for the Nila.
Waalaikumsalam Hilmi.
The thing about him is that
Gimana kabarnya? Baik
it's not a
aku.
really contested job. You won't have misfortune for long.
All right, well, I want to talk about contested, right? Because Wei Jin, we mentioned, going to be contested by Han Xing on this Zon line. And because the Jinx, the robotic arm, that's definitely going to be the angle of Han Xing. Wei Jin has now gone for the Zon Rogues angle. We see the Zon on the Graves. He's re-rolling down for it. He's looking for the Jinx as well, but the Graves has become a big factor. And actually, the North American players prepping together. T-Lides was very successful on this composition in the North American Regional, and I wonder if he's been able to help Wei Jin find a good balance of how to play.
Oke, question main zone.
Just the one representative left. All efforts focused in one direction. Do want to take a small note as well. We were talking about the streaks from before. We have now only got one major streak left in play. Han Xing down the bottom on the lost streak. Every other streak has been broken. Wet Jungler trying to build his.
All right, we've got augment selection coming through. Pai-Hat, what's popping up for you right now?
I'm just trying to... No one's really grabbing the big grab back. That's not the priority when you're playing Earth. I'm trying to see if there's anything that really stands out. A Gunner emblem for Han Xing. The contester is getting even stronger. And on the other side, I'm just waiting to see what Wei Jin got.
I'm noticing we've got for title here one of the augments, which wasn't picked a huge amount, but was very, very effective. The shoplifting coming into place to help push his economy and grab those high-end units.
Yeah, and Hong Lian actually going to go for frequent flyer here, it looks like, going for more reroll focus, maybe just helping him look
Halo
for
Ras ya,
the
game
Nilas,
Teamfight
or
taktik.
putting together, I guess, the full bilge board and try and
Kayak
hit
Magic Chess
Misfortune
gitu,
and the
program pemainnya.
Nautilus and go a little bit more
berat.
vertical with that trait.
The thing that I'm just trying to see, I'm just really focused on the contesters, but both what Han Xing and Wei Jin are doing. Han Xing, he's a little behind on the Jinxes, but he's still ahead on the fact that.
Oh, ada 2 orang ternyata main Gunners down ya.
So stable, especially now that it overcharges
Han Xing
and
sama
you only have 4 sound, and you can see the power, how stable it can be during the mid game.
So, I mean, to expand out the picture there, as you mentioned, Wei Jin and Han Xing, they both got the gunner approach to the game. They're pretty much locked into that one. Both of them around 20 gold, both of them without streaks. How much is this contest going to hurt them?
I mean, it's going to hurt quite a bit, right? Because they do both want to reroll, right? This composition wants to hit 3-star Jinx. It is a massive hit for it. So that's why, I mean, Wei Jin made that pivot to go for the Graves because he recognized that Han Xing was not going in that direction. And during his reroll, he's actually horribly griefed Han Xing by getting all these extra Jinxes. So I think Han Xing is in a worse position currently, but it can switch on a dime.
And I like what Bolt is doing. Bolt, Orianna is not a carrier we see so much.
Si
I think
Volta
can be
main
quite still for a
Sorcerer
long time, especially with this setup that you just want the Swain to never die, just try to scale up and maybe kill some units.
Yeah, funny enough, she's a pretty good item holder for Aphelios with the Ginsu, with the fact that she just likes to attack a lot to get the shield online more often, as you were saying. So ends up working out with 80 items, and we even have adaptive, so that has opened up both to even play around with
jungler kuat banget
alongside the Aphelios, which we've seen him do before, or it can become a frontline item later.
Malam bang, juara teman ini simpain Amin ya. Tahun berapa ya?
He's got Silco on the field and Silco on the bench as well. So
that's a chance to get that advance soon,
but bigger on the menu here is Wet Jungler. We noted the streaks have been broken. Wet Jungler pushing up to 5 wins in a row.
That's the power of challengers.
Look at this again! 3 spatulas! What is happening? Anyone who took one earlier if they left it open. Okay, that's a tactician's crown then if Altanawe can get one, and he does,
Guaranteed.
He gets one.
Hong Lian, another spot for him. We've seen that he can guarantee go 7 Bilgewater, even 9 if he's able to go up there.
All right, so our player's going to step up in power even further. As you mentioned before, of course, the consequences of this first game can be severe. The people who come out ahead get to rule towards a 20 total points, a potential checkmate and world championship. For the others, they're going to have to work incredibly hard to catch up.
Yeah, and I mean, Altanawe, right, this is a great start for that. You know, at first gets you almost halfway to check, and getting a Tactician's Crown off of 2 spatulas on Shurima Bazaar. So it's not like you feel like you're sacrificing too much on the items for your carry. There's so many components, so getting these bonus spatulas feels so incredibly good.
Look at the HP and the streak. Has a 4 streak, has 72 HP. He's gonna go to 4-1, do a big roll down, and he's gonna be very healthy.
Going up against Weijin, it looks like, long distance pals is one of the best things you can pick up for the Zon Rogues composition. Night Harvester also considered pretty much best in slot for Graves. This is a good setup if Weijin can actually hit. And with that, I want to close out on Altanawe. Having that Tactician's Crown and a single Shurima emblem right now, if he finds one more, 9 Shurima becomes on the table at level 8.
Yeah, we saw how valuable it could be to cheat your way an extra level, because so much of the game is about that level 9 right now. So check back in with our light-fingered title, that shoplifting, getting a little bit extra power into the mix.
We've seen in the past shoplifting has been able to let you go to level 8 to go level 9, just steamroll and be so ahead in economy.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what? Toronto, Tokyo played shoplifting, level up, went all the way to level 10, played the legendary flex, right? So in this case, Tidal really wants another Demacia emblem, but if he can find it, level 9 should be a breeze with shoplifting giving just that massive economic boost. Now taking a look at Wet Jungler's fight, Weijin going to continue to follow, but Wet Jungler doesn't look like he's found many upgrades recently, still coasting on this 4 challenger with the Ashe item carry.
So, we talked a little bit about challenges working very well for Wet Jungler. Why is this composition not being used more often?
Because it's really hard to cap out and maybe even get those wins. You're stable in the mid game, but since everyone has been getting 2 free spats almost every game, it can be hard to keep up. However, the good thing about Wet Jungler is that he's so rich, he hasn't been able to fulfill the challenger's dream of just finding a random Ashe and maybe a Kai'Sa long distance past them, and now he's just gonna have to roll for just a tiny bit, and he'll be stable.
All right, well, looking at the bottom of our table here, Hong Lian on this big loss streak down to 24 HP, items for the Nila, but has not been able to find it and still just on the 3 build. It looks like initially he wanted to re-roll these 3 costs. We see the 5 Nautiluses, we're seeing the Misfortune on the bench, but he has not been able to get there yet, and now we'll have to see if he can start sending it, because even Frequent Flyer hasn't been completed yet. There's the Nila.
He was looking for it. He really needed 1 Nila to actually be able to find a way to come back. And that's the power, that's the unpower, if that's a word.
It can be now.
Oh, Jinx 3! Jinx 3 for
Weijin. Jinx 3, si Weijin version udah dapet anjir.
Graves is so important.
Weijin hyper rolled at 3-1, trying at level 4, trying to look for Graves. He found 6 Graves. He still hasn't found anyone ever since.
Sakit gak sih kalau kena koyo cabe kalau kena di rambut-rambut.
The checkmate format as much more of a swingy, first to 8 oriented player. Do you think this is good enough for him to start building back towards that first now?
I mean, this really needed to be a Graves 3.
Iya,
The fact that
sampai
he's
jam
kind
1
of
lagi
rolled on
paling.
this. He spent so much gold looking for the 1 cost and hasn't found it. Yes,
Kan
the
6
Jinx
game
is
kalau nggak salah.
fantastic, but because of what his Zons are, right, we're not
Semoga
seeing that
harusnya sih sama sih,
robotic
nangkep
arm
juga
on
sih.
the Jinx. It actually makes it so the Graves was more important than the Jinx in this
Anjir,
spot.
Jinxnya
And
bintang
so
3
while
duluan
this is a
si
good
Weijin
hit, it
version.
might stabilize him for now. It's not going to stabilize him for the whole game.
22 Retno, 22 November.
To push him into a different era.
Oh, si Title bukan
catches
dapat Slayer ya.
right.
Ini dia bakal
I
ngambil
see
Slayer
Slayer
Crest.
Crest for title. He's playing in Demacia, so it can be nice to get that emblem as well.
bener kan?
What I'm really looking for is our Demacia players, and if
Jadi tinggal
anyone will
nyari
be able to
Fiora
find
sih, terus
two.
dikasih
Xiaoge did not find the second Demacia emblem, so that won't be the case.
Dapat
But he found
emblem,
a Belveth to go
dapat
with the
Mordekaiser ya.
Demacia, so that'll be very strong on this
Title.
stage. Weijin found a Zon Crest.
Alright, so we've got 6 Zorn
Yang
in
tim Cina
the mix,
beda ya,
which
peserta
could
lain
lead
pada
some
main di
huge
kamar. Iya, peserta
swings
Cina
here. So we've
dijadiin
got the Rogue,
satu.
we've got the Zorn, we've got the Gunner, we've got the chance to switch
Ntar
things
gua
up. The only
masang
problem for Weijin,
Kiwi
of
lah
course,
ya, udah
is
lah
a
ya.
lack of
Semoga
money to be able to do too much more than
tidak
what he's doing
sakit.
right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to really need to win streak here off of the LDP with the Jinx, and it's possible. It's very powerful, but I'm not sure if it can get there.
He's just trying to survive until a Silco appears. Maybe a lucky Silco 6 will be enough.
Lian.
But Hong Lian maybe on his final life.
Honglian very low already on the Nila 1, but did find the 3-star
Oh,
on the
3-star
Nautilus. The
Nautilus
Rogues have made it
lawan
to the
3-star
backline, though. Looking at the
Jinx,
grades,
kita
takes
lihat.
out the Nila. This is looking pretty rough for Honglian, but this Nautilus is an absolute
Honglian.
beast. One more cast from the Jinx, though. Can that Jinx 3-star? It looks like she might. There's the cast from Jace. It's not enough. Weijin takes a big hit onto Honglian. He keeps this little win streak that he needs, and Honglian
Kalau di
is
Cina
put
tuh
on
mesti
one
kayak
life.
gitu,
That is
dikumpulin
terrifying
jadi
this point of
satu.
the game. Remember, of course, Honglian was here before the previous championship,
too.
just outside the top 8.
Nila bintang
That
2
is a
dengan
significant
RFC.
upgrade, but I'm worried here that Honglian could take an early 8th.
And the big thing for Honglian is he is
Dia
not
udah nyalain
placed
3-6
below a
sendiri ya,
fifth
udah
this
3-1
tournament.
digit.
This would be such a massive blow to Honglian here in the final to start out with only a single point. And it's while playing the style he's played throughout the entire tournament. So if this is not going to work, what will finds the Nilas, has the
Dia harus
RFCs,
menang
but his
sih
early game
buat
and his mid game were just not enough.
Apa?
He really needs to cash
T-hacknya
out.
itu ada 16.
Let's see how many
Udah
stacks
16 ya,
sneaking in
harus
there. It's maybe
dimenangin.
a little tricky to do though.
Lawannya
Has
Jace
got a
bintang
very
3
similar
pula.
looking ball with a Jace 3 on it.
Yeah, Jace 3, and then the Jinx with the robotic arm does not have the 3-star, but a 2-star Jinx still very strong here in stage 4. The Nila does get onto her though, so the robotic
Oke,
arm not
bisa
going to
menang,
be
bisa
working.
selamat,
It's
bisa
just a Jace
selamat.
with no
Si Honglian.
items. Nila
Oh.
can get there. Honglian cashes out 16 stacks on that Piltover, so not massive, but it's a pretty solid cash out.
We'll have to wait until after the carousel. Hey, what?
Potion version kalah lawan si Auga.
Yeah, Xiaoga had the Belveth at 7 with the Demacia. There's a potential Belveth pair if no one takes it, but it likely will go away.
Oh boy. So again, looking at where we are overall, of course we've got
Seru
our
nih, seru
player Honglian on very low HP.
Kalau dibuat komentator
Red
Indonesia
Jungle
yang
running high up the
komen
top
Bung
with a
Ahe
big
yang
old
sering
streak and a big
komentarin
old
bola
pile
seru
of
kayaknya.
himself.
Hai, sayang sekali.
I like what Jungler's doing. He even has the augments to fulfill it, to continue to push the streak.
Hai, dikit lagi mati, nyawanya 1 bar.
Edge of Night,
Edge of Night. Thank you. I was going to say Garden Angel, but
It's over.
I'm leaving it at the
Hey,
past.
you played a Worlds of Sephora.
Kalian paling bisa bertahan beberapa round
All
semua.
right, looking at what Jungler's board, I mean, he's put together something
The Jungler
very fantastic
bikin
already,
challenger
right?
ya.
The items on to the Kaisa are beautiful, and having this LDP to go with it is phenomenal. Plus, not today is perfect for that Fiora.
Wow, a 10-round win streak. Again, we had our doubts about
The Jungler
Champions, but
win
it seems to
streak
be
ya,
working
masih win streak dengan nyawa
spectacularly well.
80 guys.
I'm just trying to see. Hey, thank you. I'm trying to wonder what was the cash out. It's just a couple
Honglian
items,
bingung nih.
an artifact, which isn't really giving much power to Honglian. He's on at least finally on 7 Bilge Water, which is the power
Oke,
spike that he
dikasih
needed,
buat
but
item
he
si
be able to
Miss Fortune
survive.
ya.
Yeah, I mean,
Buat
he gets
biar
a
nge-cast terus.
Manazane onto the
Jadi mananya tuh,
Misfortune
mananya langsung
2. It's
langsung
not
balik
the
cepet ya.
biggest carry, but at least stage 4 it might be
Apakah
enough with
kuat
this front
tapi?
line. Needing more items on the Nautilus because a Sunfire and a belt is not going to
Oh,
cut it.
oh,
Let's see if he can get there. Takes the win over
dikit
Volta.
lagi,
So
anjir.
Honglian lives for now.
Depannya
He's saved up
Honglian
30
masih
gold.
kurang sih, masih
Maybe
kurang
he
kuat
can get to
depannya.
level 8. Maybe he can start to push more.
And this is why let's see if he actually manages to win out. We're seeing why 7 Bilge Water is such a powerful tool. He even has one on the bench just waiting because.
Well, talk to me, Paya. What is likely to actually give Honglian this elusive 1 loss and knock him out of the game, if anything?
Maybe with Jungler, he's been out-tempo in the entire lobby. And not today is good
Si
enough
title,
to actually
waduh,
escape the power of the
Kaisanya,
Bilge Water.
tapi nggak dinaikkan
Yeah, I
kayaknya
mean,
Kaisanya.
looking at title, got 6 Slayer just went in, along with
Dapat
the
6
Demacia
Slayer,
Origin
5
and 1
Demacia
star.
ya.
Honglian in his pool, it's gonna be
Cara ambil
Honglian
item itu tanda
versus
tanya itu
title.
gimana?
See if the Morb can get there. Is the front line already kind of going down for title?
Ini
That
item
is a
tanda tanya
very
yang mana?
powerful Nila. The
Krista.
Slayer's doing so much damage, but with just the 1-star
Tapi nggak
win,
kuat ya
not going to
lawan
make it happen.
Honglian.
Honglian going to hold on a little longer as Weijin falls pretty low, and Wet Jungler continues the
Pemain
streak.
di tadi nyoba-nyoba tapi bingung ambil item
That's all you
sama
want.
hero pas
Junglers, you
akhir
made it to
round.
stage 3 and stage 4 win streak, and I think
Pas
you just
yang
find yourself
muter-muter
in
itu
balance. Yeah,
atau gimana?
I mean, for Wet Jungler coming into this one, you compare him to Volta, of course, he's got the multiple
Main
championship
di HP,
experience.
Krista.
This is his first time here.
Atau
To
di
be going
PC.
up against players of this caliber and being handing out Ls so consistently has got to feel
Si
amazing.
Alternal,
having that 12
oh,
win streak,
peringkat 3 ya, dengan nyawa 50.
Importantly, the Challenger
Oh,
emblem.
pas
so when he
muter-muter
pushes levels,
di laptop
a
bang. Oh, itu tinggal
2-star
dideketin aja,
Aatrox
Krista.
with the Challenger emblem,
Kalau kayak
that
gitu-gitu.
can just be GG. That can be your first.
We've seen it.
Ngebukanya urutan dari bawah terbawah.
There's obviously a lot of bias talking, but I'm a little worried about Altanawe.
You're allowed to be. You're allowed to be.
He needs to find out the Asir. I think he's very smart. What a big mistake that the players do usually is that they go to 8 and then they roll, even though they only have 20 gold.
Si West Universe tiba-tiba di bawah ya.
At level 7 until he hits.
Jauhnya tinggal
then
20.
he'll actually start pushing levels.
Alright, taking a quick look at the
Gerakin car pakai apa? Oh, klik kanan, klik kanan.
Out of the bottom half of the table dramatically. Title has nothing, Volta nearly has nothing. Hanxing, Weijin, and Honglian are all paupers at this point.
All right, we're looking for this next fight. Weijin still not
Apakah
finding
West
Graves.
Universe
Instead,
kalah?
he
Kita
decided
lihat
to
nih.
push levels, find the Silco, play for
Ya,
6 on
diganti
Honglian
anjir.
against Wet Jungler.
Oh,
This is the
Honglian
fight
lawan
we're talking about.
Wet Jungler.
Honglian has gotten
Ini kalau
very
Honglian
strong,
kalah,
but where is
dia
Wet Jungler in
urutan
power? He has
8
the
ya.
Aatrox with the Challenger emblem, but it's not going to come back to life, so it's
Tapi
down to just the
menang ya.
Kaisa, and she does not make it happen, so Honglian continues this win streak. He finally stops Wet Jungler, and he's going to be staying alive while we jump over to Weijin, who looks like we're taking a loss against Volta's Aphelios.
Oh boy. Again, if you weren't here yesterday to see Volta pull out this composition, you know, we were talking about this backstage saying surely not Volta will try and bring a fellow from the mix, but he did very well with it indeed.
And look at the
Yang mana
HP
koin emas,
differences in
Krista?
the lobby. Has Shogun and Wet Jungler 60 HP each, both of them, and the rest of the lobby is 20 HP each.
Yeah, and I just noticed something as we jump back to Weijin's board at the end of that fight. He had LDP on Echo and Silco in that last fight, and you saw his 2 units.
Kayaknya West Universe kalah nih.
LDP diff there, so
Itu
he
di tengah
has to be
kiri.
careful. Make sure the
Itu di
Jinx and the
tengah
Graves have this, or at
kiri.
least the Jinx has got it. As he goes into this next fight, Honglian versus Weijin.
Yang
This
gold
could
ini.
be an elimination.
Yeah, Honglian has been holding on like an absolute
Nggak
hero
bisa
for
lihat
such
itu
a long
ya.
time. Keep your eye on whether or not that Nautilus dies, because he is hella chunky.
And here comes the Jinx. There's the cast from the Rockets, and the Nautilus goes down. Graves is still up, but she finally gets taken out, and it's just up to Jinx. Can we get excited for North America? As Hong Lien will take his worst placement of the tournament so far with an 8 here in game 1 of day 3.
It's not an accolade. You want to earn the first elimination of finals.
Ini ya di kiri tengah, ini duit ini.
You know, it's such a hard place to come back
Ini kan,
from.
nah udah kelihatan kan maksudnya ini duit.
The problem of playing with only one life, you can take risks, you can be a little greedy, but in this lobby with people
Apa ini? Kalau koin ini namanya lokasinya.
there's no
Ini.
guarantee.
And they're not holding anything back at all. Gold spent across the entire board. We've noticed the people
Yang milih awal-awal sebelum main tuh kan milih ada 3 portal tuh, itu milih lokasi ya. Setiap portal kan ada efeknya sendiri.
Closing fast.
Yeah, and as you can see,
Yang di
multiple
board.
players
Oh, ini.
potentially on 1 life here, right? Weijin.
Yang kiri tadi tuh, ini nih.
Getting low enough that
Ini
it's probably
Tactician
2.
Crown, nambah
And here
1
is
slot.
the fight between Hanxing
Ini
and
pergabungan
Xiaoge.
antara
Xiaoge has the Dragon, the
spatula mas
Cataclysm getting
spatula.
a massive
Oke, West
stun.
Universe nih
As
nyawanya
you
tinggal
get
10.
pulled up
Apakah
on our
bisa
left
berhasil?
side here against Tidal.
tinggal
And it
Jinx.
looks like
Oh,
that
masih
Jinx
bisa.
is getting
Masih selamat
plenty
ya.
of damage out, so Tidal gonna be on 1
Tidal
life.
tinggal dikit nyawanya.
Hanxing
Si
not
Hanxing
going to
kita
be
lihat.
able to take down
Nggak
the
bisa.
Belveth with
Si
Demacia.
Cina udah kalah
And he
2
goes
ya,
down,
si
and look
Cina.
at this itemization. Demacia, so it has the Warmog's armor. We saw Weijin do that tech as well with the Belveth in a previous day.
Cina tinggal 1
It is
lagi
so
tuh si
effective.
Xiaoge
So
ya.
with that means
Masih
2 of our 3
bertahan.
Chinese
Berarti ada
players
3
are out in
China
the
ya.
bottom positions in our first game. They've got 1 more player in the mix. They can still take the first.
Shurima spot for Altanawe. He has a Tactician's Crown. He is only level 7 out of how
Shurima.
much gold he has to
Ada
actually
saran
go
nggak
to level
nontonin
8.
siapa
But
bang?
he
Gue
really-
tertarik
that
main
may be the
gamenya.
spike
Oh,
that he needed.
banyak.
Yeah, if he can make it to level 8
BB
here, I mean,
bagus.
he's on 1 life, but all
Bani
he has to do is
Mafin
get to 8 and he
bagus.
should be able to put it in.
Terus
I guess the
Moskov,
other
kayaknya
potential though
Moskov
is
atau apa?
finding that
Itu bagus.
Cassante, and maybe he's not there
Cari
yet.
3 itu
We
sih
know
Krista.
Altanawe along with Wet Jungle, one of those players who dug down deep to even make it here to today.
One more round.
We've got some upgrades coming in, and that next round may look very precarious
si
indeed.
Altanawe.
Oh, he is on Azir 1.
Tinggal
It is
3
gonna be
nyawanya.
so difficult for him to survive.
He only needs 1
Bang,
round.
di Monster Hunter World
Only
udah
1
melawan
round
Anjanat
he'll
ya?
be able to
Udah
level
Raditya,
8.
udah. Kenapa?
He also
Dengan
has a
Anjanat?
Cassandra as well, but
Normally that's not a major
Oh, lagi
ask,
lawan
but
itu
you
kah?
look at those HP totals, time is running out.
Yeah, and his matchups are
Bakal
Tidal,
bisa sih
Weijin, or
Altanawe.
Xiaoge, all of which have
Kayaknya nggak
relatively
bisa
strong
sih.
boards, but this front line is great from Altanawe. Look at this
Backline-nya jelek banget ya,
goes
backline-nya
up against
si
Xiaoge, who
Azir.
did complete that Sona 3. That is massive to get the attack speed onto the Quinn. Altanawe fighting for his life, Tidal as well.
Si
But
Tidal
Altanawe
juga nyawanya
still
tinggal 7,
having
bakal
that
berhasil.
Mordekaiser alive,
Mordekaisernya
trying to
tetap
take out the
hidup.
Belveth, while Tidal
Oh,
able to take out
Tidal
Volta's
masih hidup ya,
board,
si
but the
Altanawe.
Belveth looking
Lawan
to claim
Belveth,
another
lawan
victim.
Belveth ya cukup sih.
Altanawe could
Belvethnya
not make it to the
mantap banget
promised land of level 8 could not find the 9 Shurima.
For whom the Belveth tolls a very early find, which has been grinding away at the HP of the lobby. Of course, we are in the grand final. We expect big things.
Great free. He finally hit at level 7, I guess, but look at HP. If he can actually survive one more round, maybe Bolt, maybe title, they'll go.
Ini udah pertarungan 5 besar. Wasian version sama title yang mana tinggal 1 digit sama si Volta ya.
Not quite yet, but title and Volta both on elimination station alongside Wasian.
Kita lihat Wasian version lawan Volta.
Volta barely alive, Wasian barely alive as well.
Siapa yang akan keluar terlebih dahulu?
The affiliates, of course, will be stacking up, but that Graves is huge.
Oh, lagi main God of War Ragnarok.
Kasante takes out the Graves, but Jinx trying to carry the weight of the world on her shoulders. The rockets firing away, and Graves is back. Where did he come from? What happened? Did Rogue proc and he jumped back on the board?
I guess so. Volta's out in 5th. We have got ourselves an incredibly tight top 4.
Dibuang tadi ya, kalian lihat nggak sih ada yang dibuang keluar dari bot?
To see the journey that the Graves did to return. I guess Wasian didn't.
Oke, Wasian 4 besar ya. Dia sangat
senang
banget di gini. Alhamdulillah gitu katanya ya.
Graves refused to faint because he didn't want you to be sad. They've got that powerful connection going on.
Masang koyo lagi di kaki. Dipupu ya, dipupu. Di Kempol, ding.
And Title still have a lot to work with.
And look at the matchups. Title against Wasian. This is a fight for third place.
That's a really good shout. The last few items will be creeping in. Kassa, who do you think is coming out the best from this last pickup?
Oh, the last pickup, what we end up getting? Wasian got a Shiv that doesn't really do too much for his board overall. I'm seeing a jeweled gauntlet for Xiaoge, and that could potentially itemize the Mordekaiser, and I think getting the Demacia Mordekaiser itemized might be the biggest win.
All right, we're going to go face-to-face. Title against Wasian Iverson.
Tantangan Wasian. Ini sama-sama yang kalah keluar ya. Kita lihat. Mordekaisernya. Fioranya udah ngincer Jinx. Ini Wasian version kan keluar.
But it's not enough. She gets blasted to oblivion. And Wasian turned on the jets and made it to a top 3.
You know, the beautiful thing about Wasian's board, that he actually found 6 Sun. With the 6 Sun, he managed to grab a robotic arm as one of the final on the 6 Sun implants. He found it, and look at the board. That Jinx, which was also a lot of damage before, now it's even doing even more.
Oh, wow. So we've got at least Wet Jungler and Xiaoge on a decent amount of HP, but Wasian still could push further.
Yeah, the spirit of North America, the spirit of T-Lides in this board for Wasian, they all work so hard together, and Wasian pulling this off beautifully.
3 besar ya, mantap. Lawan Xiaoge.
Just front to back, trying to go into the Queen.
Yep, and look at the Graves. He's got a good ability to get to the backline. Immediately jumps onto the Kale, but now he's onto the Sona.
Bisa
Graves should be able to take out this
hilang.
entire backline, but no. There's the proc from the Shimmer Injector. That is the most important Zon mod for this composition when you play around the Graves. And that is why he will not fall.
And Wasian is doing a really good job position here in this turn. He tried to snipe
Maka jangan-jangan
comeback anjir. Turn before he put all the units in the back so they could walk up and go into Title's backline.
Yeah, that was absolutely huge. It's such a sinking feeling seeing all of your carefully put together backlines just ripped
asunder. Wasian version comeback ya.
Junglernya
memang masih 40.
The challenges, I have to wonder if there's some, if eventually they're just going to cap out and stop being as effective as they have been.
It's a Fura 1. He needs a Fura 2 to actually cap out, so it's going to be eventually. We'll see if he can actually get it there, but he's fighting against
Wasian version lawan Ghostnya si Jungler ya.
But not on the correct side, so might not be able to find any purchase onto the Sona and the Quinn, even targeting onto the Kai'Sa. But looking at
Wasian version kalah lawan Ghost.
Just the rockets from the Jinx, and now it's only a Graves remaining. There's the cast. There's the Shimmer Injector, keeping him alive again. As we see down here, Wet Jungler, Aatrox, Challenger Aatrox, World Ender, gonna take the win.
He's an absolute beast.
Wasian version Grave-nya masih bisa live
destruction, and that's exactly where we ended up. Xiaoge going down to single-digit HP. Wet Jungler.
Si Xiaoge juga tinggal satu digit ya.
How is he doing it? The resilience, the willpower to not die was actually
carrying through. Ditunggu dulu anjir.
Maybe it's an NA versus EMEA fight to see who's gonna win, and maybe Wasian can be on top.
Oh, maybe he can get there. We have seen this Zon Rogues go 8th a lot, but we also saw it go first quite a bit in North America. A lot of times that was piloted by T-Lights when it happened, and it is such a powerful composition. You get the 6 on online, and he has the perfect hits with Shimmer and Robotic Arm.
And Xiaowei knows how the fight goes. He's actually lost against the Rogues before. Maybe he's gonna try to adapt a little bit of the positioning, so maybe the Graves
Lihat
doesn't get
jungler
to the
bakalan
backline.
siapa?
Hey, we'll see.
We'll see who Wet Jungler goes up against, if it's going to be the Ghost or not. It's the real deal here. We'll see if the Jinx is good enough.
Oh,
If the
Jungler
challenges
lawan
are so much better than expected.
Yeah, it's the real Weijin. Have to watch out for
Weijin
the
version.
Jinx. She's
Kita
free
lihat.
firing away, but I'm looking at that
Oh,
Aatrox.
kalah
He's been
sih,
an
nggak bisa,
absolute
nggak kuat.
animal in these
Nggak
fights.
kuat lawan
And
Wet
Graves
Jungler
is
ya.
down. Weijin is down. Wet Jungler with the challengers. It is too much power.
EMEA on top.
Atropnya itu ya, atropnya challenger ya.
They're really good at TFT. What junglers is coming from? Two top ones to actually make it into the finals. Maybe he can make it 3 top ones in a row, maybe 4, maybe 5. Maybe we can go home early. At
All
this
right,
point,
I'm glad you're willing to throw your lot in behind Amir based on the first game.
This game is a very momentum-based game.
Nih,
When
Xiaogunya
Jungler can
harusnya
actually
kalah sih.
close it down. That's great for the future.
Kita lihat.
But we shall see. Perhaps we should
Nih,
see
last battle ya kalau Xiaogi kalah ya.
Right here and now.
Yeah, once again, Wet Jungler maybe on the wrong side against Xiao Ge. There's not going to be a big stun from that Jarvan Cataclysm, but again, the Aatrox is the big punisher in this fight.
Oh,
He makes it to the back line. Let's see if the
terlalu
healing comes
ngeri.
through. With the Bloodthirster, it's there, it's plenty, and there's the win for Wet Jungler in game
Wet Jungler ya,
number
menang
1 of
game
the
pertama.
final.
We knew it was
The grand
veterans
final.
versus the new bloods. The new bloods come out on top in the first game. That has got to, again, feel absolutely incredible for Wet Jungler. And, of course, all our friends in Berlin as well.
He's having a great performance, right? Like I said, 2 top ones, a 3rd top one, yes. Maybe he can continue that way, and he's actually doing the thing that we were wondering about.
Mantap,
Can Challengers
mantap.
actually pull it through? Can he actually tempo his way into being into capping as high as possible? And he did it.
And the key piece is that Aatrox, finding it, allowing him to scale up that board and even beat some of these incredibly strong boards that the rest of the field had put together.
Gentle friends, we have 6 games today. We are only done with one of them, with Wet Jungler coming out on top from Amir. We'll, of course, be taking a short break when our analyst desk will return and break down everything that
Udah
happened,
akhirnya yang juara 2
everything
gak
that's
berubah
going to
posisi.
happen for the
Nah,
rest
itu
of the
gak tahu
day.
ketat
We'll
ya.
see you in a few minutes' time.
Mungkin udah gak kuat juga sih.
He finally gets taken out, and it's just up to Jinx. Can we get excited for North America as Hong Lien will take his worst placement of the tournament so far?
To explode as the ball.
Kasante! Kasante takes out the Graves, but Jinx trying to carry the weight of the world on her shoulders. The rocket's firing, and Graves is back. Where did he come from? What happened? Did Rogue
Gripnya balik lagi anjir, padahal udah dibuang ya.
For Wet Jungler in game number 1 of the final.
We knew it was.
Aku tiduran bentar ya guys.
Welcome back to our analyst desk here after game number 1. Baby throwing some peace signs up there, but we're going to talk about the high highs and the low lows, because in this format, it is checkmate after all. It matters whether or not you're able to rack up those points, whether or not you're able to get to the checkmate of 20 points as soon as possible. Now, starting at the bottom, Honglian unfortunately getting an 8th there. He had a really good game plan of like bringing that Twisted Fate, playing a lot of Bilgewater day 1, day 2. Doesn't work out with that final lobby.
Kemana bang?
Yeah, it was unfortunate.
Tiduran dulu,
You know, his
Raden.
lowest performance in the first 2 days was a 5th. So to
3
come out
hari,
with an
aduh.
8th place here is really rough.
Ternyata
He had a
yang
good
leher
game plan,
terkena
he had the
rambut.
Twisted
Kena rambut
Fates,
nggak sih ini?
He was pushing
Kena
towards
rambut
that
sih, anjir.
Bilgewater, even managed to find 2 Bilgewater emblems, which
Nah,
is really
lega
powerful.
enak ya.
But I think he kind of got baited by
Berhasil
the
ya,
Piltover.
berarti ya, calon
He held
pasnya.
that Piltover a long time, was able to cash out.
3 hari
with his
tidur
health, gave him
jam
some
2
items.
bang.
But the reality is when your health is that low, you're losing the tempo of Bilgewater, and one
Udah
bad
jam
matchup
1
and
ya.
you're out, and that's what we saw. Just one bad matchup, ends up going 8th. I don't know, I felt like the Piltover was a big mistake there.
Unfortunately, also 2 players on that Zon line, one of them also picking out that Gunner, baby. Talk to me about the rise of Wajan Iverson in that lobby. We were thinking that he was going to get knocked out, and suddenly he finds that stability.
Okay, so what are the downsides of picking the
Nah, ini ini namanya BB. Siapa? Tadi yang nanya.
like a spatula, like a synergy, like
Ini namanya BB, Krista. Ini konten kreator dia. BB kalau enggak Rodan, nanti juga ada Rodan. Rodan juga konten
He
kreator.
rolled faster than our fine Chinese representative, and he did manage to use that to his advantage to monopolize the jinxes and the graves
Korea.
that the other like a player could not hit. So he actually used his money faster, he got the units faster, snowballed his advantage, hold on there to the last spot, and got a 3rd and an 8th place situation.
Speaking of holding on, there is someone that's holding on, fishing out yesterday with the 1st place and knocking in another one today. Wet Jungler did it again, Panda.
Ya, lagi-lagi ya Jungler ya. Kemarin untung juara 1 bisa masuk ke final ya. Sekarang pembukaan game pertama juara 1 lagi
starting
ya.
off with the challenger emblem, going into the very impactful combat augments, as Baby has mentioned throughout the entire weekend. LDP is fantastic for challengers. Into not today, which is not the most common pick.
Wah, senjatanya Jinx, guys.
In that rogue matchup for the
Itu
Aatrox,
senjatanya
for the
Jinx,
Fiora,
senjatanya
so drop
Jace.
the aggro. And we saw the Aatrox. When he comes back, he feasts on this Sona on
Itu
the
senjatanya
Queen that
satunya
can't do
senjatanya
anything
Warwick
enough
ya.
damage or HP to survive Aatrox's World Ender.
Well, let's have a look at our very surprising standings after game
standingnya
number 1. There's 8
jungler.
players, there's 1 game. They're gonna have the points of their respective placements after game number 1. But of course, this is going to change up. Quick reminder, maximum amount of games for today is 8. After that, it is going to be the standings that matter if no one, for some reason, makes it to check after all of those games, which is highly unlikely. But
Masih bagus nggak bang? Masih bagus banget di sini. Kebanyakan pakai masih dikomboin sama Slayer.
I do have a question though. Did any one of you see these weird luggages at the airports in the APAC region? We've got this strange video that somebody sent to us. Why don't we have a look?
Apa ini? Apa ini guys? Apakah season 10? Apakah ini tentang season 10 guys? Ada ID Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapura. Teaser mobilenya. Wow. Thailand, Filipina, Indonesia. Mantap sih ini buat loading screen ya.
Entirely sure
Mobile,
how all
iya,
of
Raden.
this stuff made it through the security checks and what exactly it means, but I think people should stay tuned for maybe some more updates because I think that might have been a teaser.
Yeah, I'm, I think sticking around and tuning in till the end will be a pretty good idea. There might be
bakal ada teaser nih di sini.
I think so too. We could have a party here, but we are going to have a party for game number 2 because our casters are getting ready over there, Panda. What do you have?
I'm just laughing at the fact that you mentioned teaser, we all started looking at Mortog. Like, do I leak more things an hour later?
Soalnya yang di sini Mordog tuh developernya sendiri ya.
Not yet, but you will get them later on. We're going to be seeing what players do for
semuanya konten kreator, si Mordog sendiri developernya pada. Makanya pas ngomong teaser pada ngeliatin dia semua ya.
Anything yields different results. Here are our amazing casters for game number 2.
Desk, everyone. Oh my gosh, what a game 1 we had. The ranks of champions, of course, awaiting their newest entrant. Wet Jungler making the strongest case. We heard from him before. He wasn't going to change a thing. Apparently, that was the right move.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of the players who was able to make challengers work previously, and it's worked for him once again, able to snowball his lead all the way and find that victory.
I have my good luck charm with me.
Good luck charm.
Now as Brandis and Octopus, so I'm just giving him good vibes. But as you said,
terus si Mordog, GG dia developer sekaligus player atau content creator. Iya sih lo.
But for a lot of players, they need to change their plans. Hong Lian, we are very quick A. He needs to find some way to actually
game kedua, kita mulai.
Right, anyone who's tuning in late, Wet Jungler came in first, Shauga in second.
Jagoanmu siapa sih lo? Jagoanmu keluar ya, udah keluar ya. Sekarang jagoanmu siapa?
Cass, as we talked about before, we already, even after a single game, have players in dramatically different circumstances from each other.
All right, well, we're going to see if everybody's eating good because Bandle Cafeteria has popped up. Half of the lobby there, but a lot of players also looking at the Warlord's Palace. Wet Jungler wins the lobby, wins the portal pick. We're going to Shurima.
I do like the choice of actually going to Warlord's Palace, especially if you're an Earth gamer, you want a lot of emblems, but you don't want to guarantee a couple of those Shurimas, Noxus, Pilchwellers. You don't really want to give that possibility to those players. You just need the advantage to yourself.
Si Kurum udah rungkat kemarin, iya udah rungkat dia.
In our first game, we did see quite enough spatulas being shared out liberally with the field. Perhaps we'll see the same again.
Yeah, Shurima Bazaar really was making it quite the bizarre game with everybody having so many extra emblems, but we've seen it quite a bit this time. Warlords not going to be the same case overall. Looking at Wei Jin straight away, this is somebody who hadn't picked Ancient Archives in quite a few of his games, but last game, everyone that was on Earth did pick the Oddman.
It's probably going to be the same moving forward. Maybe 5 or 6 players are going to choose the Ancient Archives. Maybe one's going to try to find something different. But if it is a silver augment, maybe no one is going to go branching out, or maybe only a couple.
Yeah, it's hard to say. There's a lot of branching
out. There's a lot of gamblers. A lot of people like to gamble.
Malam-malam enaknya makan apa ya?
So, I mean,
Well, I mean, that's one of the larger ideas, isn't it, here? You know, particularly for our players who
Di
came in
godok kalau
dead
misal
last in the
hujan.
previous game. You know,
Kapan
they've
rilis Indo
got
bang?
more
Tanggal
incentive to try
22,
and take
Ryan Dani.
riskier moves,
Tadi
but
udah di
of
teaser
course,
sih, ada
if
tulisannya
you have a bad
ID
first game and then have a bad
Indonesia ya.
second game, you are massively behind everybody else.
Especially speaking about Hong Lian, he needs to bounce back. The Twisted Fate tech has been working in the past. He needs to find a way to just say, maybe the last game was just a fluke. Maybe what you're doing is correct.
Well, I mean, according to the stats, it kind of was a fluke, right? Because he had never gone below a 5th throughout the entire tournament.
Branching out.
And now he found himself an 8th, and as you said, branching out, how many people are clicking it?
The observers are teasing us here.
Branching
with
out
that
ya,
possibility.
bukan
We see
trade
them
off
plotting
Tom
in.
ya.
We actually are, as you said, Pyhat, seeing some of our players
Berarti branching out tuh
deciding
acak
not
ya.
exclusively to go for branching out. Wet Jungler picking up the inconsistency, and Honglian, of course, has the chance to pick up the Pandora's items in silver.
So I'm seeing 5 branching outs, if I'm seeing correctly, and we're seeing a wide variety of them. I'm really
Singular
interested
ngambil
in Title's one because he has
argumennya
the
Twisted
Void's pad.
Yeah, Tidal actually one of the players who played
badanku
towards
panas
the
semua.
6 Voids, I believe. And a lot of players actually went in that direction and found good success. At 6 Void, it was like a 3.38 average placement, which is incredible for a composition that is just supposed to be tempo and a lot of times places in that middle of the pack. But we found a lot of players actually going first with it.
Well, Pai, if we do see, of course, we'll be seeing the Void in longer term. What are you liking most at the moment? Relying more on the Herald or pushing it all the way up to Baron?
I think Belcos is your main priority. For sure, you want to hit Belcos free, maybe even Rek'Sai free, as early as possible. Just try to out-tempo the entire lobby. Maybe
Bang,
you
aku
can go
baru
to-
main
I've
ini
seen
game
people just
semalam
sticking
untuk
to
ranked
just
bronze.
the Herald and continue
yang
with the
bagus
Herald
apa ya?
Zidane, as you guys like to call it. But it's kind of a gamble.
Yeah, I mean, in the stats, going
Main
to
apa
8
ya?
has actually just done a lot worse.
Mungkin
The Baron has not been
bisa
successful
main
over the course of this tournament. A lot of that might just be lobby tempo and the fact that playing
Demacia.
really high tempo Void is
Demacia
better than
Slayer.
trying to scale into the
Nah,
late
kalau
game,
enggak
where
itu
even
kocak.
if you hit the Baron,
Buka
maybe you're contending
TFT
with somebody
Start
who's now been
atau
able to go to 9
websitenya,
and play chase rate.
TFT
And
Mobility
just changing
atau
the
TFT
topic
Meta. Kamu
because
bisa
we're
lihat di
seeing
situ
the
tuh
Colombian,
meta-metanya.
and we're seeing the spats as everyone grabbed. We're seeing at the massive spot for both.
Kalau di turnamen ini banyak yang pakai Demacia. Dia legendnya pakai Urf ya. Tapi mungkin kalau buat pemula agak sulit sih kalau main Urf.
Altena is going to contest him.
Yeah, you mentioned before, the MF being a potential option to come in here.
Soalnya
Of
Urf
course,
tuh mainnya
Clash
fleksibel
play very
banget.
well together this year, and the MF both getting a lot out of that AP.
Yeah, for sure. So Asian, I mean, definitely going to consider.
Jadi mending
that
mungkin
direction.
legendnya
He
bisa
has
main
been kind of the most
Twisted Fate
successful
dulu
one this year. He
buat
really likes playing
ngapalin
around that
item
unit.
ya.
The strategist does work for that composition. We even saw
Void
the Telstrator
bagus,
there with
apalagi
him
kalau kamu
being
dapat
on
Void
the
Emblem.
Misfortune comp and having very good positioning there.
Bisa ngeluarin Baron.
I think he's the wet jungler of this game. He's pushing
Yeah.
levels. He's at level 5 at 2-2 if Challenger's pad. We've seen in the last game how strong it can be. Maybe we'll see it again.
No, it is in his wheelhouse. We noted there are a
Oke, si
couple of
Wet Jungler
players who
nggak
have
listrik
led more
lagi ya di
heavily
sini
into
ya.
that.
Dia
It's just saying, it is a very narrow line
oh
of success.
ngambilnya
So you've got to have that experience there.
unkonsistensi.
Yeah, realistically, I mean,
Ya nggak
Hanjin
sih?
is actually
Atau
one of the
apa
very
itu?
few players who have had success with the challenger line. A lot of the players who have been putting up pretty poor results. In fact, Xiao Ge, one of the other players in this lobby, the only times he bought forward was on challengers. It was the only comp he wasn't
bosok
successful
tapi.
with. So very few players have made it work. We saw
Kalau sih
Wet Jungler in the
fightnya
last game,
digabung
maybe
Bruiser
Hanjin
sih
could do the
paling.
same here.
And this is great
Fight
for Wet
Bruiser.
Jungler. Maybe if he's able to win and
Sekarang udah bosok banget ya
consistency,
Zilo.
continue that streak of free gold every round, it's going to be great for him and in going forward. Because you want the streak, of course, but
Kalau di turnamen ini sih nggak ada yang kelihatan sih main
cannot sleep on it.
Void. Kebanyakan paling Voidnya dibikinnya
If Wet
Bruiser.
Jungler can keep flip-flopping
Dia nggak
back and
terlalu
forwards
kuat-kuat amat.
between wins and losses. That's a good
Oh.
amount of gold into the inventory.
He's keeping a streak, which obviously is good, but you're grabbing inconsistency and not being able to pursue it feels bad.
Yeah, it's especially rough with a loss streak, right? If you grab inconsistency and
ada
then you
spatula.
win streak, it's like, okay, well, I still get good gold and I
Ada
don't
spatula
lose any
di
HP,
itu
so
pula,
whatever, that's
bagus
fine.
banget.
But with loss streak,
Championnya
losing
lumayan,
HP
3
and
pos.
losing
Oh,
value
diambil
Drago,
sama
which is
Altanahui.
horrible, but
Si Honglian juga
not
pengen
that
ngambil
horrible.
ternyata.
Spatula for Altanahui.
That's interesting because Altanawi has got the Freljord initially rather than having a spatula.
Altanahui dapat dia pakai apa? Oh, dapat
The
Frail
big thing
ya.
about that is being
Cuman
able to
Veil
use
nggak
the
bisa
Freljord as a
dibikin,
flex piece. It
dari-
could just pair
dari
up with
spatula
an
ya?
Ashe if you go for Vanquishers. It could pair up with the Sejuani if you play around Bruisers and go into just whichever probably Vanquisher still on the carry, but that is the likely position. Maybe Shurima even as a potential input.
He has the option. The good thing about Ferelder, as you said, it's a splash. It's a splashable trade. We've gotten so used to seeing 6
mulai
or
panas
9
badanku,
trades,
anjing.
but those is really there are not as many comps like that, trades like that, but having 2 or 3 failure will always be good.
We check in with Volta, of course, who did decently well in the previous game, landing a 5th, back onto a very powerful emblem, as we said, from the branching out. Got decent backline optimization for the time being. We'll see if he can keep this win streak going.
All right, the Melio going to be trying to keep it going up against Hanxing.
Si Volta lawan siapa tuh si Volta?
But it's not actually a very strong board for
Oh,
Hanxing.
lawan
Just a bunch of
Hanxing.
1-star, so Volta should be able to continue the streak here heading towards Crux.
And maybe
okay,
this is a different approach as you see to the Massive, because the Massive you're already thinking Queen or Mordekaiser, but he's actually trying to itemize maybe even a Sona early game and just using the Shoin plus the Milio to try to win for now.
So how do you guys compare that in terms of approach? Because we've seen the Queen be very, very good. Is taking a more AP-centric line, a viable way to go?
Yeah, I mean, I think AP can still be great. I think Misfortune's the main one we look at. Silco hasn't overly
Oh,
been
title.
successful, but
Aku kayak gini ya.
Mordekaiser,
Enak ini.
Kaisa,
Kayak
and
berasa
Azir can
tiduran.
all flex with those items.
And I'm just wondering, now that we're watching back on
Damage-nya jadi damage-nya siapa? Kalau di sini damage-nya kebanyakan pada Queen. Queen sama Fiora. Kalau misal dapat emblem Slayer, emblem Slayer dikasih ke Fiora.
Yeah, it's both times. I mean, this is another Piltover play from Hong Lian, but he's already on a 4 loss. He's looking for the 5 loss, but he's already down to 67 HP. And if he wants to meaningful Piltover cash out,
Oh, si Hong Lian mau lost streak ya.
I mean, this is the key, isn't it? You look at his portrait down
Pakai
the
Pit
bottom right,
Lover
you see he
dia.
has 1
Mencoba
point
pakai
in
Pit
the
Lover
game.
lagi.
He needs
Di game
a big
sebelumnya
win
dia
here just to
kalah ya,
reset
nomor
his form
8
day
ya.
and let him
Jadi
get back
mau
to
nyoba
regular
lagi
TFT.
anjir.
But
Nyawanya
unlike
udah
the
67
last
nih.
game, he doesn't have a spatch. He doesn't have a spatula. He's not gonna be able to go to those 5-7 build shorter to maybe even cap out and try to just cash as early as possible. Having 59
Oh, a
HP
jungler.
with only
Oh,
3
udah.
charges of build tower only being at 6
Si
up
Title
to 7.
sama si Volta win
Doesn't look
streak ya.
good.
we came into this saying Hong Lian is our lowest variance player, and then back-to-back games playing for like a 2-5 just incredibly high variance plays, right? The potential of cashing out, going for a win, but it hasn't happened, and there's a lot of potential to just bomb out if you don't hit on your first roll down.
Kita lihat ya apakah Hong Lian bisa cost out banget atau kebablasan kayak game sebelumnya. Soalnya ini risky banget sih. Lagi di final ya.
And there are 2 players that are continuing their streak. Volta with the Demacia just trying to out-tempo their lobby and just go to level 7 as early as possible. And Title, when you want to reroll, you want that HP cushion so you can actually roll in peace and not be punished for just trying to be as low as possible.
Yeah, and we see Title actually going to level 6 now. We see he does have
Title udah level 6
Vel'Koz on his
ternyata.
board, and he picked up an Azir
Level 6 sendiri dia.
intermediate carry.
Oh, si Volta nyusul.
Dia
mau nge-keep itunya, win streak-nya di sini.
He pivoted the Demacia emblem to the front line to play around that Alawi too.
I do think that's smart. Early game, the tank stats are really meaningful. You go towards maybe a pop, not really a poppy, but
Ini tulisannya si Wasiani version, tapi gambarnya bawah Volta anjir.
You may see that now.
Yeah.
The Shoyin is already on a Queen. It wasn't on a Son.
Nah, gitu dong.
We fight for the Masya.
Voltanya ternyata di atas.
Actually, so early.
Oh, menang Volta ya, masih lanjut
We
win streak-nya.
will see the loss streak remain in place. So, as you noted before, we've got the multiple win streaks still remaining in place. That's a lot of pressure down on the bottom players and the HP totals.
Harap masih kedengar kan?
At 46
Aman kan guys, aman.
already in this game. Once again,
Ayo,
racing to the
main
bottom.
kedua, ke gold
See if he
sekarang.
can turn around that cash out and actually make something meaningful of it, because in the previous game it just was not there.
And I'm trying to see if there's anything that actually stands out.
Ada dapat dedication. Si Hong Lian dapat dedication diambil. Dedication-nya.
Potentially going for a Baron play this time with 2 of them. He hasn't committed to rerolling yet, and he was tempo leveling up. But now we actually see him grab it and then roll down. It's a very interesting play from Tidal.
All right, so Payat, we haven't seen a ton of the Void being played.
Oh, si Hansing ambil
what is the approach for this game, you think?
I think it's similar to what we
Yang nambah
saw with challengers. You want to be, you have to have as many units in 2 stars
Ya,
as early as possible.
Alternate
So you
sama
can
Hong
actually
Lian
win streak
ambil
your way
dedication
through.
ya biar bisa dapat
And
emblem.
I'm curious,
Si
there are
Title,
2
wow,
players, besides the
Void.
emblem, there are 2
Void
players with
emblem menarik
dedication.
banget anjir.
Yeah, one of
Si
them being
title.
Hong Lian is the one that's very surprising for me. I know
Oh, dia udah
Altanawe
punya
still
Void
not especially
Emblem
is gonna be able to
juga
go
ternyata.
vertical if he would
Ya
like,
ini
but,
bakal ada yang main 9
the
Void
one
si
for Hong
title
Lian
guys.
is a
Kita
certain
lihat ya apakah
surprise. He
berhasil
doesn't
ya.
want power now, I suppose, as we see on the other side. That is power now, and hey, maybe this makes sense for title, right? Get the Void Crest so that you guarantee 6 Void at level 6, and that allows you to tempo, and he can still play for the roll down, even though, yes, you don't need to Void Crest when you're playing
Anjay,
Hero
akhirnya
Void.
Void
It does help him
terlihat.
get the tempo now while he's at
Dan
100
di
HP.
Team FT
This is one
Championship
of
dan
those
sekarang ada di
where
final
there are
malah ya.
two people win streak and they may not find each other up until way later into the game. So the HPs are gonna be so separated one from another.
They are in each other's pools, so it's still possible. But yes, the longer these two stay apart, the more damage they will do across the table. Hong Lian,
Si Hong Lian, nyawanya tinggal 34.
trouble for him.
Yeah, I mean, down to 34, we're gonna have to see if he can end up cashing out. Once he rolls down,
Halo
we can
guys,
see what he's
lu
doing
ada 14
there,
orang, jangan lupa
because
untuk
Tidal and
di-like ya
Volta
yang
are
belum
fighting for
like.
that big streak, which is gonna keep them with a lot of pressure. We see, once again, Hong Lian
Oke,
still
kita lihat
has
Hong
not
Lian.
improved this
Paknya
board.
baru
This is
12.
still aiming for lost streak. He has the perfect
Masih
items
pengen
for
lost streak
Nila.
ya.
That is what he's playing for. He has not changed the strat.
Ideally, he loses 2 more times, goes to the 20 cash out, which can
Waduh,
work for a
sakit
bit.
banget nih.
But
Nyawanya
he's
tinggal
having a
20-an.
really bad loss. A 6-unit loss, 21 HP. If he loses one time like that again, he's gonna be on single digits.
He's on pace to go out in stage
Si
3.
Volta sama Title masih
That
win
would be
streak ya, masih lanjut win
absolutely
streaknya.
Wild. Again, do remember our players are pushing forward to try and grab themselves 20 points. Once they do, they will put the lobby in check. If they win a further lobby in first place only, they will win the tournament and claim the title of global champion.
No second spatula for Altanawe. He made a Shurima spot already, but you really want the Tactician's Crown plus the dedication to go towards the highest cap possible, but that's a quite standard one.
Interesting what Altanawe's like total game plan is here, because he did take dedication, and that could either be for Shurima vertical, but also Bruiser would make sense on that board, because you're playing Freljord
Kayaknya
with
abis ini
the
aku ke
Sejuani.
belakang
You
nih.
want to link that and then play a backline of Azir to link Shurima, but it does look like Shurima has
Oh,
been
si
put in,
Altanawe.
and potentially might be what he goes
Namanya
for.
main
but
Shurima ya, tapi
yeah, that
Shurimanya
seems
nggak
to be the
ada
idea with dedication.
emblem satu lagi.
Shurima Rek'Sai, that's
Kalian ada
interesting.
Jace.
Yeah,
Malah
to
dibeli
cook.
Jace-nya.
Bruiser's worked
Roll
pretty
down.
well. Hong Lian
Oh,
though,
enggak
is
ternyata.
on his last ropes. I think maybe not going to get eliminated in this round.
Nyla.
Has at least find the Nila to be able to bring her into play and get some real power behind this board.
He's got the Nila pair down to 21 HP going against Weijin. There seems to be no upgrades across the entirety of stage 3 for Weijin here.
Bakal kita lihat
He's
apakah
still
bisa
just
menang.
carrying the Jinx too. So the cash out potential is here.
Oke, cash outnya sekarang ya.
16 cash
Si
out
Hong Lian.
once again for
16
this
lagi ya,
TX.
16 lagi
We'll
cash
see
outnya.
if he can stabilize with that cash out on 21 HP, 0 gold, but pair of Nilas.
It
Nyawanya
still
tinggal
looks like
21
history is
ya.
repeating itself. Again with only a 16 cash out, again with only 21 HP. Is the cash out any meaningful? It's gonna be a couple items.
Item.
Two components so far? Maybe 4?
Item sama duit doang aja.
A bit of all,
Jelek
which
banget.
is fine with Pandora, but not exactly the thing that's gonna spike you.
It's always a little frustrating when you end up with 2 bows when you've already got your Nila fully itemized before that point.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great call out, right? You need frontline items here, and all we got was 1 cloak, and that's not really going to get it
Gak
done.
ada,
He
iya.
does have Pandora,
Item
so he
item
will
depannya gak ada
eventually
ya.
Get there, but you need
Jelek
to win
semua
now.
itemnya anjir
Does he have an
pada.
eventually, though, is the big
Item
question. So we've got
damage
the one
semua.
frontline item coming into the mix. Altanawe, of course, is desperate to keep his own HP.
lawan
up, and
Altanawe.
looks like this time Hong Lian will be able to
Ini Hong Lian
fulfill
menang
the
sih.
beginnings of a streak.
Yeah, I mean, Altanawe also kind of on a very weak board here,
Altanawe
not able to
turun jadi
stabilize
12
down to 12
nyawanya.
health now. He had a lot of gold though, so I'd like to see Altanawe's roll down, because I'm sure he will do it here on
Si Tato
4-1
udah kalah ya
afterwards.
ternyata.
I'm really worried about him. He has 70 gold right now. He's pump him
Lawan
levels.
Wolf.
He's quite strong. He's gonna spike up. So
Jelek banget
hope
dapat
so.
Freya.
I'm a little shaky. My bias is getting shaky.
I can
so
understand that.
no.
Last time, of course, just the one player in the mix. Altanawe did do not as well as he could have in the first game. So again, we're building towards a scenario where Altanawe could be trying to fight out of a huge hole to even have any chance of winning the championship for Latam.
I mean, this is the massive roll down that he needs to go. He's gonna pump levels. He's gonna be level 7. Will
Yeah.
he be able to find anything meaningful?
And just there, Aphelios 2 picked up for Wet Jungler. Might be able to play around that to keep up the HP for now as he also hits a Terek. So playing around those as we
ada
got the
Jarvan nggak
roll
diambil.
down from Altanawe.
No Asirs. Hanshing already has an Asir too. Weishan already has
Sante,
an Asir
diambil
too.
harusnya.
So those are not showing up for Altanawe. No real carry to make
Taliyah
it
lagi.
spike.
It was a very narrow roll down from Altanawe, and we've seen this plague some of the players in the tournament, especially
Sebenarnya
because on
jelek
this
sih.
patch you playing around very specific
Dia
forecasts.
pulang dulu si
Altanawe
Altanawe
saw
ini.
forecasts, but just
Lawan
none of the
Wasian
ones he
Impression.
wanted.
We're going to have to rely on the Rex side with the Shurima. At least a good amount of punch behind, but the damage coming out of Wage Iverson's board is
Tapi Wasian
tremendous.
Impression damage-nya sakit banget, Nasusnya belum
The
mati-mati.
strategist
Oh,
are calling,
oh.
are calling Altanawe. Might get locked out
Oh.
here.
Yeah, Altanawe falling so incredibly
Oh.
low, but there's the Rex side
Ah,
that
Rexnya
resets.
nggak
She's
kuat,
not
kalah
doing
sih.
enough, and an Ashe with the blue
Pulang.
buff isn't going to cut it.
3-1.
Altanawe will hold on
Oh,
with
tinggal
2
2
HP,
ternyata.
but this is 4-2.
Bukan 1
You
ya,
don't wanna
tinggal
be
2
on
ya.
2 at this point.
Please. I'm just like, my precious. I'm just trying to spam praise in chat right now. But as final, the good thing is the final augment is golden, so the lobby is not going to spike up as much. Is there anything that actually catches your eye? A lot of the Urf grab packs so far.
Weijin passing up another
Weijin ngambil.
strategist emblem and instead just going for the bag to try and get more gold.
Oh,
Recon
ambil strategist
invested
emblem.
into that board and got a support item pickup for Honglian.
Okay, so could be a little bit pushed further, but yeah, we are seeing low HP totals across the board, low gold across our bottom players as well. That's going to be a huge sigh of relief to find the Neela upgrade.
And
Oh,
more
oke, Nilah
aggressive
mantep
too for
banget sih.
Bolt as
Bintang
well.
2
So
nilainya.
the lobby,
Kita lihat
they were
Altanawe
trying to
apakah
roll
bisa
and
selamat
they
di
actually
sini,
did.
guys.
Altanawe, he's only carrying a Rek'Sai and a more than one. I don't know if that's gonna be enough.
See if Altanawe's got enough to hold
Lawan
on
Hansing.
any longer. Again, Altanawe is by far the lowest HP player in the lobby, and we can see
Nggak kuat ya.
Hansing is pushing through with tremendous speed.
Waduh,
Yeah,
sakit
there's the
banget.
Azirs Altanawe was looking for, and it's got a challenger emblem on it. This Azir is
Azir
massive.
dikasih challenger
He's the
emblem
Emperor.
ya.
Altanawe is eliminated, going out in 8th here in the second game on 4-2.
Mantap, 16 yang nonton. Ada siapa aja, guys?
so sad,
Absen dulu lah. Karena sudah ada yang keluar ya.
That happens when you're gambling
Si
with so
Altanawe.
low HP. Sometimes the shops will not go in your favor. You'll not find a way to adapt. And well, we've seen what happens. But alongside Altanawe, Honglian and Weishan are close to
Si Honglian
to
masih bisa
compete in the
selamat.
same
Nyamannya
fate.
tinggal 11 tapi.
Yeah, this
Udah
bottom
ternyata.
is very interesting, right? Altanawe already down, Honglian at 11, Weijin at 18, and then it jumps up to Hongqing at 43.
Yeah, that's going to make all the difference. You just got so much more room to work with. Title, of course, has spent some of that money to get up to Void 8. The Baron is online.
Baron online. in this fight
Baron
against Red
live ya,
Jungler. The
8
Giant Slayer on Aphelios
void
will be massive in this match.
dari
To be able to
title,
shoot that
guys.
Baron, but stage
Kayaknya
4
pertama
Baron
kali
should be able to get the
kita
job
melihat
done for title.
void.
It'll keep scaling throughout the game, but this is still a lot of power for stage 4.
And this lobby just went so fast. You had title and both and both win stream for a long time and pushing the entire lobby up down in HP. Hanshing with the challenge also doing that.
Aku
The Baron, as you
bang,
can see,
halo
is very still in
Raditya.
stage 4. He will win rounds. Honglian did as well, so he's gonna be alive for at least a couple.
Oh,
of
si
rounds.
Honglian masih
We've
live.
stepped ahead of the curve here. As promised, we will get ourselves some extra spatulas to mess around with for our players to try and bring everything together. You know,
Ada spatula di Mordekaiser kayaknya nggak diambil. Apakah diambil?
Closing in, we could be in line for another elimination soon.
I hope not.
Si Title bakal ngambil apa ya?
We'll have 2 players die in the stage 4. That will be a testament of how strong this lobby has been and how dominant Title. Just how great he played this game and how Bolt is actually keeping up with him.
It's always fun when in these Earth
Si Kaisanya belum dikasih item ya, Kaisanya ya.
No one grabs.
Kita lihat
But
Honglian.
nobody's really got a composition
Udah
that really
dapat
wants to use it
Aatrox.
here, so it's a little hard to piece that together.
Well.
Maybe Honglian could have tried with Bilgewater, but when we look at his spot, it would be very difficult to fit that in here.
No, he's got very little to work with at all. At least we have got some of the armor shred on the front line, but it's all about how much damage this Neela can put out. If she can't punch through, the board falls to pieces.
Kita lihat Honglian, apakah dia bisa selamat di round ini? Bakal lawan siapa ini dia?
Survive through stage 4, Weijin in his pool.
Lawan Weijin version.
Instead, it actually will be. It looks like Weijin
Lawan strategis ya, strategis.
is what this will be the fight. He's going up against the strategist, and now Weijin has actually found
Waduh,
this Nasus
waduh.
to complement the board, and I think that makes
Nasusnya
a massive
nahan
difference
banget
in
damage-nya.
time for this misfortune and that strategist board to ramp
Whoa,
up.
whoa, 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 nilahnya. Oh,
almost gets there. The Aatrox gonna pop out.
What?
What's the
Menang anjir
surprise
gara-gara
in the box?
Aatrox-nya
It's
hidup.
Aatrox.
It always is, isn't it? But I mean,
Pas
that's a
banget,
huge sigh
anjir.
of relief for Honglian there to hold on for a little bit longer. Again, we have got
Honglian masih stay alive ya. Masih anniversary turun ke 12 ya, ya.
Here, down in the bottom 4 could reset that.
He's trying to find the Nautilus free, but Honglian is also holding Nautilus, so he may not find them. We've seen MF and strategies be a strong comp in the past, but apparently he's not having enough damage to actually make it matter. Only a Misfortune 1, only Misfortune 2. The series doesn't have that
Akhirnya
much
kurang
damage. And the
item
front line,
juga
the
sih.
Nasus is really trying to hold up, but he's fighting against a really strong board.
Yeah, and he had silver ticket, not able to hit any of the 3 stars.
Lawan wet jungler.
The idea of this comp and just not getting there, and now he has to face wet jungler, and he might be eliminated here.
Harusnya sih kalah sih.
Taking a leaf out of Volta's book with that Aphelios. Needs time to ramp up, and the front line needs to remain in place.
Apheliosnya,
Quite up the task.
waduh,
Damage boost kicking in.
damage boost, Apheliosnya bebas. Nasusnya tetap masih hidup. Wow, ternyata malah wet junglernya ya.
And Nasus is staying alive for so long in that fight. The front line.
Barbar turunin kan 3 hari, Bang.
This is the bad part about
Bang
Weijin
Celok tidur
rolling
3
so
hari, 3
aggressively
hari.
4-6. We are on Warlord's Palace. You need the gold.
32 orang.
Anything, any upgrade,
Terus
any
ngambil
item
8
that you
orang
were
selama
actually
2
looking
hari.
for. I don't know how many
Terus ini
players were
final
actually
day-nya
working
8 orang.
towards that. But so Weijin had to grab the first thing he found.
Yeah, so Weijin ending up with a gun.
Bakal main ini nggak?
Especially with the power
Kalau
of
udah ada
Nasus.
mobile-nya.
But then the other item left over is a bow and a cloak. It's not exactly what you want. Is Volta here going to take more components as well?
I mean, this is the consequence of being in such a high-stakes situation. You have to make decisions that can maybe haunt you for years after this event. If only I made a different choice earlier on.
Well, and for now, at least Volta.
Si Volta 7 demas ya, Slayernya kurang 1 ya, dia masih level 7.
Was the same one in 4-1. He still
bisa pindah region nih.
Maybe go forward. But I do see a lot of people.
Ya, dulu udah dikasih kesempatan sih. Kenapa tidak pindah?
He's alive longer than the last game, so that's some progress at least.
Yeah, and Honglian
dulu
actually
gratis
holding
dulu.
on to 3 components on the bench still.
Sekarang udah berbayar.
Honglian being confident at 11 HP that he can keep winning fights.
Oke sih Honglian ya, tinggal berapa nyaman? Masih 11. Apakah kuat? Itemnya masih ada di bench tuh, gak dipasang tuh. Ada 4 ya. Satu yang udah jadi, udah mulai dipasang. Dikasih ke Aatrox.
Yeah, running into Xiaoge. Gonna be trying to
Kemudian lawan Xiaoge.
Not able to find the Nila, so she's getting a lot of damage through. But can she actually take the fight? It looks like Honglian should be safe here. Big stun from Heimer, but that's not enough on the other side though.
Oke, Honglian masih berhasil. Wah, si pulang ya.
A huge hit being let out there. The challengers apparently need to be more front and center in this conversation.
Weijin goes out. He was trying.
Anjay, si Honglian Istam tuh comeback kah? Berhasil kah? Di sini dia. Lost streaknya.
Honglian being the lowest variance. Weijin very good at playing for top 1 and 2, but since he plays for that highest cap, sometimes we see what happens here. His roll down doesn't go how he expected, and he ends up in a 7th.
No, that's really bad, as you said, Pai. Pretty much resetting his early success.
Si wet jungler
we'll be seeing some interesting stuff on wet jungler's bench.
Yeah, we've been seeing EMEA players going for the 3-star Aphelios a couple times now, and
Honglian lawan
jungler looking to be there.
Lawan jungler ya. Jungler apakah bisa? Lawan jungler. Ini jungler main 5. Bisa lewat nih. Masih menang Honglian ya.
Honglian trying to hold on, still though looking very powerful. This front line has really come together, and it seems as though no board is able to punch through it just yet on a 5-win streak.
We are getting confirmation from our admin, Shad. If you were here, of course, before, you would have seen that we had Volta going at full bore into 3-star Sejuani. In this case, our EMEA players are doubling down. 6 Aphelios for Wet Jungler, 6 Mordekaiser for Volta.
Can we just speak about
ada
how
bintang
flexible
3
has been in this last 2 games?
Dari Volta
He's
sama
playing
siapa tadi?
Challenger. No one really plays Challenger. He's been playing Aphelios. Only he and Volta do that. So apparently his plan towards the final was just grab the comps that aren't really contested.
Yeah, it seems to be working, right? The rest of the tournament, Wet Jungler was very heavily on kind of the default lines. He was playing Demacia, he was playing Ionia, and he just had a few outlier games, but mostly on the primary compositions, and now really branching out.
All right, we'll see if Hanshin can hold on against Xiaoga. Of course, this will be two of our Chinese players against each other. It did not go so well for China in the previous game, and only one player managed to hit the top 4. I think their HP totals are good enough to stay alive, but look at that damage on the back line as he is staying up on the challenges. Needs a couple more shots and will find them.
Yeah, Xiaoga gonna be down to a single life here in stage 5 down at 10.
Si Xiaoga tinggal satu nyawanya.
Surpassed another life
Yancy
total.
masih
He's been
2
holding
sih
on
itu,
for
16
a
tuh.
long time after surviving with that
Oh,
cash
title
out.
kalah
And
lawan
we
Red
were
Jungler.
worried. We were throwing questions about how stable Honglian actually was. And I mean, he's playing TF, he's a master of this comp, so he knows the ins and outs on where is the threshold of actually being powerful. And he's on a 6-win streak right now.
And he's in a really good spot. We
Oh,
have
dia ngambil
Xiaoga
seret ya si
and with
Honglian.
Hanshin just above
Ya, buat
16
depan
and
ya.
10 HP respectively. Our top 4 could belong to Honglian very quickly.
Yeah, he could easily make it to that spot. Wet Jungler at 31 is kind of that next threshold of HP. We've seen Aphelios kind of fall flat a lot of times, but he is close to the 3-star, and I think that's the saving grace considering 60
Oh,
gold
si
to
Wet
roll
Jungler
down for
mau
Aphelios 3
3-star
right now.
Aphelios di
And
sini.
with the Mordekaiser's out
Golnya
of the
masih
pool for Volta, it
51.
will help Wet Jungler get towards these 4 costs.
I also want to point out
Nyawanya masih 31.
title.
Nice banget sih itu.
Slowly, we haven't really spoken too much about it, except for the fact that he found the Baron, but he has 70 gold. He's gonna survive 2 rounds and gonna go level 9. So anyone that can actually fight title and take that free win is gonna be amazing for them, and for their placements.
And Tyler's definitely seized the opportunity here. We will see the elimination this round. It will be China versus China again. Potentially going to be out of the top 8. Misfortune is here, and of course the gangplank.
Gangplank.
The big damage coming through the boat.
Si Xiaoga tidak bisa lawan Honglian bersama
The
Cina.
boat's going to whip
Saling-
onto her.
Oh.
It's down to the Aatrox, but she dashes away, dodging, and that's going to cost Xiaoga here as he will
Xiaoga
fall
keluar ya,
into
turun ya.
6th. It felt like he had the fight, but the
Sesama
Nila with the
Cina ya,
fancy
saling
feet
bertarung.
keeping back and forth.
That will reset his tournament to basically back up
Lemah
the beginning
langsung
after a
ini, Pak.
strong first game. So we're now really looking for our players, particularly Wet
Sampai
Jungler, of
arah
course, who came
kakiku nggak tahu
first
kenapa.
in the first game to rack up a
Gara-gara
lot of
duduk
points
terus.
in this game.
I actually, in the
Kempolnya
analysis,
sampai,
I want to
kempolnya.
listen to
Kamu tahu
Bebe's
kempol
thoughts
nggak?
about 5 build shoulder, because I remember that he's been trash talking about that specific trade points. I mean, there's something that he's doing that makes the comp really stand out. He's going from 11
Si Honglian masih selamat ya ini ya.
Yeah, really made it
Sekarang
work.
lawan
We'll
Wet
see if he
Jungler,
punches through the front
apakah
line
bisa
of Wet
tembus?
Jungler as that Aphelios tries to keep everything alive with the Hextech Gunblade.
And we've got the upgrade onto the Heimerdinger as
Masa
well.
orang
The
Jawa nggak
Ginsu's
tahu,
Rage
nah.
Blade. So Wet Jungler's board is going off here. You can see him sitting back and awaiting as the front line does evaporate.
Oh, masih bisa menang.
To pieces.
Masih
Wet Jungler's
menang,
front line
Honglian, guys.
Not quite good enough.
And where you're playing,
Masih
Nila, you want
selamat
to be
dia.
on the same side as the enemy carry. So you have the big tanks in Nasus and Nautilus, and they will just
Si
last
Title
forever. So Naila,
nyawanya
eventually,
tinggal
whenever she
31 ternyata.
punches
Oh,
through
tapi dia
the
udah level
front line,
9.
she'll go
Si
to the
Title
left
ya.
lane.
Yeah, the massive MVP of Honglian's comp is actually this 4 Juggernaut, not necessarily the 5 build, right? Because the 4 Juggernaut is keeping this Nasus and this Nautilus
Kempol.
alive for so long. Hitting that Aatrox when he did was so incredibly impactful.
Yeah, Jonah's trying to go a little bit
Baik banget
stronger.
rasanya.
But do notice on the
Makanya
right
aku
hand side,
pasangin
you noted the Title had a lot of gold in the bank.
Oh, apa,
That gold
salon
has
pas
gone
yang
forward to level
Chili.
9. Title is trying to cap out big.
And also capping out big, you can see Wet Jungler's bench. 7 Aphelios, 6 Shems. He's gonna start
He's going to
rolling.
send it. He's going to send it all the way down. Look, he knows he has to find it because
Wet
16 is not
Jungler
part of the
harus
stake.
cari
You
Aphelios,
haven't seen
dia
any yet.
ngerol.
30 gold already.
Satu.
Oh, there's an Aphelios. He's 1 away. Can
Satu
he
lagi.
find it? Can he find another Aphelios
Shen.
from Premier? There's the Shen. He's going to have to start selling things to try and look for this. Still not there.
Gak dapet
Couple more rolls. Sells the Shen,
Okay.
doesn't find it. He
Oh,
still
no.
might have 1 more life. 16, not
Masih
safe, but he can
masih
get
satu
it back.
nyawa lagi sih itu ya.
He's fighting against Title, who just leveled to 9.
Title tapi udah level. Oh, lawan Hong.
Hanshin against Honglian. The
Oh,
fight for the
Hangshin
first
lawan
place.
Honglian gitu ternyata.
It's massively important.
Kita lihat Honglian
For our Chinese
apakah
players,
masih bisa
trying not to
selamat.
keep each other too far down. So
Cina
the
melawan
chance
Cina
again,
lagi,
the
guys.
The front line though, those juggernauts you mentioned, they are titanic.
There are
Waduh, akhirnya
too
tidak
much
kuat
for the
ternyata.
challenger board, and Hong Lian going to survive.
Hong
from the
Lian
bottom, 11
balas dendam dia setelah dia
on
tadi
stage 3,
game pertama
up
ya.
to the top of the tables in the top 4.
Jungler, 3-1.
He's got one more chance for Aphelios.
Apelios,
No upgrades. No
Nggak dapet kayaknya.
Cannot get there. He needs to start selling something from his board to look for this. We
Nggak
saw
dapet
something go down.
Apelios ya,
He's
guys.
selling out of some of the Kassadins. Still looking, can't find it. Is there anything else
Maybe
he can sell?
he can find the Nico. There's a replacement Nico on the bench.
Yeah, I could sell Nico, grab the replacement, look a little bit more.
At least nobody is holding the Aphelios that we can see on the bench. But yeah, for
Nggak
Wet
bisa ya.
Jungler, gotta be
Wet Jungler kayaknya kalah nih.
so very close to absolute power.
All right, Wet Jungler
Lawan
trying to stay
Volta.
alive. He's against Volta, who has not been able to find the Mordekaisers either. Here comes the fight. There's trying to break through the front line. The Aphelios having plenty of time and not getting stunned by the Jarvan.
Yeah, we have got the Newsly Big Jam kicking in just a
Dia
second.
masih bisa hidup si Java Junglernya kah?
Enormously, barely there. Now the Aphelios is
Mordekaiser.
on. Mordekaiser kills him
Mordekaisernya.
though, and it's not good enough. Wet Jungler 1, Aphelios away, has to settle for 4.
Wet Jungler
Dipukulin
not going to be able
anjir.
to continue a reign of terror to start things off, but a top 4
Oke, si
following
title,
the
guys.
first is still very impressive to start the day.
Poor guy. He was so close. Well, I do wonder now that we're watching titles board. He's been able to win streak all the way through. He's trying to be so the HP gap was so big, and maybe he'll
Apakah title yang bisa menang
Yeah,
menggunakan
it's possible that he could because Hong Lian is so incredibly strong and has the giant slayer
Void
importantly
atau si
onto
Volta
that
nih
Neela,
dengan
so he can get through
demasinya
the Baron.
demasi yang 4 slayer kan?
Tidal did find this Aatrox 2 and maybe this is enough. It's not fully itemized though, and that's the big difference. He's
Si
going
Volta
up
lawan
against Volta.
Yeah, that Baron, of course,
Title.
is going to be absolutely enormous to try and get through. The ramping up damage is good, but the front line is starting to evaporate. Hong Lian fighting on the left-hand side. We could be seeing
Hong Lian lawan
by
Ghost ya?
the truckload. The Mordekaiser survives all the damage, but then blows up right at the end.
So Volta going to take the damage from the Void. Tidal staying high.
Title peringkat 1.
As we get to the next carousel.
That Gamba
Orang
was
Jepang.
so clutch. The explosion of the ship was exactly what he needed, and now he may breathe in peace. Maybe he won't go third now, but he has a lot of he has a Belbot 2 for title on this comp. That's all you need. That's all you were looking for, and you finally found it. On the other side, Hong Lian 8 Neelas.
Nilah
He's also
bintang.
not hitting.
Tapi nggak ke-hit ya.
Same thing.
Hong Lian has to decide. Do you get your 11 win streak right now, right? You can't sell to look for it. It feels so tough to decide because he's been winning.
Do you change the Aseers? Do you sell the Aseer 2 for Aseer 1 roll, or are you actually that confident in the power of your board?
Dia bisa ngejual Azir, terus beli Azirnya yang di itu ya, dibuat dituker ya. Tapi kayaknya dia nggak berani dia.
Does he feel confident that because it was such a big win, he can win here?
All right, we see Volta's Demacia coming face
Kita lihat dia lawan Volta, Demacia Slayer.
Do not have the Neela going straight into the backline carries. Mordekaiser will be able to stay
Mordekaisernya sih yang masalah
It's so
tuh.
important how long he can stay alive.
Mordekaiser,
Goes down now. Neela still has.
Oke, Neelanya kalau masih hidup sih masih bisa menang.
The Nasus put.
Nasusnya.
The snipe. It's just win 2. No, enough. But Volta lives on 2 HP.
Anjir.
Hong Lian really want the Volta to go out because Volta's holding a Neela.
Nggak ada Neelanya.
Noticing the big win condition for Hong Lian. Can he do it?
Again, Hong Lian came in dead last in the first game. He really needs his first place. It's all in all the time. We're selling down. Can you do what Wet Jungler could not?
He didn't hit.
Dia ngejual.
Now his board's weaker. He didn't think he could beat Tidal. He wasn't confident. And now he swapped in an additional Neela to try and help the back line, but his front line has been softened.
He can go third for that.
Kayaknya nggak bisa nih, Edge udah 2.
Really hard for him. He has went 8. He needs a lot of points.
Terus dapat 3 lah. Dia ngejual ya, tapi nggak dapat ternyata.
Versus Tidal's Ghost on the left. The big boat coming through. Hong Lian, maybe the front line wasn't enough.
Oh my god, so many 4-star disappointments. The respawn is nothing at all as Volta survives against the Ghost. One more cast, maybe you can swing it. She misses with the ult. And Volta takes the L. Hong Lian takes the L as well.
Double kill for
Double
title.
kill
but
buat
Kaisa
title.
on
GG
sub
anjir
10%
double kill.
gets one more cast and finds the win. And Baron, we talked trash on it at the start. And title just said,
Siapa
hey,
tadi
I'd
yang
like to
bilang
prove you
Void
wrong."
jelek? Ayo absen dulu. Siapa tadi yang bilang Void bosok? Void jelek. Ayo. Malah yang menang Void ya guys ya.
Apparently even Hong Lian knew he wasn't gonna win that fight, so he needed to sell everything, and he didn't hit.
And bear in mind, of course, we all saw this in a silver lobby of all things. It starts off with branching out. But of course, they'll bring our second game to a close. Our analysts are frothing at the mouth to break that one down for you. So stay tuned. We'll be back in a few moments' time as we move further into the final day of the Runeterra Reforged Global Championship.
Malah yang menang Void ya, diremehkan malah menang ya.
Hong Lian has the Nila, trying to punch past, almost gets there, the Aatrox. Gonna pop out. What's the surprise in the box? It's Aatrox.
Will ramp up
Oke, tiduran bentar lagi.
barely there. Now the Aphelios is online. Mordekaiser kills him though, and it's not good enough. Wet Jungler 1, Aphelios away, has to settle for 4.
When sub 10% gets one more cast and finds the win.
Welcome back to our analyst desk, and we prepared a lot for you in this one, so hold tight. First of all, Hong Lian on the previous game, going 8th, still sticking to that Bilgewater trajectory, Panda, and it worked out. He came 2nd here.
He's been kind of forcing or defaulting to Bilgewater with his TF for most of the tournament. 50% of his games have been onto Bilgewater, but I think the most impressive thing is you go 8th with this Piltover into Bilgewater strategy. That can affect your mental. For so many players, you try and pivot into something else. Honglian says, no, I think my game plan is correct. He does the same exact thing in game 2, and he finds results, finishes 3rd.
I also think the technical aspect of his play is actually really impressive. There's a lot of small, finite details that's really hard to spot, but even the way he's positioning his Nilo, the way he's trying to position things like his Nautilus, his Aatrox, the way he was organizing his backline, even some of his itemization choices, given he has Pandoras, was really, really clever across the board. I hope I get a chance to talk about it later, because it would take too long for me to break it down, but he's really on point. Yeah, he took an 8th in the first game, but just like Panda said, to have that mental fortitude and focus to continue to play very well technically in game number 2, very impressive from Honglian.
Well, speaking of impressive, of course, someone else ended up on the top on the back of 8 Void Throat, and not a comp we see a whole lot, but of course, a pretty good one.
Yeah, I don't understand this propaganda against Void being bad. I think people have this impression from the very beginning of set 9 when you saw Void all the time. You go to your favorite stat site, you load up the menu, and you always see Void at the top, and everyone's like, nah, that's bait, you have to have a Void emblem. And even when he was hitting the Void emblem, there's people in the back, and some of the analysts were saying like, oh, maybe you should just ignore the Void emblem or just go for something else and play for tempo. Bebe wants to say something.
I mean, I said Voids were bad, and the moment Frodan showed up saying, Bebe, Voids are pretty good, I'm like, nah, he needs to shift to Shurima's. I'm sure of it, I said, and then Tidal gets another voice back. What? He gets Baron at stage 4-1. What?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. But even more than that, I think Void has been really underrated because right now at a global level, especially in competitions, tempo matters a lot. So if you're able to establish 6 Void on 6, that Rift Herald buys you so much time. And as you can tell, the HP that you preserve from stage 3 and 4 almost dictates the placement range that you can play for. Whether or not you're able to play for top 4 or even more is usually based on how much HP you're able to preserve in that mid game. And that's exactly what Void is good at. So I think that was really good execution in title once again. From a spot where he did get some lucky things that happened, make no mistake, it is a little bit high roll, but he converted it very nicely. And that's what you gotta do to win in check.
Nah, ini si Frodan ini namanya.
We have one more moment from that game that we do want to highlight here, and I believe Professor Bebe is coming back for that one. Bebe, talk to us about the roll down of Wet Jungler.
All right, let me show you the roll. Can I walk towards the
Bebe,
Bobby? Yes, Booyah, my
Stage
turn.
is yours.
All right.
Actually, for real.
Now, ladies and gentlemen that is watching, when you play TFT, you always want to be decisive. You have 2 mindsets. You either hit or you don't hit. Do not be in between. So
don't be in between ya. Kalau kalian ngerol tuh kalau bisa ngehit
going for a niche composition,
atau jangan sama sekali
but
ya.
I felt like he could have been a bit more decisive. So what he could have done is that you see these units. Wait. Okay, here we go. You see these units here that is not Aphelios, not Shen. Dinger, 15 gold. Soraka, 6 gold. Right, Gangplank, 5 gold. Nico, 9 gold. Tariq, 9 gold. Kasadin, 6 gold, right? And this Gangplank here, another 5 gold. Do you guys know how much that is? I'm not sure, but it's probably around 50 to 60-ish. You sell all that, right? You sell all that instantly. Buy every single forecast that shows up to your shop and look for Shen 3, Aphelios 3, then buy whatever
Professor
to fill
Bebe,
your front
we have
line.
a question from the audience.
Yes.
Bebe, are you aware that Aphelios is a 4-cost unit and not a 5-cost unit? Aphelios 3, if you sell
No.
You need other units, man.
You have to understand that Riot is a perfectly balanced game. We have Mortdog here.
Riot
You think a
is
4-cost 3-star would ever lose a round with Mortdog around? Nah. That does not happen.
I don't know about
all
this
right,
lesson.
that's how it goes. So you want to be decisive. You want to make sure to get rid of all these like unnecessary units. And once we look at the roll down here, clear the screen. Clear screen. Come on, clear screen. Okay, let's go.
Please be nice to the developer.
One thing is that he's not really buying any of the other forecasts, and I
Yeah,
talked to
Mario
Frodan
Bello.
about this. I think the odd difference is around 30-ish%. If you don't buy any forecasts while rolling down, your odds are 40% to hit. And if you do buy the forecast while maximizing your econ, then I think it's around 70-ish%. So a bit of a small a hiccup here, but this is the tournament scene, so it is very understandable with all that pressure. You want to be decisive, slightly indecisive here, but still regardless, good plays from a jungler.
Well, in fairness, he didn't have that much time, so buying units out, selling them off again needs a lot higher APM, and if you're unsure whether or not you can actually pull that off, then I think it's much safer to play it the way that he did. And of course, we did have a little bit of ratting there in that lobby with Hanxing holding one of the Aphelioses and also the Nila Panna.
I think players identify once they're stable enough in stage 4 and 5, hey, I have to start trying to find a win condition. I'm playing against 8 Void from title. I have to find a way to win. We saw at the very end from Hong Lian holding on to 8 Nilas, almost hitting that 3-star. We saw the same for Hanxing, trying to deny some of the 4 costs for Wet Jungler, for Volta as well, who was going for the Mordekaisers earlier in stage 4 and 5. So I think we're going to be seeing that all throughout today, especially once we get to the checkmate format where players are trying to win.
Pada nge-hold ya,
everyone else is trying
pada
to deny them that
ganggu
win as
kayaknya
well.
orang-orang.
I do want to give credit to where credit's due. I do think that the composition playing around Targon Flex, around Aphelios, is not very consistent, but we brought it up a couple times throughout the show. It was a composition that was actually used to climb to rank 1 by Wage Iverson and Darth Noob, where they were playing around Aphelios to bleed into a 3rd and 4th, which is exactly what Wet Jungler wants, because now, if with another first place, means that he's now crossing that 20 checkpoint threshold. So we could see, theoretically, a 4-game series with Wet Jungler winning it, because right now that 1st and 4th puts him in the lead.
Yeah, and we're
Kita lihat
getting
standingnya.
seems good from Panda for that one. I agree with that. Of
See,
course.
I can be unbiased. You guys could live
I've
to
given-
learn a
I've
little
I've
given
bit
been
here.
Asians so
hyping
many
up
compliments
Wage
all
and
weekend
World
long.
Tournament.
You were in tears, weeping over Wet Jungler interview. Like, I don't even know what's gonna happen if he wins.
Well, we're gonna
I'm gonna
find
cry
out
all
at
for
the
it.
end of the day. But
I'm gonna get mobbed.
I'll protect you, don't worry, Dan.
Thank you.
with that, though, we do have a break ready, and after that, you're gonna hear from us maybe on the other side of the stage, hopefully without interjections from Bebe for selling boards for a 3-star forecast. We're gonna see you on the other side.
Dung 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 dung.
guys, we're going to see each other on the other side. But first, I have an important question to ask. Guys, can you wah-wah IRL?
Wah, 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 wah.
I think we executed that perfectly. And with that, we'll leave the actual skill to our players because we're so ready to bring you into game number 3. I personally am a little bit stressed out. I was saying this to you earlier, Panda. EMEA has 2 players in the final lobby, which means they cannot both go first, and that stresses me out.
They can take turns, of course, sharing is carrying first and second place, but I think there's other players that are also trying to go for those first place to accumulate points to try and make it a checkmate. Mortdog, biggest difference for this tournament in this set 9 is the fact that it's going to be 20-point checkmate and not 18.
Yeah, that 20 points going to make it a lot different. It's going to be a lot harder to get there in game 3. Normally, we've been seeing them be about 5 games, but this kind of pushes that expectation closer to like 6, maybe even 7. So right now, we're still a ways off, and so, yeah, right now, looking at these portals, Bandle Cafeteria in particular, we know the Earth players really like that. The other 2, relatively safe. The Summit really benefiting a player like Hong Li. Almost one-guided it there, but we end up winning Valor's Hollow.
You to Wet Jungler saying, I don't want to go down that route. I'm not here for all of the spatulas, but I am here for a little bit of support items that are going to come through. Valor's Hollow, actually one of the most picked portals, if I remember correctly, all throughout this tournament. People miss these support items, I think. I personally do too. And you can see here on the left side our scores. Wet Jungler and Title currently in a tie, and so are Xiaoge and Volta. EMEA coming out on top.
And with a new point system where it's 20 points now, only 2 players can actually enter checkmate in this game number 3. That's going to be Wet Jungler, the EMEA player, and Title, the player representing Japan in this day 3. One important thing for Wet Jungler, he seems very comfortable on support items as well. He picked up Mana Burn as his last augment in game number 2. So knowing how to play around every support item and which support items work best for each different comp is just so important, essential knowledge in a game like this.
Yeah, those support items, like I said, you don't get a ton of practice on it. We saw it yesterday where there was a Zephyr in play, and all of a sudden it felt like people just hadn't been positioning around Zephyr in so long. And we saw a lot of key Zephyr hits deciding fights. So do you lean into something like Zephyr that can have that big impact, or do you play something a little safer like the Zeeks, the Chalice, overall, some good choices there, and the other thing is, we're going to get it in around stage 3. And so a lot of the times people, especially the Earth players, will kind of know where they're going, and they can figure out what support items.
Tough shop here for Han Sheng. Has 4 million, but also has a Samira 2 in the shop, and a Cassiopeia pair with a Renekton already on the bench. So interesting to see how he ends up navigating these shops and what units he ends up holding here. I think he has to go for the Samira, but no. Sells the Samira and decides for the Cassiopeia instead.
Di game yang kedua yang memang
Title
ya.
Right away.
Game pertama
I see a
Jungler.
couple of Bilgewater units already
bleaching
on
out.
Hong Lian's board, but we're going to check out what everyone
Title ngambil
goes
bleaching out
for
lagi.
first. And of course,
Tavan
the
Quasar.
branching out is going to be a popular choice. We're not in the slightest surprised by that. Hong Lian also staying true to the legend. A couple players here taking longer. Wet Jungler
kira
notably
berapa
rolling
game mas?
that
Apakah
branching
harus
out.
aku
So we have
harus
4, maybe it looks like 5 branching out total. We'll see what are going to be the directions given to some of these players. We're seeing Han Sheng right now had the Rogue emblem offered, but Sorcerer Heart and the pick up for Weijin. 2 players played it throughout days 1 and 2.
Dari zaman
I believe
PUBG
Weijin was one
masih
of
di
them.
PC
Yeah, I mean, the fact that
awal-awal.
he's got the Swain 2 already with 4 Sorcerer,
box
that is a
aja.
very powerful tempo play. That Swain 2, the item's not
Serunya pas
perfect
dulu doang,
here,
pas
but the
awal-awal.
fact that he's going to be able to play around this and push should be very good tempo. We're kind of getting a look at some of these emblems that
sudah
we're taking. By the way,
malas.
Volterics getting the Piltover emblem. That's pretty big here. And the silver portal,
Sengaja
silver
nggak dikasih
augments,
Prisma
I think
supaya
they're the most kind of
nggak
skill
dapat
expressive here. It's going to
komplit
put
2
people in
biji.
positions where
Iyalah.
they're going to have to
Soalnya
play
pada
around things
pakai
they're not as comfortable
itu
with.
semua
The one
anjir.
player that really benefits from this
Terlalu
is Hong
open
Lian.
nanti
The
kalau
fact that he
dikasih
gets his Pandoras as a silver
prismatik di awal. Ya,
means you
prismatiknya
retain a
kebanyakan di
lot of the
akhir.
power of that augment. So I
Kalau
think this is
dilihat-lihat.
definitely a favored augment start for him.
The one thing that makes me a little bit nervous about what we're seeing here is we have Wet Jungler on the AFK. We also know that Volta
Oh,
is
Wet
on
Jungler
that
ambil
Piltover line. So
IFK.
2 players that are ideally
Dia
looking
main
for a little
AFK,
bit more of a
berarti
lost streak for the start.
bakal
Good thing
lost
for
streak
Volta,
dulu ya.
though, he can
AFK tuh
juggle this emblem.
nggak bisa
And
ngapa-ngapain
that's a
ya
tech we've been
selama
seeing
beberapa
for a
round
little
gitu.
while now, where if you know you might be winning this fight, you just don't
Memang
slam
Mas,
the emblem. You make sure
apalagi
you don't
zaman
have the
COVID seru
Piltover. But
banget
right
ya.
now, we don't even have 2 Piltover.
I
Tapi
think that's the thing that
PUBG
concerns
tuh
me here is
sebelum
branching
COVID
out can
keluarnya
be a
kayak
risk like this, and this is a situation where
2018-an ya?
you are not getting
17,
advantage of your
18.
entire silver augment. And yes, it's
Saat
just
masih
a
kuliah
silver,
loh, Paman.
but late game that can really matter. Unless he finds a Vi or an Echo very quickly here, we could just be down an augment all game, because you're not going to be excited to put in 3 Piltover at 3-1 or anything like that, and that's pretty rough. You can almost see it on his face in the cams, right? He's just got his hand on his head. This is not where you want to be on 2-2.
And when jungler, we saw him so comfortable playing Nyla throughout EMEA regionals, also Azir flex. His slam to Nashor shoots can go really well onto the Azir later into the game. So he played it a lot in day 1 and 2. He really didn't hit too many Demacia emblems the most until those final games yesterday. And he knows how to flex into those plan B options like the Azir.
Interestingly, though, Altanahwe also picking up a Bilgewater emblem, which for
si Altanahwe ngambil
his game plan revolves around the
Bilgewater.
Bilgewater. He goes into them nearly every single game, and now another player picking up that emblem is gonna mean you're gonna be holding hands.
Yeah, I agree with you, but the one thing I'll say is that
Waduh,
Honglian
panas.
has found ways to play that Nila in other lines. One of the things that's been impressive about the way he's played is the fact he's been willing to kind of, he's picked his 4 cost, but there's a bunch of variations. We've seen him play it with the Bruiser line, we've seen a few others, and so I think he can stay pretty open to this. The other thing I wanted to call out here is that this might be one of the first lobbies we've seen on broadcast, at least, where there aren't any Demacia players. The fact that there's no Demacia emblem, there's nothing like that. We see Demacia often get played because it has that tempo where you can hit 5 Demacia on 5, 7 on 7. I don't know if we're going to see any this game.
And we'll see what the plan B options are. I mentioned it on the very
Si
top of the
Title
show.
sama
where if you
Jungler
don't hit Demacia
poinnya
emblem,
sama ya, sama-sama
you have to
13
know
ya
how to
kayaknya ya.
pivot into different, maybe, plan B lines that can also give good results, like Bruiser, like Yazir, for example, Shurima, like the Zon for Hanshing as well. And I'm very
Mas
curious
kamu ada
to
niatan
see
masuk
what
Pro
Shao is
Shin,
gonna do.
TFT,
He has a
ya,
Vanquisher
kita lihat
emblem.
aja
We
nanti
saw
Kak
Weijin
Zul.
have great success with the Ionia Vanquisher combination in day 2. Similarly for what Jungler, that very last game, to make it to this
Tim
final lobby,
Liquid
was
nawarin
on
ya,
that similar
ayo
line.
lah.
So we'll see if Shaga knows how to navigate it, potentially even into that Karma reroll.
Yeah,
Langsung
interesting point
Liquid
out, by the
nggak
way,
tuh?
Weijin did take a loss here with
Liquid,
that swing
EG,
with
ayo
the
sini.
Force, so that's a little scary. Curious what he lost against, but that means
Lihat aja sih Kak Zul.
Voltairix also,
Nanti.
by the way, with that Piltover emblem staying
nggak
at
ada yang
100
tahu
health,
ya waktu ke
that's
depan.
pretty good here. So that if you're going to get that, that's what you want.
Garu-garu
But yeah,
buat.
unfortunately, the item's just not really playing
Soalnya
into it
juga
here. So
berdoa,
he's going to level
Kak
to
Zul.
5. We'll see where he goes from here.
While looking at the lower third there, was really surprised, well, not surprised, but happy to see the Bruiser emblem come through on title. Throughout all of day 1, day 2, we've been seeing Bruisers do really well. And of course we know, especially in the early and mid, it's just a massive comp, literally. And Title is one of the players that could make check here, so really important to keep our hands on him.
And he's a player that's done really well pivoting into these, secondary lines. With Demacia, there was so many lobbies.
Masuk RRQ aja bang, RRQ Simansa. Amin. Bareng Bang Abi ntar aku mainnya ya.
Went to 6th layer instead and had really good results on that line, just going for the massive DPS upgrade instead. We'll see
Masalahnya,
for now, just QSS slam.
kebanyakan tim-tim Indo itu berpihak pada ML ya.
Like you said, a lot of direction
Jarang
here, going
banget
for
yang
this
berpihak
loss
dengan
streak. This will
Riot,
be
nah itu yang
loss number
sulit
4.
menurutku.
Goes up against Weijin here. Pretty much no chance of getting through
Dan
that.
kalian lihat
swing.
juga kebanyakan di sini yang
Also
yang
call
ada
out
timnya
Voltairix.
nggak
Did
ada
hit
sih
Piltover
pada
there.
sendiri semua.
So we saw the Piltover coming in. That's going
Emang
to be a
tiap
pretty good
RRQ ada
spike.
nggak
The
ada
other thing
divisi
right now is we've got
TFT.
3 win streakers heading in to 2-6, which usually
Emang ada tim
means, unless something
Indonesia
goes
yang
crazy,
gede ada
one of them is going to face each other.
divisi Wild Rift guys.
Undercity Tactics fully online for Volta here, trying to
Yang kayak
mount a
RRQ.
comeback in the standings.
Yeah, it's
Alter
interesting.
ego
You see,
gitu-gitu.
he decides to take out the Piltover for now.
Paling kan di
completely,
Valorant kan.
Despite having that emblem. So basically, we're going to be playing down an emblem. Does find the Silco, has the Cassiopeia, so that's decent. Trying to keep
Jadi
this
kalau nggak
win
ada tim
streak
juga
for
nggak
now.
apa-apa.
We'll
Maksudnya
see if
juga
it
di sini
goes
kalau kalian
fine.
yang
Up against Weijin
nggak ada
here,
tim
who's
juga
not
banyak
win
ini.
streaking.
Udah
Can he
namanya.
burn
Palingnya ada
through
tim
the
kemarin tuh
swing? It's
si
gonna be
Kurum
very close.
dia
Very
Liquid.
interested, like you
Li-
said,
li- li- li-
who
liquid,
Weijin
Fed.
lost before, because this Swain is one big unit, but so is this Cassiopeia, and she is going to talk
Enggak juga, ada juga
and
yang
knock him down. Can
enggak.
she in that early
Yang
solo
non-ML,
finish it
ya,
out?
boom.
I think there's a good chance, but Milio does doesn't get it out though. Volta and Hanxing are going to be able to
Wah, kalau
keep
boom,
100 streaks as we are
oh ya,
going to
boom
be
nggak ada
moving
ML
into
ya?
Krugs. We'll check in with everyone. Notably at the top, we do have those 5 win streaks, but very good. Hongleon with a 4 loss streak and still middle of the pack.
And what a board here right now. Wood, Ishtal onto the Warwick for now. The
Boom,
Zon
adanya
emblem
PUBG.
onto the Cho'Gath. What do you make of the game plan for stage 3 here for Hanshing Mortog?
So I mentioned it yesterday, but one of the things I'd want to see is exploding Warwick. If you can get a Warwick
Exploding
3-star
Warwick.
behind a Jinx reroll with something
Hanxing
like
dapat
the
emblem
Warmogs that
zone
you've
ya.
got here,
We haven't seen
Dari
what the Zon
bridging
mod
loot,
is, but if
dari
it's the
bridging.
exploding one, this
Dapat
could
duplikator.
result in a very large Warwick that can really do a lot of damage on the front lines, allowing Jinx to clean up the back line. I like the itemization if that's the plan. We'll just have to confirm if that's the Zon mod he's got.
You have a chance for Runons here off of these item drops. You have a duplicator as well, golden version. So maybe looking at a 4 cost.
Ya berusaha biasa sih kayak
maybe a 5
Marvel
cost
Snap
if you
kalau
have that
beruntung
very
ya.
lucky or very lucky few
Ya,
shots and the also roll down with
alhamdulillah ya.
2 different copies of 1 5 cost.
Wow.
Yeah.
Finds the Jinx here. That's
Tapi kalau Prosim
really
tiap tiknya
good for
berat.
Robotic arm as well.
stabilization. And the
Harus
robotic does
dedikasi
come
nggak
through
sih?
great.
Harus gak
with this
kerja
reward.
anjir.
Yeah, the fact that we could build a Hurricane here.
Kerja
It's
sih
not necessarily
bisa
the
ya,
most,
tapi malamnya
slammed
harus full
thing all the time. But we do get to look at those Zon mods here. So definitely not the exploding one that you're looking for. Is going to take out the wood now that he knows he can't go that option, and just play around the Zon here. Does slam the Hurricane. Really good item on Jinx as we head into this fight again against Asian here,
atau
but
mau
this
masuk
Jinx
T1?
combined with the Cho'Gath should
Boleh
be able to
T1.
actually get through the
Nanti
swing
lagi meta
here,
apa Mas?
and
Biar
this
nanti
should
kalau
result
download
in
langsung.
continuing
Kayaknya
the win streak.
ganti
Asian
meta.
had
Ganti
that good start, but
ganti
just doesn't feel like enough, and is
season
now getting his
casual.
third loss here.
Soalnya kalau di
That's okay,
TFT
though.
beda kayak
Either
di
you're winning or
Magic
you're
Chess ya,
losing,
maaf ya,
and
pemain
Wei
Magic
had
Chess
a good start, is
tidak
now racking up the
menyinggung,
loss
tapi
streak.
kenyataan.
Big important point,
Kalau di
Punching
TFT
and
itu setiap
Volta
season tuh
able to
beda
keep
beda
their
beda
streaks, as we
tema.
are going to be moving into our second augments. The big question
Yep,
is, what's
dua-dua.
it gonna be? And it will be
Kemungkinan tuh pas
golden augments
berubah season
for
10.
the next ones.
Jadi
Overcharged
kemungkinan
mana font
full
on
championnya
Asian Sport if he
beda,
wants to
temanya
stick with the
beda.
swords.
The big one here,
Mungkin
Altanawe getting
nanti
a second
ini
Bilgewater
kita dikasih
emblem. So that's
teaser-teaser
going to
ya.
be a big spike
Mungkin
for him.
game
Bilgewater
5,
is one
game
of those
6
traits that plays with
dapat
tempo.
teaser.
If you can get 5 early, if you can get 7 early, you can do a lot of damage. And that's going to make it very easy to get 7.
Bakal
We also see
temanya
9
apa.
Bilgewater one time on stream at the very
Jadi
tail end of the fight with
setiap
Ace in
season
that game
kamu
for
harus belajar,
yesterday. So
Kazu.
it's one of the
Disuruh
funnest
belajar
comps to
sama
see with how
TFT.
fast everything explodes. I'm curious if Altanawe will be able to have a chance to make it there. And also Xiaoge playing that Vanquisher line did find Stolen Vitality as his second augment choice.
He did, and I love that. I love the trait-specific augments.
Singulian.
We've been seeing very little of them,
Dia mah kayak
if
reset fetch
any,
sendiri ya.
throughout all of these games, because players, of course, value the emblems a little bit more. Very important to note, though, before I or anyone else gets jebaited here in this lobby. Title picking up the last stand as golden augment.
Oh,
is
si
going to be
Title
something to
paling
look out for.
bawah
He
ternyata.
is lost streaking pretty heavily at the bottom
Lost
there,
streaking
and
ya.
that will be meaning that he has a lot of economy, but might be tanking
Tapi
too
lost
hard.
streak kemungkinan besar
Hong
duitnya
Liang
juga
is
banyak.
looking like he's going to lose this fight here just barely against the 6 Swains of Wei-Shin Iverson.
Mas
But do
mulanya
wanna
bulan
call out
ini
here that
SC yang
he's
paling
gone
bagus
not
apa?
to go with the
Cuma
RFCs. We're
Anilus.
not going to see the Nila version, and instead we're
Sepertinya
going to see the
iya, sama
Misfortune
si
version.
siapa
So
tuh
that's
satunya?
pretty wild to see. 2 players still win streaking. We can
Oh,
look at this
ngincar
board
Anilus
here,
sama satunya
playing
itu.
around the Bruiser, and
Gladiator
here come the support items.
When I mentioned
Okay,
Hong Liang
support
playing
item.
half of his games onto that Bilgewater line, it wasn't just the Nila, it was both
Nah,
the
terus
MF
si
reroll
Big
and
Jam
the
itu
Nila
dapat
versions
gold
of
ya,
Bilgewater.
kalau nggak
So
salah. Chalice
still
Power
in
buat
his comfort
nambahin
zone, we'll see
AP,
how he navigates
kiri
stage
kanan,
3. He was in
Aegis
a very
of
perilous
Legion
position in the first 2
itu
games, dropping to
defense ya.
very, very low HP.
Oh, ambil Chalice.
Yeah, definitely taking the Chalice here. I think that was the best option. Holy moly, did you? He just reforged and hit a Void emblem. So that is
Dapat
definitely
Void
better
emblem.
than
Vel'Koz in the shop.
Piltover. Has the Vel'Koz in the shop. You can see the hand on the head. He's like, okay, what do I do with this? And I do think this is something you play around. You have 100 health.
Bingung
You've got
dia,
the time to
anjir.
work. So really
Malah
good
dapat
reforge.
itu
The
ya,
items
di
are
reforge
super
dapat
solid for something like a Kaisa, something
dapat
like
Void
that
ya.
Vel'Koz with a Sona support. We'll see here. Goes up against the other win streaker, though, and is unfortunately the weaker opponent here, so is going to lose that win streak. But again, I
Lama
think
sampai
getting
akhir tahun
that
nggak muncul
Piltover
di
to
SC,
become
kecewa
a
ya di
Void
Januari.
is a big win for him.
And with that, the win streak is going to be broken on the side of Volta, as well as we are going to be moving into the carousel. This Nila is so interesting for so many players. Of course, Hong Liang and
Altanawe as well.
Altanawe as well, but we are seeing Wet Jungler
He's out.
this Seju, and Altanawe
Oh,
will
Altanawe
get a
ambil
Nila.
Yeah, the fact that he gets that Nila early, I imagine we're going to go to 7 very quickly here. We're going to spike 7 Bilgewater. And again, stage 3, stage 4, that's when 7 Bilgewater is
Loh,
at its
Title nyawanya
prime.
udah 38
So that
ya,
should
Title
allow
ya.
him to preserve
Ah,
a lot
Title,
of
semangat,
health here.
Title.
We'll have to get a look at his items, see if he can really build around that Nila. But this is that spot you really want to be if you're going to play that 7 Bilge line.
Si Altanawe, Bilgewater dapat Nila ya.
Already, so we'll see where he goes with that. Title has to find some
Oh,
stability
main
coming
Bruiser
to
dia.
this 3-5 roll down. He finds a Rek'Sai 3. He has a nice bruiser front line, but it's still an Ashe 2 carrying a Rage Blade and so many components on his bench that he has to slam to decide what exactly to
bruiser
itemize.
udah.
He gets the 6 bruiser off of this now, is able to slam that on the Mordekaiser, has the
Di
Ashe
slam ke Mordekaiser ya.
support. And
Jadi
keep in mind,
devnya
he has
ganti
last
ulti kreatif dong ya,
so he
setiap
is
item
going
ganti
to be
tema.
a little bit
Yap.
safer than some of the other players. And
Benar
he's
sekali
wrapping up
Kazuo,
the
tidak
points.
seperti
Level
yang
7, one of
sana
the few
sih.
players in the lobby to actually make that here. And on the back of that 8 loss streak, at
Bukan
least
hanya
a pretty good
bukan
game
aja
on
temanya
coming
ya,
into this.
tapi
If he manages to
modenya
pull out
juga
maybe
berubah
1 or
ya.
2 more losses, he'll be back really high in his economy.
Yeah, I really like the support item choice here, by the way.
Bang,
It's gonna
tarik
give those
tank
6
carry
bruisers
saya,
high
good
armor
juga.
and MR. That's going to give them a lot of
Sekarang
effective
kayaknya
health, making them very
dilihat
hard
nggak
to
ada
take
yang
down.
jarang yang
And
tarik
this
sih,
Mordekaiser
kecuali
in
pakai
particular, if
sorcerer.
we see this 2-star Mordekaiser bruiser in the late game get a Nashor's Tooth, like this thing's going to be a
Kalau saya
pain to
carry-nya
take
masih
down.
bagus.
And so
Saya-
I think
saya
this is a
bukan
pretty good
bruiser ya.
spot for title. And even if he starts to lose, that last stand's going to proc.
Kalau
That's
saya
going to be
carry-nya masih
more
bagus.
armor and MR. That's going to be Omni
Tapi
Vamp. That's going to be really
kalau-
powerful. So I like title's position here.
We're going to be checking in with Hansheng, who's still streaking up their Zon emblem. Juggernaut
Ya, biasanya kalau
emblem,
saya
100
makainya
HP since the start.
Sen kalau
and
nggak set
he is
sih, jadinya
just
6
cruising through this lobby
Ioninya,
here on the back of that
6
Aegis.
Fan
His
Wizard.
Jinx does not have the
Kalau
robo, but it's
dilihat-lihat
doing
di
pretty
pas
good.
turnamen ini,
Worth calling out that the one game in the tournament so far that has
Panas
had a
anjir.
Mr. 100
Ternyata panas
looked a
banget ya.
lot like this. It was a Zon start, it was a
Hatiku panasan.
full Mr. 100 win. So will that happen here? We'll have to see. Has a pretty good spot, like I said, like these items, like
Awal
this
jago
Jinx.
lawan Hansing.
But you can see he's holding that gold. Has 4 Jinxes so far.
Apakah
The
bisa
question
tembus
is, can he
si
convert? And unfortunately, right now, this
Hansing?
Warwick's doing his best.
Warwicknya
but
the
not
best
sure
ya,
it's gonna be quite enough.
carry-nya
And
nggak
Azira's
mati-mati.
trying, Azira's ramped up.
Come on, Warwick!
Big phase out from Echo to
There we
the
go.
second
Menang
one.
anjir,
The
menang
Jinx is
anjir.
trying to
Oh.
1v1, but she can do it. Hansheng just barely doesn't make it to that coveted 10 win streak. The extra gold you get is so massive, but just the
Set B2
HP lead, especially
kasih
preserving
Spot Protector
all that
Fall
HP throughout
atau
stages
item
2 and
tank
3, having
lain.
that cushion in stage
Nah,
4.
tuh, Erlang.
Maybe get a
Juga.
little bit more greedy. Go fast date
Aku
and try
beli
and find your
buku di
full
kamu
buff
bisa
there.
nggak?
I think the
Erlang.
thing that's worried me right now is
Jualan buku
Altanawe
nggak
here on
kamu?
the 6th loss streak. We know he spiked to 7 Bilgewater, or should be able to. You know,
Si
so
Altanawe
maybe not
tetap
as much
main
familiarity
Bilgewater ya.
with that Bilgewater line as someone like Hong Lian.
Duluan Mas, besok
So we'll have to see if he can
hari
spike that up
bikin
here. Maybe
males.
trying to just
Nggak
lost
boleh
get that
Kazuo,
economy
aku
back
baru
up.
sampai jam
But right
1.
now, you really need to take advantage of the
Temenin
fact
aku.
you've got this tempo.
Finds 3 bows.
Yeah, the bows are going to be really good here. Put those on the Nila. So hopefully we can get that good positioning going. But yeah,
Yap,
again,
harusnya
it
nyari
feels like
Nila
he's
sih
just not as
Altanawe,
familiar with the line right
bikin
now.
FRC
It's
ya.
a little bit unfortunate if that branching out throws you a bone that you don't really want to pick,
ada
but
saya.
Altanawe
Mau
is
diambil?
doing the best he can right now, rolling down,
Tidak
trying to
dapat.
find upgrades on that Nila, on maybe the Nautilus to MF, is looking to maybe reroll that MF, looking at the items here, so we'll be seeing how it's going to go. That J4 will help. So that is
J4 ya
additional
buat
CC that
depannya
you got there,
dikasih
but you still have a
Bilgewater.
lot of items to slam for him.
His key units all 1-star.
Harus
Goes to
nge-slam
show
item
he's
ke Nila,
contested off on
versinya.
Hong Lian. Hong Lian just hit his MF2 upgrade, making it that much harder for Altanawe to actually hit. And he's facing one of the strongest players in the lobby, which could propel this loss streak even further and put Altanawe once again into an uncomfortable position at the start of the stage 4. But thankfully, it looks like it might be a win. One more
Senin
red
itu
comes
apa?
through.
Nggak tahu,
And
Raiko.
finally,
Emang ada
it's a
ya
big
hari
win for
Senin?
Altanawe. He needed the stability.
Kita Mas
Yeah, the
turunin
fact that
dikit
you've got
aja itu
7
voice-nya
Bilgewater here, I
pesta
would expect him to win a
kegedean.
few
Oh
more fights.
kegedean,
But like you
oke.
said, we've already rolled down.
Aku turunin.
As we head into the augment stage, you need those upgrades. And what augment is it going to be? It's going to be a gold here. So silver, gold,
Segini,
gold.
ini 75
Pretty
sih.
standard game with that silver star.
Ya abis ini aku ke belakang deh.
Anything
Kebelet
interesting
boker
is
aja.
a big question. Thus far, very generic augment choices. We're seeing a lot.
Oh, si Title ngambil item grab back.
Harm assist coming through.
Senin itu shit, Raditya. Kenapa Kazuo? Cerita dulu dah. Kenapa kamu kok bisa membenci Senin itu kenapa? Di sini tuh Senin libur loh. Emang di tempatmu Senin masuk ya? Si Altanawe dapat Nila bintang 2.
Hand-picked sorcerer augments. He's gonna have a very
Si Volta dapat Void.
upgrades, especially that Swain 3. He was very close to it in stage 3. He's rolling for it now. Can he find the 2 last Swains to make sure his front line is gonna be unkillable?
Come on.
A huge
How
DPS
far
check.
are we?
Swain bintang
Double
3.
upgrade. He finds both.
Only needs a couple
Si
of
Volta
seconds
juga
on the same
Sona
turn,
bintang
though,
3
before
dikasih
he's
Void
able
ya.
to find the Zona 3 that's now fully itemized together with the Vel'Koz, together with the Kai'Sa. We got the 6 Void online. It's not looking like a Zinedine Herald, but it is one chunky Herald in that front line that can serve a little bit of CC together with the
Tapi nggak
Zona.
belum kuat ternyata, Bung.
Out here, but it doesn't seem to be enough.
This is such an awkward position because on the one hand, it's great. You found the Sona 3, and the way Void works is the star level of your Void champions are going to scale up the Herald or the Baron. So having a 3-star with that Void emblem means it's going to be very powerful. We do see a set 3 come on the side. But the thing that worries me here is like those Sona items are not great.
Kita 3-14 nyawanya, apakah dia kalah? Hansing, Warwick.
That's going to be really problematic.
Udah pada bintang 3 aja anjir.
Items invested in something that's not going to output as much.
Tuh kata Zilo, Senin is beautiful day. Si Hansing Jinx 3. Oh my god. Lagi-lagi ada yang pakai Jinx 3 ya. Warwick juga udah bintang 3. Apakah Hansing yang akan memenangkan di lobby ini, lobby ketiga?
A board like this, you don't even need it that much. Look at how much this boy is tanking. He does not want to go down the Jinx, trying her hardest.
Warwicknya nggak mati-mati anjir. Tapi kayaknya mati. Apakah mati?
But you're looking at 6 Bruiser and 2 Freljord supported by Shurima.
Oh, Warwicknya mati. Tetap menang title Azirnya tetap menang ya.
So one of the things to call out about the Zon comp, by the way, and I think
kamu dari negara
we're
mana?
going to talk about a lot. There's going to be a lot of focus.
Dari negara Konoha ternyata
with
dia ya.
that mod getting a ton of healing, that's going to be really powerful as
Kamu
well.
aneh sih, Kazuo nggak suka hari Senin aja.
Only overtime finally allowed them to get through.
Bayangin aja kalau nggak ada hari Senin aja.
This comp is only going to get stronger from here. The question is, do you get 4 Gunner? Do you find more Zon? Things like that. But overall, that Jinx comp's definitely been one of my favorites this tournament.
Spatula on the carousel was decisive for many players. Xiaoge can go for either a Vanquisher emblem or an Ione emblem. What jungler could potentially look at a second Shurima emblem if he was able to pick that up.
Oh,
see the
saya.
direction and the spike that players hit after they picked up the Spatula.
Dan ini mau main Ionia Van
They're
Quizzer.
going to have to hope for it at the PvE stage of this stage 4.
Van Quizernya biasanya ditaruh ke Karma ya. Kalau misalkan dapat emblem Ionia dikasihnya ke siapa tuh namanya Nilah ya.
I do want to call out here, it's a little unfortunate, but Volterix had that great start, that 100 health, all the way to, I believe it was 3-2.
Aku suka Senin Mas kalau warnanya merah.
29 health, so hasn't been able to put together that Void board. So we'll have to take a look at that. Right now, going up against Wei and Iverson, that Swain 3. Swain 3 just
Swain 3 kita lihat lawan Swain 3.
Powerful here. But Wet Jungler on a 5 streak, has really good Azir items, has that 6 Shurima, plenty of gold, that healing orbs. Doing his best here, but you can see that Swain just so
kuat anjir, Swainnya powerful banget.
Big sorcerer procs, and it looks like it's just not going to be enough for Azir to get through, and that's going to be Wet Jungler losing his streak.
Unfortunately, yeah. I was a little bit sad that the
Shurima is
doing a little bit more here for the front line. Azir just looking at his team like, huh, where'd you guys go? Is gonna lose out on the back of that, but I wouldn't count him out just yet. Title, again, last stand. I'm not getting debated, maybe you are, but he is looking for those reroll options here, rolling down to 0, and somebody else that is looking for
si Volta kita lihat masih begini ya.
At the bottom there, you just said it, Mord. For Volta, the big thing that he needs here is that second Kaisa or turning the Belveth into a carry, but the items are not really Belvething.
Yeah, this is a really rough spot because you notice he's found the Belveth on 7. That is going to allow him
tidur
to
Mas, tidur mukanya nggak bisa bohong kalau ngantuk.
21 health, you have 7 gold right now. You are going to be praying for a lot of gold to drop and that you hope you find the Kaisa just automatically. Because otherwise, again, I talked about the Sona items. It's just not enough, right? You're casting so slow. You can't get through these bruisers. Even with the Giant Slayer here, it's just not enough.
Come on, Kaisa.
It does look like this fight. Oh, Kaisa needs one more cast here.
And he should be winning, right? I mean, Title's essentially down at gold augment in this case. If Volta is still losing to a board like this before the proc on last stand comes through, that is bad news. So Volta and anyone that's facing Title before he procs his augment is actually in a very good positioning. Once Title procs it, everyone else might be in trouble.
Yeah, other thing worth calling out here, Hong Leon now on a 4-loss streak here. We saw him kind of be this 1st or 8th player so far today, which is not what we were expecting considering how well he played in days 1 and 2. So we'll have to get a look at his strategist board a little later here. But right now, Volterix, like I said, praying for a ton of gold to drop. We saw this happen yesterday. Maybe you get like 30, 20 gold in this situation. Can we get that here so we can go to level 8 and put in all the Void?
Give me money. There's a duplicator, but it's a less duplicator. A lot of money in units, at least that is coming through here. And of course, the anvil that we will be able to use. That's a Nico, but that's not used to duplicate units anymore. Maybe he didn't get the memo. Honglian, though, like you said, is free falling. 9 HP. We're
Title OTW turu, iya title OTW turu kayaknya.
Like, as we are.
Udah nyawanya 38, Honglian juga kalah lagi kah?
One off, but what do you sell here? I mean, Bebe would sell the entire board, just off with it.
Sell entire board,
exact point makes, but Honglian cannot do that. He knows it will not be the right play in this position at the very least. The Magic one is huge with the JG proc as well, but he's facing.
Kita lihat Honglian sama Title siapa yang akan pulang. Tapi si Honglian berat sih, lawannya bintang 3 tuh siapa tuh? Tapi Miss Fortune-nya mantap.
And I'm not sure the backline that Xiaoge has built is enough to hold.
Oh, kayaknya Title turu bener. Title turu. Swennya nggak mati-mati. Tinggal 1 HP.
And we will be seeing the Bruiser board now be a lot stronger because Bruisers technically, yeah, they have a lot of HP. But if you want them to do really well, you need them to do a little bit better than that, which is why these kind of strength augments, power augments.
Oh, ngambil last stand ya.
And finds the Mordekaiser as well.
Yeah, the big thing is he really needed to find, you know, the Azir 2, the Mordekaiser 2, did finally find the Mordekaiser at least, so should be okay for a while. But the fact that Azir's been so contested has been
Volta, main Void.
And so Volterix did survive, had enough health. We are at 8 Void here. This is a big upgrade. Again, though, it just without the Kai'Sa 2, it feels like we're in a bit of trouble here. Hoping for an easier matchup here, maybe squeeze out a top 4. The Sonagon continues to worry me, and up against Shurima Azir.
Baron Nashor coming out of play. We'll see how much he can tank and how much damage he can deal as well. As you mentioned, the Kai'Sa 1 has to be the secondary carry in this case, and the Sona 3 maybe.
Okay, Volta.
In this fight, the Azir still left completely untouched. It's down to just
Anjir gak mati-mati anjir.
For the opponent's comp. Kai'Sa still also so healthy in that left corner. Baron should be tanking for long enough. And Kai'Sa cast one more time. She does. Big win for Volta.
Oh, Volta sama Title masih selamat.
On just 1 life.
And Title also on the back of the last stand, able to survive, but one player will get eliminated here. 5-2, it is Honglian losing out on the Bilgewater hand-holding. I called it out early. I was nervous for this one. And Honglian, despite his so stable performances yesterday, all throughout day 1, day 2, not worse than a 5th place. Now today, going 8th twice.
And Title picked up last stand, a player that we mentioned at the very beginning of this game. He's in contention to get to checkmate. He knew he had to take a risk to do so. He knows that if he doesn't make it this game, it's almost guaranteed the next game. So I really like the risk of saying, I'm playing for last stand, I'm playing for this high cap game plan. If I make it, I might be able to win the whole World Championship in just 4 games.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely a right play here. We got to look at that 8 Sorcerer board, by the way. It feels like this is a game right now where a lot of people are struggling to 2-star their 4-cost carry.
And we will be seeing the 2 players that are struggling for survival in a side-by-side. I'm not too worried about the left side. That's Title. He should be able to hang on with the last stand. But on the right side, you're seeing a massive
Volta bisa kalah.
Supported by a Jinx 3. And if you had asked me prior to this game,
Warwick-nya guys nggak mati-mati.
A Warwick 3 fully
mati abis ini.
extra healing or Baron Nashor, I couldn't have told you any different. We're gonna be seeing Volta be able to hang on here one more round. Each round here could
masih selamat,
be a very important point for the EMEA player.
Okay, so a Void Emblem here for Volterix does open him up to play something like a second Challenger to power up that Kai'Sa if he needs.
Or Kai'Sa 2.
Yeah, I think that's what he's debating here. Goes with the Kai'Sa here, and I think that's an acceptable choice. The Hurricane, not ideal, but we know the importance of the Kai'Sa. That's going to be really strong here. I also want to call out, if you saw that Warwick healing, the healing from the mod there, that was proccing for about 12.
Tapi siapapun yang juara turnamen ini nggak pernah menang lawan Bang Sivancer. Tentunya Raditya. Kamu kok tahu sih? Aku itu adalah juara dari juara semua ini ya. Karena mereka belum pernah melawan aku ya. Pinter banget sih. Raditya sih pinter banget guys.
Both EMEA players currently in the bottom 4. Wet Jungler and Title, both players that can make it a checkmate right now have to win essentially.
Si Wet Jungler bisa kalah.
I'm really stressed. There are so many players like you're saying who are on their potentially last life, and Wet Jungler, who you are talking about, is one of the players that needs a first
Title kalah, aku ikut turun.
the checkmate of 20 points. And there are so many
Kita lihat title gantian dengan Wet Jungler.
on the side.
Wet Jungler lawan Ghost sih.
We are seeing the Azir that is your main carry here that is trying to deal out the damage, but I'm not sure it's enough against the Bilgewater's. Looks like it might just be the case. The Misfortune and the Nila are still standing, but the Azir will find them first.
Oh, Wet Jungler masih hidup ya.
So much here, and on the left side, Tidal just found his Azir as well. He has the Mordekaiser as well. This board got so much stronger.
Yeah, the fact that Tidal was able to hit the Azir 2 here now, his board feels really strong, right? He's got the extra armor and R from last stand. He's got that Azir with the Ginsus that's going to give him time to ramp up. He's got, you know, the Mordekaiser, the Bruiser. It's just so much power on that board right now. I think he's a favorite to top 4. And look at the health of the lobby right now.
Title top 4 loh, Kazuo. Berarti kamu nggak boleh tidur loh.
After that, we have a lot of people basically on 1 life right now.
And Tidal, he's coming in like a Grim Reaper in this lobby.
Like a Grim Reaper ya si Title ya, nyawa 1.
All those upgrades could be in deep
Nih, knock. Halo bang, misi.
Stressed out. If you're looking on the right side, there's 4 players up for elimination, and it could go either way. On the right side, we have the Baron spawning, hopping over to Wet Jungler. Title on the left hand
Title lawan
side.
Swain, tapi kayaknya menang sih.
Enough to find a win against the sword comp of Wasion. I think
Lawan
at
Wasion
least
version
he
ya.
should. The Swain will fall for the side of Wasion, and that solidifies the win for Title. On the right hand side, Xiaoge.
Oh,
knocked
Xiaoge
down to the
mau kalah.
last HP, is able to hang on down.
Oh,
but
si Altenahu udah keluar ya.
is going to go out in 7th.
Another bot 4, 3 bot 4s in a row for the Latam player. Unfortunate in these first 3 games.
Title knock. Is anyone at home?
If the right things end up
Soalnya dia dapat last stand ya. Last stand itu adalah argumen ketika kalian mau mati, kalian nggak bisa mati tapi dikasih 1 nyawa tapi di buff semua ya.
Playing around that, you know, that health, that strong Swain 3 absolutely correctly here. I imagine 6-1 we're going to see a big spike, and so it feels like right now we've got
Champion-championnya di bot di buff ya.
Volterix and Wasion looking like the strongest in the lobby, and it feels like this next.
Nah tuh makanya warnanya putih kayak gitu kan, kayak silver gitu kan. Tuh ada kayak ada auranya gitu si champion-championnya si Title.
Back of that goes up to the maximum capacity, and we will be seeing what he does. Xiaoge finds the GP2. Ari found
Si Xiaoge dapat GP tuh, gangplank 2.
here and ready with the main character. Ari online doesn't have items though.
There's a Shen 2, still Silco 1, still Ari 1, so still can have a lot of big upgrades despite his HP leading, despite him being level 9.
Tapi Wasion version kurang kuat menurutku, tapi dia nyawanya masih banyak ya. Kita lihat lawan Xiaoge.
This should be a fight that goes in Wasion's favor, though. Yes, there's a Gangplank too. This crit's going to be tough, but it is going to stop on the Swain. It's going to be struggling to get through the Swain here.
Kalah tadi Xiaoge.
We could see a lot of backline.
Swainnya mati.
Never died though. Gets a big stun here, and that is going to be a loss for Wasion. So he really needs to find an upgrade to stay alive. On the other side, though, you can see Wet Jungler get knocked out.
Hansing bakal keluar kan? Hansing masih nyawanya masih banyak ternyata. Wet Jungler keluar. Wah ini beneran nih Title knock nih. Level 9 guys, wah menang sih. Menang sih ini menurutku.
Sneaky little upgrade come through on the right side of the screen, and I was like, huh? Didn't Volta find the Kai'Sa 2 off of the carousel? Weren't we talking about this? Why does he hit another Kai'Sa 2? Turns out Volta on 6 Kaisas.
Volta in 6 Kaisa.
He has spotted what's going on, and he is saying, "Nuh-uh, I'm not
Dia
playing."
pengen bintang 3-in Kaisanya ya. Si Title masih menang sih lawan Ghost ya. Dia udah level 9 ya si Title ya, beneran knock nih.
Huge amount of stats coming through, but he's facing one of the strongest boards in the lobby. Double Vanquisher emblem on a GP2, especially with blue buff and that Rabadon's a big old.
Kalau ini Title menang, wah dia bisa jadi pemenang sih. Soalnya poinnya udah 21 sendiri ya.
Death is onto the backline. Huge win for Title, the Japanese player. If he wins this game 3, he can get into checkmate.
Xiaoge out in 5th. All other players able to hang on. Wasion now also knocked down to 16 HP as we enter our top 4. And
Volta juga masih win streak ya. Ini tinggal Title ketemu Volta sih. Bakal siapa yang menang ya?
Just a quick reminder, can make check in this game. He needs a high finish to make it happen. Czech is on 20 points, but he is the only one that could do that, and the only one that could, theoretically, if he does, then end the tournament in 4 games.
Berarti kalau si Title menang itu udah checkmate anjir, dan cuma kelar 4 game doang. Ya, please mau Title menang biar gue cepet tidur. Title menang please, Title menang please, juara 1 biar cepet kelar ya guys ya, tidur kita gak sampai jam 1, cuma butuh 4 game doang ya. Please, yuk menang yuk, bisa. Lawan Wasiani version. Oke, nice. Si Volta kalah.
Does get knocked out here, and so does Wasian.
Berarti Title sih. Title sih guys ini guys. Menang beneran ini anjir. Title lawan Hensing. Anjir, beneran nih Title menang ini. Wah, dapet redemption juga. Fix menang Title guys. Cuma 4 game, alhamdulillah. Turu kasih.
Goes up against the Silco, that's going to be damage reduction. So just such a powerful version of sport. And then to top it all off, we have the Freljord Rise. So if these fights go long, that's going to be CC, that's going to be slow into stun. So this is just a very effective board here. And right now, you know, unless something goes horribly wrong, my money is on Title.
But it doesn't even matter for the greater picture, right? Title has achieved check with the placement of second or better. He has that in, it's locked, and whatever goes down now, I don't think
dia juga kalau juara 2 juga udah checkmate ya, dapat 20 soalnya ya.
Whoever comes out of here for hunching. It would be really important to claw up those points.
Hansi masih ada 2 nyawa harusnya kalau misal kalah. Satu lagi maksudnya. Kita lihat Mother Kaisernya. Wah, menang si Title sih ini. Anjir, Mother Kaisernya kagak mati, saya juaranya kagak mati ya. Anjir, guys. Title gak turu kamu Kazuo. Kazuo kejing sih guys. Kazuo ora turu guys. Waduh, apa ini war drum? Apakah ada teaser? Nah, udah mulai nih. Maksudku itu mas, Title menang, ku ikut turun. Parah sih Kazuo sih. Syukurin. GG 1 nyawa menang, iya Aji, gila. Comeback ya. 1 nyawa diremehkan oleh Kazuo ya. Beneran jadi Grim Reaper si Title ya. Ini kalau Title juara 1-2 sih udah fix menang ya. Orang Jepang kah yang bakal menang? Semakin seru guys. Tot. Title ini salah satu strategiku kalah di awal untuk mendapatkan buff dan meng-comeback musuh. Nippon GG sih. Now evolve, anjay. Itu buat desain beberapa tahun ke depan dah. Gak bakal diganti kan, udah bagus. Kursinya beliin dong Raditya, aku belum punya. Aku pipis dulu ya. Pipis sama boker. Terus itu apa mas belakangmu? Lah, ini kan yang tahun 2020. Ini kan 2022, beda. Casual. Sama aja mas, posisi gaming cuma beda model. Masnya? Nafas. Aku mengintai dari apa ya?
Welcome back to the Runeterra Reforged Championship, and as you can see, we have traveled once again, this time to Freljord and Noxus. And Noxus is the perfect place for us to go for the championship. If you look into the Runeterran lore, Noxians follow the 3 principles of strength. It's a vision, might, and guile. And all of our competitors need these 3 things in order to succeed today. Vision, they need to set a strategy at the start, play along the meta. Might, they need to execute on the game plan for that strategy. And guile, they need to be able to outmaneuver their opponents with positioning and flexibility. And so, I throw to my panel of analysts on how have these competitors been using the 3 principles to succeed here today?
Well, I'm going to let Baby take Guile, because that's like the only thing he talks about in the back. Every single time, he's like, oh, I should have positioned like this. Oh, no, actually, actually, that's really good. So, like, you know, Baby can take that. I'll take Vision. I'll think the most important thing that people don't understand about TFT at the very highest level is how often people are not looking at their own board. I think the most important thing to understand is the context of the lobby. A really good game plan without actually being able to understand your opponent, know your enemy, is a plan that will fail. So I think ultimately that's something to keep in mind of if you're watching your favorite player's POV and whatnot. Just keep in an Earth dynamic too is also really particularly important in the early game to make sure that you're not taking a lane that's contested. If you pop a tome and you see a Demacia, but you scan around and see 3 other people taking Demacia, don't do it. I'm telling you, it's not worth it.
All right, Bebe. Guile, tell me about it.
I do want to talk about Guile, but I also want to talk about Title the most in this like a tournament. I have never seen a perfectly executed game in a tournament scene. It's very rare, but Title actually made 0 misplays in that one game. He low rolled a bruiser spat to start playing off in the game, and after he lowered the bruiser spat with no bruisers, he realized, okay, the only win condition I have is to go for 6 bruisers. I'm gonna pick augments and itemizations that complement that, and I'm gonna greed as much economy so that I can also level up to 8 and 9 while looking for value. And if you notice Title's game, he has not wasted a single ounce of gold, and even at very low HP totals of 5, 14, and 1, he greeted because he knew that his board power had a very high odds of winning. I am very impressed with Title's gameplay, and he definitely deserves to be one of the world champions for sure.
Another aspect of Vision is being able to see the end game board and being able to understand how things come together in fruition. I think he understood that while he was losing and trading off, and he was really far behind in a lot of respects, right? Even when he was like, 16, 20 HP, he was trying to stall for as many fights as possible. I think a lot of players in that spot would say, hey, I have last stand, it doesn't really matter if I lose these fights. That's not true. He actually needed every single round that he could possibly buy, because eventually when he did hit things like that Mordekaiser into the Azir, I mean, we're talking about in the back room, as long as he 2-starred and got his board online, he was definitely going to be top 4. The fact that he was able to win out is a testament to his skill of understanding his position and what was his win condition.
Yeah, I mean, it's a testament to his might counterfeit. I mean, he's been able to showcase such high execution throughout the entire tournament.
Yeah, and of course, we were worried about what was going to come of that Mordekaiser with the itemization being a little less traditional than we would have liked. But I do want to recognize, of course, our top 4 having a good amount of variety in there. At this point in the competition, you would kind of be expecting players to be going for things they're very, very practiced and comfortable on. Seeing the Sorcerers coming out from Wasian, seeing the Void coming in as well, I think we're in for a treat in Game 4.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at the standings heading into Game 4. Of course, the big thing from that is going to be title on check at the top of the tables. But what else are you looking at here, Dan?
I'm just looking at how close it is in the midfield here. Hanxing all the way up to Wet Jungler. It really is anybody's game to get past check. So there's going to be 2 things to pay attention to. One, is Title going to win the World Championship in 4 games, right? This is a repeat of the Gizmos and Gadgets Championship when it was over before we knew it. The second thing is, how are the other players going to try to deny that while also trying to play for their own top 4 oriented spot? If you're Wet Jungler, you only need a 5th, but if you're Volta, you need 4th, and so on and so forth. How will those game plans actually pan out? I think that's going to be the most interesting thing.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got 2 EMEA in that top 3 right now, Counterfeit. That's got to be exciting. What have you got for your boys here?
Oh boy, I mean, this is the thing. This is the making of players. We mentioned, of course, before, Volta has the experience in 2 championships so far. For Wet Jungler, this is the making of him specifically as a player to show that he's got what it takes to hang with the best.
Absolutely. These players are fighting tooth and nail to hold on to these points to make it to check. So without further ado, let's head over to the caster desk for game number 4 of the Runeterra Reforged Championship.
Guys, I would be happy to report that there will be more than this game, but facts are there's a good chance that this might be the very last game. Title is on check after an amazing 3 games, and everyone now will try to stop him or not.
Yeah, it's really interesting now because I think a lot of people are looking at this meta and sort of saying, hey, there's some obvious choices here, right? You start with Earth, you look for something like that Demacia, that Shurima, something like that. But Title has also shown that there's a lot of other lines that he's familiar with that can play, so he might be kind of hard to stop. But really, if you're anyone in that middle of the lobby, anyone in the 13 to 16 range, what you should be doing, honestly, is just buying and holding every unit that could possibly help Title. Even if it's going to make you go 6th or 5th or something like that, you have to hold. Because if you let Title get away with it, it's game over.
Back-to-back wins for Title, but so much harder to pull it off in this game, as you're mentioning more, because everyone will be scouting you, saying, oh, you're trying to go for Kai'Sa, I'm going to hold Kai'Sa, you're trying to go for Azir, I'm going to hold Azirs. This is the kind of aspect of TFT that becomes highlighted so much more in the checkmate format.
The thing, okay, 2 people are standing and shifting sands.
But one of them
good.
is
Don't do
Volta. One of them is Volta, and he loves that. That's
that
his
is
favorite.
really risky in a world where you're going to say, hey, Title, here's a free chance at dice rolling your way to victory. That is a bold move. Thankfully, that is not what we end up on. We end up on Finn's Market here. But this is another one that can have high variance, right? Are you going to get 2 Radiant items? And if so, if those Radiant items are very powerful for your comp, that could make a massive difference.
On the left side, you're seeing the points again. I'll spare you the maths, but basically anyone on Hanxing and above can make check here if they place accurately. Notably though, Honglian finally giving up on the Twisted Fate, saying, okay, you guys win 2 8th places, I'll succumb, I'll go for the Manatee.
It's understandable. Yesterday he had good results, made it into this top 8. Today, already this bad shakeup, the mental finally crumbled with the TF Legend, and he has to switch to Earth.
So I think a big thing here, by the way, if Wet Jungler and Volterix are really paying attention, let's say it's a Gold or a Prismatic here, I think you wait as long as possible to cash it in, see what Title takes, and try to go the same thing, because all Wet Jungler needs is a 7th or higher. Again, your entire job is try to make Title lose, and so trying to figure out a line that you can play to contest feels like the right play here.
Ke WC ke World Cup enggak lah. Anjir, berarti ini title versus the world ya? Title versus the world ya? Berarti semua orang harus ngalahin title ya? Iya nggak sih? Biar title gak menang. Malam bang, halo Fajar. Seru banget ya. Kita lihat apakah title langsung menang di game keempat atau dia itu ya dimusuhin 7 orang nih. Kita lihat prismatiknya. Prismatik.
Spike at 2-1. I see a cruel pact potentially for Xiaoga. Title has picked his augment. Ancient Archives is the play. And everyone, as you mentioned, more has to wait, has to go to his board, sit, find a nice...
Anjir, dikasih prismatik awal dong.
Title from winning the Runeterra Reforged World Championship in just 4 games.
Yeah,
Udah di tangan bang, udah. Doain besok lancar bang. Amin Fajar, semoga lancar ya kamu besok. Yang nikah tuh temanmu apa kamu? Oh enggak ding, kamu itu ya? Itu ya, masukin berkas ya? Si Basi Anniversary bingung nih.
March of Progress definitely an option here. The other's not really great. So yeah, does go with the March of Progress, needs a 3-cost reroll. And so now we're going to have to pay insane.
Kita lihat, bakal lihat title ini, title bakal diliatin banyak orang nih. Yang lagi bagus pakai kom apa bang?
That is such an genius play because if he's open forwarding
apa ya? Coba aku cek di TFT.
Of course, it's very risky. Don't get me wrong, but not popping those tomes tells you everyone else either has to wait and therefore also ruin their own game plans, or pick, and he might be on the losing end of
7 demasian kill. 8 void, Ionia Ace, Ionia, ya, 7 Noxus Murder Kaiser, 7 Bilgewater Nilah. 7 Bilgewater Nilah masih bagus ya berarti ya. Iya bang, BTW ini turnamen ke MPL di ML ya. MPL itu global atau enggak? Ini global sih. Wajar. Kita lihat ya. Kalau Hansing bisa nyentuh 30 udah menang ya. Oh dia 7 ke atas sih. Berarti paling enggak dia itu juara 2. Juara berapa ya? Juara 2 atau enggak juara 1 sih. Nilah Bilgewater gak mau dikontes bang, bener sih. Kalau main Demacia, Slayer. Kalau kamu maksudnya udah ngerti emblem gitu, mending pakai Urf sih, Erlangga. Misal dapat Bruiser, main 6 Bruiser. Terus kalau dapat misal Ionia Vanquisher bisa main 6 Ionia, 6 Vanquisher. Si Altenahoy dapat Surima lagi, apakah dia Surima lagi? Kok Volta? Lagi main Ionia Vanquisher sih bang ya, itu juga bagus kok.
He needs to make sure that they're
kalau
better to avoid going down the same route.
Ini World Championship.
I assume he's probably not popping it right now, but every second that he's not doing it, he's down a prismatic.
Kalau MPL tuh paling tertinggi ya? Aku nggak tahu kalau ML. Bukannya ada MM gitu ya? Kalau M apa? Ujian pakai Veigar bad nggak bang? Kalau combo ke Ionia Vanquisher, aku nggak tahu Erlangga. Udah jarang main sih aku jujur ya.
I'm very nervous right now. My money right now would be on one of these birthday present players taking that tempo and being able to run away with it as everybody tries to stop title.
More talk. I'm not sure it's the best idea to give a hypothetical on Game 4 of a World
Championship,
just in case he actually does get 2 Demacia emblems.
Aku ceknya.
But you know, more talk magic works in mysterious ways. Hopefully, in this case, the buttons are not pressed.
So if you're looking at Title's units right now, he definitely has Shurima in the pool. I think he's trying to get that out maybe, but we'll
Oke, kita lihat itu Title belum buka tomnya ya.
A couple of units to maybe slot in, but what's the game plan here? Why are we not taking out the Shurima? How many Taylors does he want?
I mean, if you can get up to 10 and 12, it does give you more options. But the thing is, if it's just a bunch of
Dia pengen nge-Taylor ya, buka Tom of Trade-nya bikin dia makanya dia pakai banyak banget tuh di sebelah kiri tuh trade-nya tuh, biar nanti ketika buka Tom of Trade itu bisa banyak pilihannya. Dan dia udah dapat multicaster itu buat nutup Taylor-nya. Jadi kan soalnya multicaster tuh gak bakal keluar ya kalau di Tom of Trade.
Because if there is one way to go first, right, it's a big first rate play, which is lost streak, max econ, 3-2, pop the tomes, and see where you go from there. And I do like if
sama main Yone Van bisa bagusnya dapat augment-nya kayak Sentinel. Itu Erlangga. Dikasih tahu Zilo. Thank you Zilo.
Any other situation in TFT basically, except for exactly this moment in checkmate format where you're the only one in checkmate and you know everyone is trying to hound you.
All right, so we get our first Finn's market item, by the way. It's just going to be a
market item ya.
So nothing too wild or crazy here. And again, this is just more information for title, right? Oh, look, I've got this type of item. Maybe I've stuck
We
do see some
Slayer emblem.
First one, Shurima Strategist, Rogue Slayer. We call
Shurima.
We don't want Shurima here.
Slayer 2.
So now the condition is very clear.
And title played exactly this line in the first few games on day
Anjir
1.
bisa gitu ya, dapat Slayer lagi anjir. Jago banget cuy. Tidak masuk akal sih Title, guys.
I mean, we were alluding to it. Nobody else is on the Masia, nobody else is on that Slayer line, completely open for Title to maybe go all the way, but he did lose significant amounts of HP all throughout this early game and allowed other players.
Berarti dia bakal main Demacia ya?
Despite now,
Atau main apa lagi ya Slayer tuh bagusnya?
Is not strong enough to keep up with the rest of them.
Yeah, you look at these items and it's very clear here, right? We're going for a Quinn. This is a Quinn 3 Demacia direction.
Oh ya, Demacia Quinn ya.
Possibly get that Mordekaiser in, things like that. So that direction is very clear. So now, if I'm anyone in this lobby, every single Quinn, I'd be opening up that team planner, marking it, make sure we get that icon that shows, and we do not miss a
lihat tuh, si Title dikunjungin banyak orang tuh.
He's probably one step closer to game over.
Especially in the case of Jungler, he's on 16 points right now, just needs 4 points to make it to checkmate himself. That's all he really cares about for this game 4. So just a 5th will do it, as you mentioned earlier, Mortok. So again, if he's able to do both, get a 5th place at the very least, play into the Demacia line, play slightly into that Quinn as well, that would be, you know, kind of 2 birds with 1 stone, which is really the game plan for Jungler and maybe Volta as well.
Yeah, leading in. So now we're going into 3-2. We talked about augment.
Prismatic lagi kah?
You know, we know what direction we're going here. So again, right now Hong Lian though levels to 6, and again he's got that birthday present. So every time he levels up now, that is a free champion that's going to come in. We see the free 2-star Galio here, and the next level up is where those spikes start to get really big, right? Level 7, you get a free 2-star 3 cost. Level 8, free 2-star 4 cost. And if you can make it to 9, you end up very powerful. So this is really about playing what you can be adaptive with, playing around the Sorcerer, the Warmogs, as we head into the fight.
Going to be seeing Hong Lian whether or not he can defend his streak here. On the other side is Volta. We talked about those emblems early on. He just played a Void game, so maybe
dapat Void sama Sorcerer ya. Ini bakal main Void. Main Void lagi si Volta.
But what doesn't work out for him is this fight. Hong Lian strong as ever as he is cruising through this lobby.
Title kalah. Berkurang 12 ya, 348.
We are entering that augment station just a little bit. Notably, Title keeps losing, keeps bleeding here, keeps losing HP.
Prismatic lagi anjir.
Another prismatic roll on the augments here. That's 2 for 2, and he does have options. Goes
level up.
Milih level up
to work with on the open port. It's a risky move with very high rewards if he's able to make it to those crazy levels. We talk about Aatrox coming into play with a 6th Slayer as well.
Yeah, this one's interesting because again, he had the gold, he has the level up, he's level 7, 40 gold now. That's very strong. But Slayer in particular, it's less about the levels and it's more about the power of the units, right? A Quinn 2 not going to win you the game. If you can get the Mordekaiser and the Fiora 2 along with the Demacia,
ya, dia butuh Mordekaiser, Fiora, sama Quinn ya, yang title yang belum punya ya.
Golden to level up is a little scary here. There is one other condition that could be considered here. It's really tough, and that's going to be around the Aatrox. If you can somehow pull this off into an Aatrox 2, that could also do some serious damage.
Alhamdulillah.
Prismatic augments that are coming through here that are interesting. I would say Jungler, pretty interesting coming through here with a little bit of more econ after that birthday present.
Yeah, I think Wet Jungler taking Hedge Fund here, that's a good play. It's going to allow you to get to 9 quicker. The one thing I've seen when you play that line is you end up on level 9, you end up with all these units.
Title kalah lagi, anjir, nyamannya tinggal 3-7 anjir.
Often kind of fall into a third. But for someone like Wet Jungler, that's exactly what he needs, so I think that's great. Hong Lian, though, I do want to call it out right now.
Waduh, Title ini harus bertahan sih. Nyawanya udah tinggal 3-7 aja.
And the reality is, for it to succeed, you have to win streak. You have to keep pushing that tempo, because we could see Hong Lian be level 8 on like 3-6, 4-1, and use the power of the units to push forward. And that kind of tempo is hard for everyone else to come back from.
Trader Fin win randomly a pair of combated artifact support or radiant item.
We're seeing the the Sapphire come through here for Wet Jungler, but of course other support items might be better against other boards, and I think you're looking
Apakah Title kalah biar nggak langsung kelar? Aduh, jangan gitu dong, Title menangin biar kelar anjir ini.
Something like Zephyr is going to be huge. Wet Jungler can really just position for Title as often as possible whenever he's in his pool.
Yeah, I agree with the Zephyr choice. We also saw a Shroud here. Right now, if you're looking at this lobby, and I know I might curse it here, but it's really not looking great for Title. I don't like the situation he's in, and the fact that Hong Lian has such an advantage right now. Everybody else is going to have to play bully. Hong Lian might just get a bunch of points here. And I will say it's good for everybody else, the fact that Hong Lian only has, I believe, 9 points?
Hong Lian kalah.
And so, yeah, so the fact that he is, even if he gets a first, isn't going to be in check, that's great for everybody else that's in that middle of the pack.
Title still losing 30 HP now. We're checking in with all of the boards in the lower third.
Jadi dia udah dapat queen ya.
That carousel. Big
Dia ngambil
here is going to be the Kaisa for all of those Void players. We'll see who gets her. Wet Jungler does not want her, but some of the other players, you can see Volta already wiggling there. Does he make headway over there? But Xiaoge is faster.
The early game with Void, for so many players, the stability the trade offers, but specifically, there's 2 players trying to go into the Void line. Both Volta and Xiaoge are on the Void.
Oh, si Volta sama Xiaoge pengen main Void ternyata.
Xiaoge has the Shurima emblem, so kind of a diversion in the path there for both of these players.
Title goes to 8 here.
Title
so now, again,
goes deep.
The plan here. Finding the Quinn 2.
Wow.
Yeah, found the Mordekaiser. That's going to help here. This puts us in a situation now where we do have 6 Slayer. The item's not bad for Quinn here. You go
Mordekaiser. No duplicator. Has a Cassante out of nowhere. Would have loved to see an Aatrox, of course, but not going to be the case here for Title. And he's at 0 gold, Mortdog.
Yeah, I think being at 0 gold here, not too big a deal, though. Again, you've got the Quinn 2, you've got the 6 Slayer. 6 Slayer doubles the power of the trait here, so it's not too bad. Obviously, we'd love to find the Mordekaiser 2 and things like that, but overall...
Ya, kurang Mordekaiser 2 sih. Makanya kalau Mordekaiser 2 aman sih harusnya Title
so this
sih.
feels like as good a position as Title could be in, but it doesn't feel like one of those crazy first-place comps that we're going to see. And even this fight, you know, again, could be a win here. I imagine this Quinn's going to do some big damage. It's actually really close.
Kaisa is not going to be able to claw it out there. Title finally winning after what felt like for
my God! Dapat anjir!
He just finds the Mordekaiser. Naturally, Nico 2 also here if he wants to just beef up the front line for now.
Dapat anjir!
A bit stronger, and that is going to be the choice.
Wah, dapat Fiora juga, guys.
So, obviously, getting the Mordekaiser here, big high roll, but I do want to call out the fact that he's using Ice. He's using Ice Ishtal combined with 6 Slayer and the Omnivamp. This is brilliant setup here to allow this Mordekaiser to be very
Tanggal 22 November, Mahmud Gaming.
Up front. It's going to be able to drop that aggro, power back through, be the last one standing, because Mordekaiser gets that extra power if he's the last one standing. All of a sudden, with this turn of events, Title might be looking okay.
Title tiba-tiba nge-comeback anjir ini.
All of this damage from the Slayer trait, you're missing something. You're missing sustain, you're missing, you know, some amount of time to buy that time for that damage to come through. And as you're mentioning more, the Ice solves that problem perfectly for Title, buys him maybe a bridge to actually make it to those Aatroxes later on in stage 5 and 4.
Ya, dia harus nge-save dulu ya buat ke level 9.
I'll start holding on to Mords in stage 4.
Udah level 8 kan? Ya udah level 8 sendiri loh.
Somehow in stage 3.
Semuanya masih level 7 sama 6 ya. Dia harus nge-save ke level 9 buat nyari Aatrox.
And if you're looking across this, you also know why Title is able to find everything just so naturally on the back of that level up, going to 8, being able to capitalize on that while everyone else is mostly sitting on level 6. They don't even see the Quins in their shop yet.
Yeah, the big challenge for someone like Weijin.
Comeback lagi itu, bener Aji, bisa jadi comeback lagi Aji. Si base anniversary dijual semua, dia ingin mulai dari awal ya.
Build a board around that. Right now, the fact that
dia main Bridgewater.
Mordekaiser 2, all of a sudden the options to counter him are just not as high anymore. Now you kind of need to worry about.
Dapat gangplank, oke, lumayan gangplank. Yap, lumayan lah ya. Tapi nilainya nggak masuk, anjir.
Would have hoped for more misfortunes on this roll down, but overall, pretty good conversion here.
Question is it going to be enough against what some of the other players are throwing up? Honglian still sitting in that top, has
title udah menang.
A little bit since that early win streak though, so is losing on the tempo end of that birthday present just a little bit.
Ini prismatik lagi harusnya ya. Terakhir prismatik lagi ya. Enggak, ternyata gold. Slayer resolve. Ya GG anjir, dapat Slayer resolve.
Come through, everyone squinting at this screen, but
Slayer resolve anjir di title.
Okay.
Question mark ping.
I might have caster cursed this a bit here. Slayer's resolved with 6 Slayer and the Mordekaiser on the ice.
Oh my God.
What's gonna happen now is, so this augment gives.
Gila si title guys, lagi berpihak kepada title anjir. Dapat title resolve juga dong.
It's gonna take damage, ice up, heal back, and have a ton of armor and MR. As long as he can get a third item for this Mordekaiser, this is scary all of a sudden. Somebody else needs to start looking at 3-star 4 costs, something else that can outcap this board here.
Kalau nonton kejuaraan ini dapat apa, Pak? Nggak dapat apa-apa sih. Ini kalau di Twitch dapat deh. Nggak tahu.
He was rolling down, he was picking up all of those extra Nilas, trying to at least make that happen to maybe throw a fighting chance against this behemoth of a board that Title has put together here, and he will just
shred Title menang, guys. Langsung menang. Di game keempat langsung.
But in terms of board power, he is leading this pack.
And reminder, Title, runner-up in Set 7 World Championship. He's had the experience before. He's been oh so close to that trophy in the past. He's trying to come back as one of the favorites coming to this tournament the entire weekend. Started off slow, but got so strong in day 2.
Set bintang
2 for Wet Jungler, 28 HP though. He has to try and get at least a 5th, and especially has to deny Title the win.
One of the things I like here is at least we went double Dragon Claw in this set. Again, if you know that Mordekaiser's kind of the cap, that's a decent option here for the set.
Title belum level 9 ya?
But it feels a little different here.
Dia kayaknya nabung dulu sih. Harusnya
which I think is great. But we talked about right now, he needs.
Dia dengan di belah dunia mana nih, Pak? Enggak.
Doesn't win and Wet Jungler can get, I believe it's like 6th or higher.
Di mana ini? Online semua sih kayu. Online semua ini.
Disastrous.
It would be, and it is looking like that might be within the realms of possibility.
Tapi kalau Cina jadi satu ruangan, kalau Cina satu aula kayaknya. Soalnya kalau dilihat, kalian lihat yang Cina bareng ya tempatnya. Kaosnya juga apa? Jaketnya juga bareng. Si Cina tuh Xiaoge, Honglian sama Hansing.
We're seeing a little bit of an upturn in the lobby standings on the right-hand side as we are going into the carousel.
Title udah level 9, bejir. Bukan deh. Iya, udah. Level 8 deh.
Title maybe even as well with a Slayer emblem onto the Belveth if it fits on his board. I mean, overall, it's time now to start looking at the game plans for all other 7 players in this lobby and start deciding, is there anyone that can actually have a projection to get strong or even stronger than Title coming to stage 5?
Yeah, it's going to be really tough here. And again, Title on fire right now. Everyone's sort of praying that somebody else can spike really hard.
Ya, semua orang 7 orang ini berharap Title ada yang bisa ngalahin dia.
I do like Title's itemization here. We talked about the Quicksilver. The Quicksilver is going to shut down a lot of those options, right? A set 3 can't stun a Mordekaiser that's got that Quicksilver.
Ntar ada interestnya juga, nggak bakal kayak Magic Chess Income dulu. Ada Mahmud Gaming, ada. Interestnya di sini sampai 50. Paling tinggi 50. Berarti 5. Itu harus nyimpen 50 gold. Jadi itu bahasa dari mana, Pak? Apanya kayu? Bahasa mana?
Good also, he's holding on to that Mordekaiser saying you're not getting that. On the other side, Xiaoge holding on to an
Xiaoge lawan Honglian sesama Chinese.
Are very aware of what's going on here and they're trying to deny.
Nah kan kalau orang Cina bareng kan. Sama jaketnya, background belakangnya sama.
If it ends here for some reason, your points are going to matter in the final standings. You cannot just
atau maybe di Cina ya.
And then hope that miraculously works out. Title does
Emang slot
keep
dapat ya,
streaking
Bang?
here. One
Untuk
by
party
one
apa?
by one.
Kalau party
He's
ranked?
clawing up the ladder
Dua
on
apa
the
tiga ya?
right-hand
Dua kayaknya.
side, and I think it is
Dua apa tiga
very
gitu?
close if you're looking at the
Dua kayaknya ya?
tables.
Kalau untuk lobby main normal biasa 8 sih, bisa 8 orang bareng. Kalau di TFT itu bagusnya juga ada main tim gitu, Mahmud Gaming. Jadi 2 lawan 2. Berarti 2 orang lawan 4 tim ya. 3 tim, termasuk kamu 1 tim. Oh, Hensing dapat Fan Quizzer ya, main dapat set 3 sama S bintang 3. Tapi apakah kuat? Maksudnya slot hero itu Bang, kan MC 9. Oh, 10 bisa 10. Bisa 10 apa 11 ya? Bisa 11 nggak sih? Kalau fullnya 9 biasa, tapi ada item yang bisa ngebikin jadi 10. Oh, anjir nyawet talinya loh. Anjing mukanya anjir langsung. Title masih win streak guys. Langsung tiba-tiba peringkat 3 anjir. Tadi dari bawah ya. 7 win streak, duitnya 52, berarti habis ini dia level 9 anjir. Nggak ngaruh Mahmud Gaming di sini, nggak ngaruh. Commander gitu-gitu nggak ngaruh. Adanya nanti Legend, dan itu bisa semua sih. Soalnya free maksudnya gitu loh. Ini free to play sekali ya. Game free to play friendly, tinggal skill doang sih. Kalian tinggal skill. Jadi kebanyakan mainnya skill. Skill manajemen duit. Yap, dia butuh MF. Roll terus, ngerol terus. Bis buat butuh 3 lagi. Sama kayak Chess dong. Iya, hampir sama harusnya. Oh, nggak pernah main Chess ya?
Unfortunately, he's going to use the remover to get a Zephyr, a key Zephyr if he needs it. But overall, again, this looks like a board that might get like 3rd or 2nd, which is all Wasian needs, so that's not a bad place to be in.
Kita lihat Wasian version apakah bisa menang.
We're gonna keep talking about it because as long as I see that 30 health on fire, that's the big story right now.
And it keeps happening.
Oh, title tetap menang guys. Anjay. Harus di stop kalau pengen lanjut, kalau nggak title menang ini.
Maybe you sell the Azirs. Maybe you hand the Azirs to Hong Lian.
Now Azir too. This game plan is helping title.
Yeah, like that's the thing. If you're gonna have a shot at stopping him, sell the Azirs. Let somebody else hit that 3-star 4 cost. Let somebody stop him. If they don't, title's gonna run away with it.
Soalnya ini bakal jadi 1 lawan 7 ya. Title ini harus dihentikan, kalau enggak dia bisa menang, udah menang langsung ya. Cuma butuh 4 game doang buat dia menangin World Championship ini ya di set 9.
To keep away from title, we are watching 2 players and one
Hansing,
of them is going
ini
to
kalau
go
bisa
out.
pulang Hansing.
Volta on 11 points, Hanching on 9 points. Volta
Temani aku Pak lagi ngeroda malam.
To at least have a big
Sendirian kamu kayu.
On the other side, we're seeing the set 3. We're seeing
Oke, Volta kalah.
We have watched the power of this board
Mati ya,
before,
Volta.
and that is
Oh, nyawa 1.
will knock down Volta to single HP, hanging
title peringkat 1.
Even that low cost 3 that might
Title peringkat 1 guys, dari bawah tiba-tiba 1 ya.
doing anything against title.
They can't keep getting away with this. Like he's in first place now. He's still win streaking. He's got so much gold to work with.
Udah level 9 juga dia guys. Dia bisa level 10 ya. Kalian dia pakai level up ya. Soalnya kalau nggak ada Augment level up itu Paulnya level 9, tapi dia gara-gara pakai level up dia bisa level 10 ya. Kalau ada Titan apa namanya? Titan Crown itu jadi bisa 11 ya. Dia pakai triple shrink, jadi kecil tuh, lihat tuh, jadi kecil.
But what is maybe going to be enough is the power
Si Volta bakal pulang. Udah fix menang title sih guys. Let's go, Toro duluan. Nggak sampai jam 1.
To 8, Hanxing knocked down to 9, Xiaoge to 10. We might just see him pull it off if only Hong Liang can do something here.
And the Grim Reaper has taken out his sight.
Grim Reaper ya. Dari bawah mulu ya, langsung ngebabat anjir.
He was so close 2 sets ago. He's trying his best to bring glory to Japan. Their first ever World Championship is on the line in this game 4. We were predicting 6, maybe 7 games, but Title might do it in just 4.
Padahal diprediknya bisa sampai 6 game atau 7 ya. Di sini mah sampai 4 doang anjir.
This board, you're good, Mort. Yeah, this board looks so insane though, and right now it feels like the only way you stop this is a 3-star forecast. There's just, it's such a powerful version.
Terus ada yang 3-star forecast ya. 4 cost 3 star ya, 3 bintang ya. Dan itu kayaknya bakal sulit sih. Harus ada yang menyerah gitu. Maksudnya nggak terkontes gitu lah. Menentukan gak di tiap bang, menentukan Mahmud, apalagi di game-game akhir harus pindah-pindah soalnya. Weishen lawan Hansing. Oh, menang Hansing. Oh, masih menang Weishen. Hansing bakal pulang. Udah title guys, tinggal 3 orang. Mungkin Hong Lian doang bisa ngalahin si title sini.
It feels like the only play here is the Cassante. If you can get the... no, actually, Quicksilver. Never mind. That's not even going to be enough.
Of everything.
That's not even going to be enough. So, Hong Lian just really has to win by brute force. But again, if Title keeps winning, I think he's already on pace. He could just go to 10. And at that
kita lihat title gun. Gun kan guys.
This is just going to be too much.
Lawan Hong Lian ya, kita lihat. Siapa yang bakal menang kalau title yang menang sih? Kesantainya. Kisantainya bisa ngebuang 2. Queennya masih hidup. Title kalah guys.
That is massive. That shows, because that's the matchup we're going to be looking at.
Gede banget itu. Nah, tambah seru ini ya. Title kalah guys.
Again, he's holding the gold. We're going to go into 6-1. We're going to probably go to level 10, power this up even more. But we saw that Azir just having so much damage.
Title maybe bakal ke 10 ini.
Disadvantages of this comp is it is front to back. You have to get through the Scion. You've got to get through everything else.
Gonna be seeing this Drake
dia ganti Balvet ya.
and maybe give upgrades to the boards that we are looking here. 50 gold for title is so much to maybe make a dream happen. He can
level 10 beneran.
Yeah, to see level 10 here in the final game. Again, we talk about playing for first place conditions.
Atrok. Akhirnya Atroknya dapat.
Could this be the next spike that
Heimer Dinger?
The win here, Heimer 2, the upgrades card coming. Can anyone stop?
Oh my god, Ari bintang 2 juga.
And on the other side, we have Hong Lian, and
Hong Lian juga stronger sih, ini menarik banget sih. Dia juga udah punya Atrok bintang 2 ya. Tapi Hong Lian bakal melangin Wasiani version sih.
He can maybe do enough. He can maybe hang on, make it one more round to try and find anything to throw up against title.
Ya bisa sih, Wasiani version kalah sih.
He doesn't really care if it's Hong Lian's ghost copy.
Azirnya sih Hong Lian anjir, kagak berkurang sama Belvetnya ya.
Is that Weijin is gonna get knocked out here. There's only one remaining player that can save the tournament to go to game 5.
Please jangan game 5, please title menang, please. Cukup dong. Si Hong Lian, dia cuma butuh menang buat gagalin si title menang ya.
It'll make it so difficult to do so. I have to imagine if he gets one more loss in this pace, if he thinks he's weaker than title going to the last fight, that's gonna be his only out.
Yeah, but even then, Belveth 3 is definitely one of the weaker 3-star 5 costs, so even that looks a little scary here. Here we go into one of the fights here. I don't think this knocks anyone out, so it's going to be really close. This will give us a...
Tapi kalau misal title ini kalah, belum kalah ya. Masih bisa lanjut. Tinggal 1 nyawa tapi. Nazirnya Honglian sih ini. Mordekaisernya so strong, masih hidup. Oh, Azirnya.
Versus Quinn, Aatrox versus Quinn, Belveth finally gets the win there. Title down to 7.
Lanjut ke game 5, anjir.
Can Title hit any more power spikes to try and win this last one?
Honglian possibly finding the Heimerdinger or 2 here would need to sell off one of the Aatroxes there, but you're holding those to avoid that Title finds it. So it is a little bit of a game of chicken if you think you're strong enough, and he does. He is going to remake it, freeze up their Shroud of Stillness as well.
Yeah, the fact that he has the Shroud here to place, has the Belveth.
Oh, gak jadi tidur kah, guys?
Could be the fight that saves the tournament.
We're going to be seeing Title on the other side, the only player on checkmate here against Honglian. This might be the very final fight between the two of them. In the backline, we have a big charge coming in, trying to take out the Unix.
Oh, menang Title. Menang Title.
And he might be the only unit that is left alive standing. It will be Honglian knocked down to 9 HP. The next fight will determine everything. We're gonna go into one more carousel.
Title, carousel terakhir ini penentuan banget. Dia ngambil apa?
Warping abilities will matter so much more talking this final fight.
Yeah, the thing to note, if you watch the fight again a second time, stare at that Belveth. If that Belveth lives a long time,
ya dia si Title harus ngincar Belvethnya ya. Belvethnya harus mati duluan, itu kayaknya the best cara. Atrox bintang 2. Anjir.
Slayer's resolve. Aatrox 2 coming online for the board here for the Japanese player.
Yeah, this again, you just gotta stare at the Belveth. That feels like the key thing. It does have the Banshee's Veil, so it's CC immune. If we can get the fight to last long enough for the gem to proc, that's gonna be a bunch of extra damage. But here we go into the final fight.
Kita lihat guys, final battle.
One more time, one last fight to determine it.
Apakah Title akan menang? Please Title menang.
Keep your eyes on that Belveth. She is moving towards the front line, trying to make something happen, trying to protect the tournament. In the back line, we're seeing good CC.
Belvethnya mati. Let's go.
But she's fallen. She's faltered.
Menang Title guys. Menang Title, GG banget.
Backline is holding on by a thread. The survival of Aatrox will not matter.
Akhirnya tidur terlebih dahulu, tidak sampai jam 1. Let's go.
Reforged World Champion.
GG anjir. Cuma butuh 4 game ya.
And does so with, I think, a perfect game of TFT. So well played from beginning to end.
Gila sih. Grim Reaper beneran ya.
4 games when we started here. Title came in and just showed, what was it, 3 firsts in a row? 3 different comps, played that so immaculately, knew his win conditions, got, with the Mordekaisers there, but played around the ice. Wow, all right, 4 games.
I mean, you have to respect it, right? He did something similar in the Japanese regionals. In the last set, he competed in internationally, and we were like, okay, it's not gonna happen again. This very aggressive loss streak at the beginning to then go into everything, find a line that
loss streak di awal ya, tapi berhasil ya. Nggak kayak Honglian ya, kebablasan ya loss streaknya. Tidur telah tiba, hore, hore. Anjir, ini piala begini dikirim ke Jepang berapa ya ongkosnya ya guys ya?
Massive spike at 2-1. I see a cruel potentially for Xiaoga. Title has picked his augment. Ancient Archives is the play.
Yang ngeri banget tuh bisa-bisanya dapat Titan Resolve anjir. Slayer Resolve ya? Slayer Resolve ya, dapat pas augment terakhir ya.
It's your Runeterra Reforged World Champion.
Panas banget. Kita tunggu dulu ya. 2 menit. Oh, main rumble bentar. Turu bang, turu bentar. Kalau tiba-tiba nanti lah belum turu, belum lah. Kalau ada pengumuman lain guys, tunggu dulu dah. Sabar lah. Set 10 udah di spill belum? Belum sih lo, harusnya sih biasanya habis turnamen gini kan. Kalau di spill tuh. Kita lihat aja. Kalau nggak ada ya udah turu. Penting nggak tidur jam 1 sih ya. Badanku sudah tidak kuat anjir. Runeterra Reforged.
Welcome back to the Runeterra Reforged Championship, where we have just crowned Title as our world champion. An outstanding performance from him across all 3 days and a dominant finish. We got to talk about that game because everyone else in the lobby is playing to stop him from going first, and he still managed to find a path to victory.
Yeah, and the thing is about Title is we hyped him a lot going into this championship as being one of the top 3 players in terms of raw skill, and you're looking at him, Bobe, and Wage and Iverson, but in reality, people still weren't even talking about Title. They were talking about like his previous championship performances and how he comes from Japan, but the reality is this kid was truly special. We were talking about on the pre-show, we're talking about other scenes. This guy really understands how to win, and I think that's really important going to Checkmate in particular. And it's also funny because he got second in the Set 7 championship, and so this guy is getting second in one world championship, first in another. What's the ceiling for him? Is he going to win a few more to rack it up?
I mean, clearly one of the best TFT has to offer. Bebe, I mean, do you want to break down a little bit in that game? Him lost streaking and not popping those tomes until the whole lobby was kind of figured out.
I mean, I was amazed by Title's gameplay. He knew that everyone would grief him, so he purposely lost streak so he could not get griefed, and he made sure to greet as much economy and his tones to go for an uncontested win condition route. He also greeted all of his tailors too. He put all 12 synergies onto him so that he could get the best possible case scenarios, and because of that, he actually managed to find 2 service paths because he prepared for that. If any other player did it, they would just proc the spat at 2-1, get something random, and he would not have won the World Championships for sure.
As you said, he was playing uncontested, and the other players who were trying to find a way to actually stop him were contesting the same units. There were 2 or 3 people that were actually going for a steal. We were talking in the analyst desk, in the green room, how Honglian needed that Asir free to maybe steal the show and maybe we go to a game 5. But since there were 2 or 3 players going towards that route, that wasn't possible.
Here's something else that's also really impressive. Most top players were talking about how terrible lose streak was. And look what happened with Title in the back-to-back first that he did to put himself into check and to win. He played lose streak twice in a row. And that's incredibly impressive because most players put in that position can't really handle it. Sure, if you drop them in the spot where they have to click 2 extra Mordekais to hit Mordekaiser 2, if you drop them into the spot where they have 50 gold level 8 and go to 9 and then hit Aatrox to win condition, they can do that. But the entire process is the sauce of a good TFT player, and this guy cooked immaculately.
And speaking of cooking, he also mixed up a lot of the ingredients that were part of set 9. Ishtal wasn't really something that was played as much, but he used the ice Ishtal to make that Mordekaiser be unkillable and just use that to win streak the entire stage 4 and go to level 9 and 10.
Yeah, absolute beautiful play out of him, using very creative methods to get there. And yeah, of course, you know, finding those roles, but playing so many different unique comps across the entire tournament. Leaning on Azir, but even in the final game, was playing something different.
Yeah, and I think he stayed true to his style as well, right? Everyone had an Earth as their primary strategy. If I hit Demacia, I know what I'm doing. If I hit something else that's really good, I know what I'm doing as well. But he also went off the script and played around Azir, which is the most flexible forecast. And I want to highlight that this was not even his most impressive day. I specifically shout out that Stillwater hold from earlier in the tournament game where he had to basically improvise, and he was almost playing like something that you see in other sets. He had 2 of every trait, extremely flexible, good fundamental board. So he knows how to play the high rolls, he knows how to play the low rolls, he knows how to play the unusual throw you off into a random portal and you have to figure it out. What can't this guy do? I truly believe he is going to be one of the TFT greats when it's all said and done, if he isn't already there for winning this championship.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how good being well-rounded was here, and Tidal embodied that with all the different flexibility, playing around that Azir, and Tidal just putting on an absolute clinic, baby.
I mean, I do completely agree. His plays were perfect, and I think this is one of the most deserved tournament wins I have ever seen so far.
And I like the storyline coming from him. He probably remembers how it was to lose in the final game, to lose the set 7 championship. And he probably learned from that and tried to grit it out as much as possible to close it out this time, and very convincingly.
Yeah, take a trip down memory lane. In the Dragonlance Championship, he was specifically playing 6 Dragon, which was a very powerful synergy, but unfortunately, Shunga was playing Shimmer Scales, which everyone knows. Back then, you played for a 3-star
Benar-benar kayak Scarlet Witch,
you had
si
to start
Casanova.
with the best possible win condition in the game. A
Ternyata
3-star
Title tuh
legendary, which has like a
langganan ya berarti ya.
99.9% win
Langganan
rate.
bulk ya.
And so that's the only way you can stop Title. No
Championship
one was
ya.
close to hitting that this lobby.
I also want to add to that, set 7 Dragonlance, Tidal actually had the strongest board, but he had one counter amongst 4 players, which was Hwame, who had the Skull Weapons Yone 3-star, which is the only counter to 6 Dragons, and he got matched against him like 3 times in a row, which did cost him HP, and that did cost him the set 7 World Champions due to just bad matchup RNG.
And so how fitting is it that he goes up against the China of Champion, goes up against Hong Lian, 2 times back-to-back regional winner, one of the best players in China, just based off his recent history, able to avenge himself, taking out a Chinese player mano-a-mano to win the championship. It's poetic.
Yeah, and it's once again having, you know, the strongest board and everyone trying to outcap him, trying to get the biggest thing. And this time it was a legendaries board, but we did not see 3-star legendaries coming out in this tournament whatsoever.
All right, the pick'ems.
The pick'ems.
0
there. And people were not able to find the forecast, 3-star forecast in this one as well.
Right, everybody had like 8 Apheliuses, 8 Shens, 8 Nylas, but they never did finish the hit. There were a lot of composition that was outside our expectations, especially the fact that there's no 9 synergies winning. Usually we're used to 9 Noxus, 9 Damashas dominating our lobbies, but this time we actually saw a champion without any of those particular synergies.
Yeah, that's actually very true. And also the way Tidal was able to win, I mean, 3 firsts in a row. Come on, man. Like, what else do you really want? You're like, yeah, well, checkmate. You can play around format all you want.
Ya, dia berarti menang 3 kali berturut-turut ya.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, we go 6 games. Do you think anyone's really passing him? Really?
Right, into a standard format.
Yeah, exactly. So this is just an outstanding performance overall from Tidal, and I want to continue to kind of dig into this game as a whole and how he got there, because we're looking at the other boards. We saw some strange picks like Double Trouble for Hunching, and we saw March of Progress for Weijin, and both of them not able to quite get to the caps.
So I think some players really understood the assignment. Some players, when I say this, I mean they play for winouts. So players that took something that was like high cap, like Weijin with March of Progress, we know you can hit 3-star forecast, that's your possible win condition. Double Trouble,
Dan tuh mukanya kayak itu ya,
if you're able to get it on
gabungan Asia sama Amerika ya.
But still had to put a respectable board. And then for some other players we're looking at, we're like, what happened, man?
Tapi lebih ke Amerika ya. Kalau Bobe kan fix score high, kok
like, a
Bobe.
couple players
BB kan
really
fix
gave
Korea ya.
a couple free rounds to Title, if I could be quite honest.
That's why Tidal playing really slowly to make sure that he couldn't get grief was also a major factor that did make that happen. And I was actually hoping for the birthday present players to be able to use birthday present to rush 9. And then if the prismatic is Tactician's Tool or Ancient Archives, then they can get the 9 synergies that way. I'm pretty sure because the Earth meta, a lot of players decide to use birthday present, rush 9, get 9 synergies to win, but unfortunately they just didn't hit.
He also took advantage of the fact that since people were greeting a little more, the boards on stage 3 and stage 4 weren't really that strong, so he was able to just roll at 3-5 with 30 HP, which is more than enough. And that's able just to stabilize, roll, and start sim rolling and making a snowball into what's 5-1, 5-2, whenever he went to level 9, which was very early.
Yeah, and I guess, I mean, talk to me about the power of the 6 Slayers, right? Because we're filling time for the interview here. We're trying to get, you know, Title on the line so we can talk to him a bit.
Yeah, we're not just talking to hear ourselves talk.
Yeah, as much.
We're trying to interview Title, but we need to grab the translator and everything like that.
So I want to talk a little bit about the cap of his composition, right? Because we talked about, you know, 9 Demacia, 9 Terima, you know, getting these chase traits. We talked about, you know, 3-starring 4 costs, but this was just 6 Slayer, natural, and Bebe. Professor Bebe.
I want to shout at that.
Okay,
Professor Bebe
how the
lagi ya.
Slayer composition works is very simple. 6 Slayers are still weaker than 8 and 9 synergy, so up until the mid-game, after you find your Fiora, your Mordekaza, you are supposed to win. So you're supposed to win from 3-5 to all the way to 5-5, right there, all right? But after the 5-6 and maybe the 6-1 point, that's when the 9 synergies or 4 cost 3-stars start coming online, and that's when it's supposed to fall off. And unfortunately, the composition did not come online, and that's why the composition did not fall off. Usually that's how 6 Slayers go.
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, I feel the 9 traits, when you compare it to 6 Slayer, is much stronger, right? 9 Ionia, 9 Shurima, 9 Demacia.
Oke, kayaknya udah berhubung dengan
But I
title
will
tuh,
say
si Casanova.
that I do think 6 Slayer is really underrated. That's actually something that NA actually kept under their wraps. We had a lot of tech. You saw some of it, like Zon Gunners, and you saw some of the other stuff. One of them was that we believed that 6 Slayer was basically the highest power cap that wasn't a 9 trait. And so I actually really do believe in 6 Slayer. So the moment that double popped, I said if he hits more 2, I was like, Bebe was like, oh, don't worry, it's double prismatic. Paolo's going to be so high, someone's going to hit 9 trait. We're going to cast game 5, because Bebe and I are supposed to cast game 5. How are we going to cast at all today?
Bebe belum nge-cast sama sekali ya.
We glazed Title all day. That was literally our job.
I was waiting
so
all
sad.
day for game 5,
But
dude.
the moment he hit double Slayer Spat and Mordekaza, I'm like, oh, Bebe,
Yeah.
we're not casting game 5.
All right, well, with that, let's take a look at the standings. We know Title's the champion, but let's see how...
Si Bebe belum nge-cast ya.
Still, you know, a lot of money on the line, and all these placements are still important to highlight as Title finished first. Wet Jungler following up in second place, Weijin in third, and then a row of China, Xiaoge, Hanxing, and Honglian following up from there. Volta in 7th, and Altanawe rounding out our top 8.
I mean, it's really, I want to tip my cap to EMA in particular. I think they did fantastic this World Championship. I think a lot of people still underestimate them, even amongst themselves. I can't tell you how many times I see flame towards EMEA from EMEA players. Have some pride and dignity. Stand up for yourselves. You guys are a pretty strong region now, and I think that this is just the beginning.
All right, and without further ado, we do have Title on the line. So let's get to our interview.
Tinggal saya sih ya, saya belum ada guys.
Riot Shu. I got you here.
Is Riot Shu with us
Riot
right
Shu
now?
with us in the room.
Yep.
Oh, hello.
Hey.
All right, so I want to start asking Title. Congratulations, Title. Came so close in Dragonlands to finding the win and with that second place finish. And now you are our champion here in Runeterra Reforged. What are some of the emotions going through your head right now?
タイトルさん、まずおめでとうございます。ステージ7の、
Jepang ya. Siapa yang ngertiin anjir?
ところで負けてからここまで来ましたけど、今最終的に勝てて、まず気持ちをお聞かせください。
Siapa guys yang ngertiin bahasa Jepang ya?
はい。感慨深い気持ちです。ここまで TFT をやってきてよかったなと感じております。
It's hard to say. I just feel like I'm glad I kept playing TFT until today.
Ntar saya diwakilin si Bans.
Yeah, I bet.
Of course. I mean, we are glad too to show that great performance. But
For sure.
You've been kind of touted as the hope of Japan, and now you've been able to bring a championship back to your country. I mean, what does that mean to you?
タイトルさん、日本の希望っていうふうにこう言われてた
Nippon
りと
no,
かして、実際、
Nippon no, kayaknya
今
Nippon
回、
ya.
こ
Nippon
の、
no, aduh.
優勝を持ち帰れて、お気持ちをお聞かせください。
そうですね。日本は TFT のリージョンの中でも非常に小さなリージョンですけど、こうやって世界でも日本人が戦えるんだっていうことを証明できてよかったなと。
Dia ada translatornya ya.
I know Japan, as a server, like it's a very small server for TFT, but I'm very happy to prove that Japan can compete and bring back this title back.
Brings this title back. Okay, cool. I'll go next here. There's a lot of hype around title outside of Japan. Many players and around the world think that he's one of the top players. Did he believe in the own hype himself? Did he actually have confidence that he was the best player? Like many people think of him as the first or second strongest player in the field, even before the championship started.
タイトルさんについて日本の国外
Taunya Ikeh bang, aduh, apa emang artinya
海外
Radit
の
ya?
選手からもタイトルさんはこうすごく、強い選手で、もう世界でもかなりトップの方に入るんじゃないかというふうに言われてたんですけど、実際そのことについてご自身ではどう考えてましたか？今回の大会をこう入ってくるにあたってどういうふうにこう自信とか、感じてましたか？
そうですね。これで世界戦が3回目だったので、
Oh, ini suaranya si
なんでしょう。世界戦の経験だったら他の他国のプレイヤーにも全然負けず戦っていけるんじゃないかなと考えておりました。
So this is my third international event, and in terms of experience, I think I have more than enough compared to other players this time around. So in that way, I had a pretty good confidence on this tournament.
Okay.
That's fantastic. Do you have one, baby?
Taito-san, TFT 一番プレイヤー最高です。最高。
ありがとうございます。
おめでとう。So you are the number one TFT player right now, and I say your play was amazingly beautiful, well deserved. Please compliment him a lot.
No question.
Just compliments. All right, well, I will get one more for you, Title. I would love to hear if you have any people that you want to shout out or any words that you have for all of your fans out there in TFT.
Siapa fansnya Taito, guys?
プレーを楽しんでいらっしゃるファンの皆様に一言いただけますか？
Bebe sama si Tai
日本のプレイヤー
Taihat
以外の海外のプレイヤーからもたくさんの応援をいただきました。3日間たくさんの応援ありがとうございました。
I did get cheers from all over the world, players from all over the world, not only Japan and from everybody around the world, and I'm grateful for that. And thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Title, and congratulations once again. Also, thank you to Riot Shoe for the translations. But that is our world champion Title. Man, what an amazing tournament from him, and just very humble and just a really, really solid player to be listening to. It's awesome that he's been able to bring that all
ada
back.
gold, aku mau.
And I mean, he gets to celebrate tonight with all of his community. Watch the ending of Attack on Titan. It's going to be a great day for Titan, honestly.
Attack on Titan.
All right, well, I want to go over the entire day, the tournament in general, kind of get your thoughts of the final day here. We only got 4 games, but still, each and every one of them was absolutely incredible. Dan, we'll start with you.
I mean, this is my 3rd championship being here in Spain, and I just can't really think of a more deserving winner than title. And I also feel like the way it went down, I mean, we're really starting to see the skill expression in TFT. I understand the meta wasn't the ideal situation. When you saw the augment screen, there were 8 herbs. I'm like, no, Hong Lian, you were the last stand. But overall, I think it was a really enjoyable championship, and I think Title was a deserving champion. North America may have gotten close, but no cigar again. I am really proud of Weijin, and I'm really proud of all the NA scene. We had little time to prepare, so ultimately, if this is how we perform with the worst possible conditions, changing sleep schedule last second, and regionals happening only 3 days before, and Weijin to take midterms, I'm really excited for the future. And also, I want to say one thing is that as much as you want your home region to win, this is really good for the growth of the entire global scene. I'd love to see Japan and other minor regions. When is it going to be Latam's turn? When is OCE going to finally cross the finish line? It's really exciting, and I can't wait for the future. We'll see you in Vegas.
All right, Bebe, your final thoughts on the day?
I mean, I do have to say that the skill expression of TFT has risen very significantly. Although the RNG aspect is quite huge in TFT, it does not deny the fact that these players have studied day and night for a very long duration of time, just as hard as many people have achieved in their lives. So I do think that TFT is becoming more sophisticated, and it makes me very happy to see players that put so much time and dedication, and especially passion into the game as well too, get rewarded for their efforts.
I'm honored to be able to watch games of such caliber, and also to be here in this set. This set is gorgeous. I've been saying that since day one, and my message to all the now is just chin up. You've been a great player the entire set. This is just one step closer to just continue being one of the best players of LATAM. And I just have to say thank you all for having me. Thank you. It's been a pleasure, and well, I'm just happy.
Gracias, Baya.
It has been a pleasure as well for me. I am so grateful to have had this opportunity, my first championship, to be here with all of you, see these amazing games.
Kan dia biasanya itu ya, lore kan biasanya si Casanova.
So proud of everyone, and then
sama yang betul pada ya.
But with that, that's it for me here today at least. But we still have the dev drop video coming up, so stay tuned. And here it is.
Set 10!
Set 10!
Wow, finally! Okay! Oh, we're playing it now.
Oh, apa nih guys? Nah, mulai kan set 10 ya.
Hey tacticians. Hey tacticians. Hey everybody.
To uncover set after set after set after set.
Hey everyone.
Wah.
Matthew Whitrock, design lead for our newest set.
Nah, ini set 10 deh.
Introduced today. We're calling this set, drumroll please.
Hemogo 700 ya. Oh, tentang musik guys.
We've got a full playlist today, so I'll open with gameplay and then pass it to the rest of the lineup to chat music, cosmetics, ranked, and more. We'll also jump backstage at a few points to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how different parts of Remix Rumble came together. All right,
oh, Remix Rumble.
Let's jump right into the bands.
Namanya Remix Rumble.
I mean traits.
Traitnya nih. Udah keluar ya. Tentang musik-musik ya.
Rumble, you're the DJ, and the board is your turntable. By combining different traits, you'll create a medley of beats and genres. Let's start with familiar chart toppers.
Tentang beats, tentang musik anjir.
KDA.
KDA pertama guys.
Lobby bumping with KDA and their most dedicated superfans. Position them just so, and you'll find yourself at the performance of a lifetime, with incredible choreography and a bunch of bonus stats. Okay. Let's make like a Kali and hop over to the next band. True Damage.
Ada True Damage, ada Pentakill juga ya.
And both stay true to their names. True Damage grants extra attack speed. Wait, that can't be right. This is more like it. True Damage members are all about style and will gain a unique bling bonus that'll power them up as you itemize them. Oh, and before you ask, Akali will be able to be played in KDA or True Damage. Her trait will change based on whichever band is trending at the time. All right, Metalheads, Pentakill's up next. Pentakill members have damage reduction and bonus damage that increases as they score kills. And if your team manages to get a Pentakill, then their bonuses will increase again. Just be careful in Yorick's mosh pit.
Soalnya kan ada hard steal ya, berarti harusnya ada hard steal ya. Oh, hard steal bener kan?
And already making their mark on the convergence. These guys are ready to bring the energy.
Makanya keluar hard steal, guys.
They may have started out underground, but they're certainly able to take you to the top of the charts and the lobby if you can conquer their risky style. But we can't put on a proper Remix Rumble with only 4 bands. we also have some all-new groups entering the Convergence.
Oh, ada
With
new
original
group juga.
TFT looks, Lulu and Ziggs make up the jittery, ridiculous, hyperpop duo Glitter Bomb. Speaking of original TFT skins, Remix Rumble has plenty. There's a whole new class, Superfans, who show off their
banyak
fandom and
berarti ya.
style. The trait pumps up your headliner, more on that later, by turning one
Masih ada
or
Ari
more of
lagi
their
ya. Ari
items
kayaknya
into
langganan deh.
radiant items. My personal
Ada
favorite
Brad,
new look is
Bart.
Bard, who has joined the jazz trio Free Flow. He and his
Oh,
themes
jazz
are looking
dia.
as smooth as they sound. Before I get into the mechanics, let's head backstage to learn more about how we made some of these traits with Alex Cole and one of our lesser-known devs.
Back at Riot.
We knew set 10 was going to be our big music set. So when we think back of kind of like what the steps were, we knew we were going to have this big music moment. We were celebrating 10 sets of TFT, which was going to be huge. And really, we just kind of leaned right in and we were like, cool, we know we're going to do all of these cool origins, and then we go through the process of
Murder tuh gameplay director
that we
anjir.
can tie those to.
Tinggi juga berarti dia di
had a
Riot ya.
ton of cool and groovy skin lines, and we obviously played with them a little bit with like Space Group becoming disco and some stuff like that. But
Fit
we
itu
were
aja.
pretty quick to just turn right in and be like, oh wow, we have tons of things to pull from, which is really exciting.
So I'm pretty excited about Heartsteel. The economy trait is always a fan favorite of ours, but we've had this problem for a long time where the economy trait is you get it at 2-1 or you don't really play it. And so
Ada
this time we
mobil
took
aja.
a very clear goal of how do you play it if you don't hit it at 2-1? And so what you can do is you can play it at any point in the game, and the more you've got, the bigger the payout. You try to lose by just a little bit, but even if you win, you're still going to be getting those fan. And then it's going to cash out
mainnya
after
main
a few
itu ya,
turns.
lost streak apa
And
win
so you
streak
can
berarti
pivot
Heartsteel.
into it in the late game, and I think that's going to be a real skill expressive part of the game, is that ability to go, okay, I'm in a position where I can play
Berarti
Heartsteel for a
kayak
few turns,
siapa
and
ya?
then get my reward, and then pivot back. And I think that's going to lead to a lot of really cool skill expressive moments.
My favorite trait this set is definitely the country trait, which features our Desperado band. Historically in TFT, we've done a lot of really cool things with summon traits. We did Baron this last set, we did Innovator in set 6, and I'm really excited for Country to join those ranks. So with Country, we have something called the Midnight Horse, which is Hecarim, and when your
Midnight Horse.
champions sort of get lower or lose
The
health,
Hecarim, ya.
Hecarim will ride in and save the day. So operating a little bit like Galio from set 4, if players remember that one. So I think the challenges with these two is we kept trying to find the identity for each of them, and they ended up being really intertwined with each other. So there was a day where myself, Whitrock, the set lead, and Mort literally sat down and mapped out the entire set on a whiteboard. I don't remember who
Nih,
it was,
HP
but
kalian
one of
kuat
us was
nggak
just
nih?
like, oh, we don't have a summon trait. And we kind of played around with that. And on the flip side, we were also playing around with like, is it risky to have our econ trait be one of the main verticals? Like, is that something we want to do or try? Which is really exciting. And we ended up going with it and kind of seeing those two traits in particular, like kind of kept going back and forth and changing shape with each other. But we were happy with how it all landed. Yeah, I would say it's pretty clear on this team.
Aing
that,
sih main
that's
versi
probably the
PC
biggest
biar
Ari
lebih
stan
jos.
around. So KDA being in the set is a huge, exciting moment for me.
Mekanik, the hit. Oke, ada mekaniknya nih. Mekaniknya yang mesti penting ya, soalnya pasti bakal beda ya mekaniknya.
Include in Remix Rumble, we wanted to bring you a greatest hits playlist from past sets, starting with Runeterra Reforged. Portals are
Pakai portal lagi
They'll
bentukannya.
have a bit less impact than some of the wilder ones from last set. We can do without you, Stillwater Hold.
TV gue nggak
But they're
kelihatan
sure
iya.
to continue creating memorable moments. We won't be bringing back Legends.
Legend udah nggak ada.
We learned a lot from seeing how Legends could influence the meta and individual enjoyment of the set, so we feel like there's more exploration and experimentation to be done in this space before we potentially revisit it, but we'll keep you updated along the way. Okay.
Legend udah hilang ya, Legend ya.
Are bringing back. One of TFT's most beloved mechanics is returning in an updated way. No, not augments, although we will be introducing new augments to
ada
Remix
new
Rumble as
augment.
well. I'm talking about headliners, our fresh take on the chosen mechanic from Fates. Headliners are the star of your board. They appear occasionally in shops.
Ada
and are
headliners.
purchased at 2 stars. Headliners have tons of immediate power, and they give you +1 to one of their traits. But here's where
+1.
headliners diverge from chosen. Each one will have a specific headliner effect that empowers them in a way that only a true fan would appreciate. Take Bard from the Jazz Trio, who improvises a few notes to either heal an ally or deal a bit of damage. When Bard is your headliner, every 10 casts will generate a meep that allows him to play one extra note on his first cast of combat. Bard is the type of headliner.
Berarti kalau headliner tuh kayak punya tambahan skill ya?
Whether that scale is major or minor, it depends on how early you can get it. Some headliners will be difficult to find endgame carries. Take Yorick, a legendary unit who temporarily summons ghouls. When this headbanger is your headliner, the ghouls will be bigger and deal more damage. And one more thing about our mechanics. All of them will be harmonizing together. So keep an eye and an ear out for that. All right, let's check back in with Alex and Mort to talk more about headliners.
Berarti mekaniknya tuh yang terbaru adalah headliner.
So early on, when we were exploring the different mechanics, we knew we were doing a
Tapi
music
pernah
theme.
dipakai di set lain ya,
We
di
kind of
Fate
had
ya.
this image where it's like, okay, the band is all on there together, but what is it that makes it special? How can we twist it? And we kept coming back to, it's like, well, who's singing at the moment? Who's the star of the show, if you will?
Jadi kayak headliner tuh yang penyanyinya gitu ya, star dari band kita gitu ya. Jadi hitungannya kita tuh disuruh bikin band ya.
And we kept coming up with versions that were slightly different than Chosen, but had a lot of the same advantages. Chosen was one of our first big mechanics that wasn't just like galaxies or a variation. And it was something that allowed every champion to kind of be the centerpiece, right? Like you would tell stories of, oh, this was the game I got Silas chosen, and I did this thing, or this was the game I got Kennen chosen. But what was interesting is as we were kind of researching it, we realized that was before a lot of these other mechanics, right? Augments hadn't been around. And so a lot of the burden of the system has changed. And so as we were looking at this and kind of seeing all the pieces come together, it felt like kind of a greatest hits of TFT, which once we realized that was such a great opportunity to bring it all together. And so that's when we kind of anchored on Headliner being sort of the upgraded Chosen. You know, we've got Radiant items, augments, portals, and it really does sort of feel like 10 sets worth of TFT knowledge all coming together to make this really awesome set.
I think with the headliner mechanic, players will be most excited about the champ fantasies that it unlocks. So whether you are a player that really loves re-rolling those 1 or 2 costs, or you're a player that likes those 4-cost carry fantasies, headliner allows you to do any direction you want.
Raven ada Caitlyn ya.
Which is exciting. These are things that we never predict coming in. Like, what is the built different comp of this set? Like, what are the combinations that we, during production, have no idea are coming, that we see videos of at 2 a.m. From China, and we're like, wow, that's amazing. I can't believe they came up with this idea.
Those cool combinations that keep you coming back and have an exciting payoff, I think is always what we're looking for when we're making new sets. It's like, what is the cool next thing to try out?
Music. Apa berpengaruh dengan musiknya?
Hey everyone, I'm Cole Hicks, lead composer of Remix Rumble, and I'm here to talk about the heart of this set, the music. In Remix Rumble, each trait brings new sounds to your board. While you're building your
new
team,
trait membawa sound yang berbeda, anjir.
Remix Rumble was an all-hands-on-deck moment for our team. Many different
keren sih ini,
and collaborators created original music for each origin trait. And
Dan
made
kita
it
bisa bikin
possible
musik
for all of it
di
to
sini.
meld together in any combination based on whichever units you have out on your board. To make genres like metal sound seamless with, say, jazz or pop, we wrote 2 main songs. Through a mix of layers that contain drums, chords, and melodies, your track will be built alongside your team. And as the game progresses, your track will too.
Oh, ada Miss Proton.
Starting off one way during the preparation phase, and building up to a more complex chorus for the battle. Let me show you an example of how
Oke, kita
all
bakal
this
kasih
will
contoh ya.
Starting
Kayak
with
gimana
our disco
suaranya.
band, the Disco Knots. Their trait gives you a placeable disco ball that will heal your allies and grant them attack speed. As you get later into the game, you can add in more disco knots to strengthen the trait. Then you could add in a destructive splash of pentakill for a killer guitar solo, soaring over.
Tuh, suaranya beda anjir, ada
Now let's
gitar-gitarnya ya.
talk a bit about the tracks we wrote. For groups like KDA and Pentakill that already exist in the League IP, we tried to capture their instrumental essence with some TFT twists. And we brought in new genres like 8-bit and country, but more on those later. We also made sure powerful units like Jin got their moment in the spotlight. For Maestro, Jin's legendary trait we mixed in a Paganini-esque violin solo to create a modern
Oh, dia
interpretation of
main
classical
violin
music,
ya?
fit for the virtuoso himself. This sound was the perfect fit for a trait that deals extra damage to tactician health and a champion whose ability builds up in a cadenza.
Wah, keren sih ini Zilo.
By putting out different units on your board, you'll create a symphony of controlled chaos. Try combining the relentless drums of Pentakill with our harpsichord-heavy emo band, Big Sad.
Wah, Pentakill digabung sama emo ya.
You'll create music that features the bass of true damage alongside the groovy horn section of Disco Knots. It's absolutely ridiculous, and that's just TFT. All right,
Keren
let's
sih ini
head
si anjir.
backstage with the team
Kreatif
for a
banget
quick
ya.
recording session.
Kreatif banget ini yang namanya developernya anjir. Emang dia tuh emang produser musik ya ini, fix ini.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's move on.
Everybody's happy.
I think one of the challenges of working on this set is the multiple genres and how they're gonna be remixed into one another.
Bikin auto blader tapi niat banget, iya makanya sih lo.
10 to 12 genres, some of them more bespoke than others because it's based on our virtual band, but all of this are being done by 7 composers together. So this is the biggest collaboration within Riot composers that we have done for Teamfight Tactics.
Authenticity is both a goal and a challenge.
Emang Muntun bisa ngalahin
and some of them have a fair amount of crossover.
Ini nggak bisa, kayaknya sulit banget kalau Muntun niru ini sih.
For example, we're doing a DJ Sona genre, but we also have a straight like EDM genre. And so you almost have to really lean into the things that might be different about those two things. Like we have this established thing that Riot has done versus a genre that already exists. And really kind of leaning into some of the more expected things that players are going to want to be hearing.
How do we make it so that each of our elements actually stand out in a way that right away an
Tapi jujur Aing nggak terlalu peduli musiknya, lebih pengen ngerasain gameplaynya aja.
Confused with Pentakill, right? A metal band. They both use guitars, they both use drums, they both use bass.
Tapi mesti gameplaynya berubah sih. Tapi maksudnya detailnya itu dipikirin bener gitu. Sampai musiknya ganti juga gitu.
Things that make it sound like KDA. It's what are the things that make it sound like KDA if just the drums are playing or if just the chords are playing. One of the cool things about this set is that it is supposed to be a bit crazy sometimes. So we were able to sort of like lean into it being like, oh, that sounds a bit silly.
Yeah, and some surprising things came out that were really cool. Like, for example, I think we discovered that saxophone solo over Heartsteel is very cool. We have also discovered that a violin solo on top of Jason's EDM track is very cool.
Very cool. And we would have never made those choices as composers.
Normally.
Right. It's okay to lean into the silliness sometimes because it is a fun idea and it's supposed to be fun.
Right.
Whereas other genres obviously will work in a way where you're like, oh, that's like, I would put that on my playlist and listen to it.
Yeah. For us, the collaboration is a little chaotic, and I think that's also us embracing that energy of like, we're not entirely sure if this is gonna work, and we're just kind of, like riding with the flow and write what we believe in, and then we come together and let's hear how this is gonna go.
TFT is the space where, as a composer, I get to play around the most and, basically try whatever fun ideas I have.
Lama banget ya berarti
The
anjir.
team is very open to experimentation.
Videonya.
So from that perspective, even though it is a fair amount different than anything we've done in TFT before, I think TFT is the perfect place to do it. And I think the players of TFT are also really on board with these kinds of fun ideas.
100%.
New Arena and Tactician. Ini juga penting ya, arena baru sama Tactician baru ya.
I'm Ananda Gupta, Design Director on TFT. Today, I'm here to give an update on cosmetics, and then I'll talk about Ranked, as well as a much-anticipated release for many of our players, the Asia Pacific mobile.
Asia Pacific kita guys.
More high-quality personalization that will be released throughout the start of Remix Rumble. Ahead of that, we want to give you a sneak peek and equip you with an understanding of the release schedule, both to prepare collectors as well as inform folks who want to nab their favorite. Chibi Set and Chibi Heartsteel Set have entered the building, and they're looking to pull off a heist straight to the top of the lobby. Chibi Heartsteel Set moves fast and will depart the Treasure Realms after the first 2 weeks of Remix Rumble. And if you want more, the KDA Arena is definitely more.
Ooh,
Drop
KDA
your comp
Arena.
smack dab in the middle of a KDA show and take top 4, or bottom 4. It won't matter with an arena this stunning. After 2 weeks, Chibi KDA Akali will screech onto the scene.
Chibi Akali.
Then, the moment I've been waiting for, KDA Kaisa will hit the convergence 3 weeks
KDA
into the
Kaisa.
She and KDA Akali will be available through Treasure Realms that will only last until our next event. Each drop will provide high-value content, from chibis to mythic little legends, and even a chance to hit a random chibi variant like Dragonmancer Ash or Star
Kita bisa
Guardian
dapat
Buff.
chibi.
But the biggest high roll of those collector capsules is KDA Kaisa. Kaisa is the centerpiece for players looking to flaunt that extra special drop. But Prestige Treasure Realms are full of high-value offerings from past sets. So, whether you're a collector looking to pick up something you missed, or a little legend enthusiast just getting your first chibi, no matter what you hit, it's bound to hit hard. After Remix Rumble ships, we've got even more work ahead of us. We know players want more say in what they purchase, and we're working towards exactly that in a system we're internally calling the Seasonal Store. We're not quite ready to go into the finer details yet, but I am ready to get into Remix Rumble's pass. Remix Rumble
Ada Remix
marks
Rumble
our
Pass.
transition to 3 sets a
Season
year,
Pass ya
and
ini
we're
ya.
updating our pass structure to reflect that. We'll still have 2 passes in every set, but since sets now last 4 months, each pass will be 2 months long. So, we're redistributing rewards and accelerating pass progression to make all the rewards easier to obtain. Not every pass will look the same. Each Pass Plus will have different high-value rewards. For example, you'll see our new Neon Stage Arena in Remix Rumble's first pass, and in the Rumble's second half, Sugar Cone Poro.
Sugar Poro.
And just as our pass is changing to accommodate 3 sets a year, our ranked season is also changing.
Oh, rank juga berganti, rank improvement. Akhirnya Zilo semoga minusnya nggak
Like League of
gede-gede ya.
Legends, we're adding Emerald tier to our ranked ladder.
Ada
We'll
Emerald.
add more climbing room, while also recognizing the skill progression that players show between Platinum and Diamond. This comes at the perfect time as we transition to creating 3 sets a year, and 3 ranked seasons to go with them. Without mid-sets, there's no soft reset of your rank throughout the season, so you'll have more time to track your progress on the
nggak
expanded
ada mid-set
ladder,
ternyata.
prove your skill, and get new Emerald rewards. We're not looking to make the climb harder. Emerald and a longer season should mean a smoother, more consistent climb overall. We know TFT is a more chaotic game than League, and we don't want to punish or reward you too much for performance outliers. You can play great and still low roll in TFT, and our ranked system should and will reflect that. Okay, before you get too
mobile
excited
update.
to queue up for ranked, let's chat mobile. The launch of Remix Rumble in late November will be the first time TFT is available on mobile in APAC regions. And we're shipping a number of improvements along with this launch that will impact the entire world. But first, I want to thank our APAC players for their patience. We've been working towards
Kelamaan
bringing mobile
anjir ya,
to you
tapi ya.
since we launched it during Galaxies, and we know that you've awaited its arrival ever since. In preparation for this launch, our tools and engine team has been hard at work making mobile usability, stability, and performance improvements.
Oh,
And
dia nggarap
for the tablet
performance-nya ya.
players out there, one of these improvements is tablet support. Come
Oh,
Remix
tablet
Rumble,
support.
you can say goodbye to the black bars and wonky scaling when playing on tablet, and hello to a smoother, prettier, tablet-tailored experience. We've seen a ton of anticipation for TFT Mobile in APAC and tablet support across the world, and we can't wait to kick it all off with Remix Rumble. So, APAC players, make sure to pre-register for our launch, as we'll be offering
Yo guys,
multiple
pre-registers
pre-registration
guys.
milestone rewards.
Biar dapat milestone.
Treasure tokens to a new little legend. Boba
Dapat little legend tuh.
And if you're not in APAC, don't worry, this little sprite will eventually be available to everyone.
Minum boba.
Was that the last boba? Yep. Oh. Okay. Hey everyone, Sherman back to talk about all things TFT esports.
Tiap eSport and TFT Vegas Open ya. Besok Desember
It's
TFT
been
Vegas
awesome
Open.
to see the growth of TFT esports over the last few sets. We've seen 3 sets of steady viewer growth for set championships, and with the Runeterra Reforged Championship, we're hoping to make it 4. We're about 5 weeks out from our first global LAN event, the TFT Vegas Open. It'll be from December 8th through the 10th.
Ayo
with
guys, ke
512
Las Vegas yuk.
competitors
Siapa
from
yang mau
around
ikut?
the world as they take over the MGM Grand. I first want to say that we were blown away by how quickly competitor passes sold out back in September, and we can't wait to see you battle it out there. The event happens early in Remix Rumble, testing players' ability to adapt, innovate, and lead the meta. This is a moment where players from anywhere can step into the spotlight and become IRL headliners. The player that comes out on top will walk away with $100,000, a trophy, and most importantly, the TFT Vegas Open title. And even if you don't get
dapat
first,
$100.
the 128 players who make it to
$100,000
day 2 will
ya.
win a piece of the $300,000 prize pool. And all 512 players who participate in the event will get a unique emote based on how far they make it into the tournament. But don't worry, the Vegas Open won't be a replacement for a championship. Now that we've switched over to 3 sets a year, we're adjusting to have a competitive season for each one. So rest assured there will be a Remix Rumble Championship at the end of the set. It'll be the culmination of Remix Rumble, so we have high expectations for the comps players will bring to the finals, now that they've had a chance to master the set. For those of you competing in Vegas, PvE goes live the second week of November. So get out there and start
PvE-nya udah
crafting
bisa
your
dimainin
go-to
tanggal
comp.
16 November.
As for everyone else, we're super excited for our first ever
PvE-nya
win,
ya.
and we hope to see you all there, either in person or digitally. All right, thanks so much for watching. Good luck and have fun out there. Till next
Udah kelar
time.
ya. It's time to turu ya. Remix Rumble. Play now. Udah berubah ya jadi Remix Rumble ya.
Welcome back. This time around, though, to a very groovy stage because we're already mentally in the Remix Rumble. Live Q&A with, of course, more talk and
Ada Q&A, tapi gak ikutan lah ya. Thank you semuanya guys yang udah nonton dari jam 8. Thank you Zilo, Raditya, dan teman-teman yang lainnya. Saatnya kita tidur karena besok adalah hari Senin. Kalian mesti melakukan hal-hal yang harus dilakukan di hari Senin, yang kerja, sekolah, dan lain-lain. Thank you, sampai ketemu lagi di video selanjutnya ataupun live stream selanjutnya. Thank you semuanya. Peace out. Bye-bye.
The plan is there will be 3 championships. Should be exciting and should